This 2-year-old boy can only walk, but he is deep in thought like an old man. Thinks about having to compete for the position of clan leader against his talented martial artist brother, knowing that no matter how hard he trains, he is still just a waste. That is why he has to rack his brain to think of a way to have the most comfortable life without work, just to have something to eat. He just needs to get out of this, I really am a genius. While indulging in self-satisfaction and laughing loud, he suddenly smells something stinky around here. Turns out he is just and thought it was something impressive. Next, he starts crying and throwing it. The reason this boy is so strange that he still remembers his past life. Diso was the young master of the strongest martial arts clan in the southern capital, but he had no talent and was out of the clan like trash. After inviting an old man to drink who he just met but felt familiar. After toasting a bit, the old man starts rambling about being able to return to the past, which obviously he does not believe. That night, wandering around, he encountered a robbery and was killed by a sword, just like a dog. While Diso was still preparing himself to meet the ancestors, suddenly the paper in his pocket began to glow strange, put there secretly by the old man. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in the form of a newborn baby, in a somewhat familiar setting. This is clearly himself as a child. Could it be because of that old drunk? Time passed, and Diso was now 3 years old. This guy often walks in the hall where the valuable items are displayed, starting to wear a greedy smile, not knowing how much they are worth. To execute his plan to escape the family, he must constantly hoard wealth, build a forefront cottage, marry 2 or 3 beauty queens or runners-up, and why bother with fighting? 2 years passed. Diso is still secretly stealing his father's precious vase to gamble. The maid thought he was just being mischievous and tried to stop. Then he asked her to go fetch it for him, telling her not to worry, that his father, the strongest fighter, was only obsessed with martial art and would not pay attention to these trivial matters. He did not know that all his actions had been discovered by his father. Soon, Diso turned 8 years old. This guy was very proud of having cleaned out his father's treasure. The Blood Legion was also present to escort him to the Su family. This time coming here is for the family to assess his talent. Diso secretly thought he had to hit them with a hard one. As long as he showed no talent at all, he would not be forced to train in martial arts anymore. So he encountered his father here, the #1 martial god in the world. Thinking that his father had discovered his gambling, his body could not help but tremble. Luckily, he left right after Diso greeted him. His genius older brothers were also. This guy put on a cute act. I am not competing at all. You guys can just punch and kick naturally. Just leave me out. After the party, there would be the talent assessment of the Nam Kung family. The assessment will consist of 3. The first is weight. Diso directly approached the 5-kilogram weight and tried to lift. It is known that the eldest young master could lift 250 kilograms, the second young master 200 kilograms, and the third young master 100 kilograms. But he could not even lift kilograms weight. It is really useless now. Everyone immediately felt discouraged and most left. This is exactly Diso's plan. He has to appear as weak as possible so that he can live a life of ease. The second test is about agility. Diso has to walk on countless wooden, but just after a few steps, he fell flat on his feet. The elders of the family have to shake their head. It is so pathetic that it is hard to watch anymore. In the end, this is the most impessive feeling the energy. Only the older brothers and their attendants remain. He has to perform as poorly as possible to avoid any competition. He does not know that his father is watching him from afar. The old man conducting the test begins to transmit a stream of energy to him so he can stabilize it in his dance. The method of energy manipulation practiced in his previous life for 20 years. So of course this is too easy. But if he disrupts his body in front of everyone, he might not be able to practice martial art for a few years. What a clever scheme. Suddenly, a terrible pain hit him. Even if he has to lie in bed for a few years, he has to risk it all. His body in agony as he falls down. With this injury, even if he recovers, he won't be able to become a higher level martial artist anymore. He will slowly recover and show them that he has no interest in martial arts at all. Suddenly, the head of the household appeared here, taking Desi for treat. This made the older brothers worry. Could it be that their father really liked the boy? But after that display, all 3 gave up that thought. No matter how hard the boy tried, he could not their family's head position. The elder healer was also called in. Thought carefully, knowing that the Desi nursery had been under siege 5 years. It was likely that young Master Des would not survive, but now he appears healthy and moreover, receiving the head's attention. Perhaps it is because of Lady Seku, the one the head loves most, so he can't abandon his child. When Zia woke, felt no pain at all. On the contrary, felt full of energy. Clearly, his plan had failed. I should have woken up in a condition where I needed special care for many years and said that I had to give up martial art. Tina, I need to make a new plan. Father's face suddenly became frightened. Are you having fun? But as my son, it is unacceptable for you to be in such a state of chaotic blood flow. Desai also carefully thought that in his previous life, he had never spoken to his father like he does not even remember if he was considered a son by completely opposite to the current situation. What is the real reason? This moment, Desa felt a strong energy within his body. The divine healer also told him that his body was inherently chaotic in energy. No matter how hard he trained, he would never reach the 3rd rank. When you regulate your energy, if you make a slight mistake, you could lose your life. At that moment, Diso's face was dull. Just a moment ago, he almost met his end. He also mentioned that both father and son have extraordinary martial arts skill, truly miraculous. Just like the idea that 2 sons cannot coexist. It is considered the most powerful technique containing the martial arts of heaven. But the divine physician also told Desev cannot fully cultivate his energy. Once he channels it, it will shatter, and at that point, he won't be able to save. Hearing this, the guy outside looked very dejected, but secretly laughed. Later, his father gave him a mediocre martial arts manual. The basic techniques of the 3 talents swordsmanship are sold all over the market. Practicing swordsmanship does not require internal energy. Maybe he has lost all hope. Everything is gradually going according to plan. Desan returned to the kindergarten and had a hearty meal. Before going to bed, he took out the sword manual to read a bit for easier sleep. However, content inside was all nonsense. The swordsmanship of heaven and man sounded like a Canadian ghost story. But since he was not sleepy yet, Diso took out the sword and practiced a few moves. His father and the divine physician, eating and drinking on the rooftop, were in a state of panic. This boy can actually swing the sword so well. Forget about the fan dance. Des did not realize when he had been practicing swordsmanship all night. That was the state of self, a condition where when reaching the extreme willed by heaven, some people would find the answer they were looking for, while others would find a new path for themselves. But only your father knows that his son is starting to get into martial arts, something that in his past life he struggled to master as just a 3rd-rate fighter. But now it is feels oddly joyful to swing a sword. The miracle doctor Lihan also came the next day to check his wound. A normal person would take 4 months to heal. This guy fully recovered in just a week. Could it be from the fan dance the other day? After that, Des went to the training hall. The record here belongs to the senior, with training durations of 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. There are 2 ways to pass through the training hall. One is through the annual assessment, and the second is to participate in endless battles. Seeing these talented training maniacs makes him a bit shiver. One guy fell asleep while standing in a stand, and another boasted about swinging his sword 100,000 times yesterday. A bunch of diligent monsters lacking in smart, with no determination to take revenge for his past life. He must completely fail at the upcoming annual assessment. 7 days later, Z felt his inner power continuously increase, though a bit slowly. At this rate, it would take a few hundred more years to gather enough inner power to train. Truly wonder. That day, the vice military advisor Nam Gung Jak-on came to see him. He was an 8-year-old genius who had become the youngest scholar. This guy was sent here for training by the strategist ESB, so he could have fun here without having to explain all sorts of heavenly and earthly things to the subordinates anymore. His gaze suddenly became frightened, asking if he wanted to dominate the martial arts world. Clearly, he is a crazy guy. Your brother is trying to escape. He has also gone to your older brothers, but was turned away. That is what we have to come here. Faye is going to the training hall, claims that Lai X-Ku will wipe out all those stupid. Tina has already messed him up. Havi with the white hair is just adding to the trouble. Let me introduce the future master of the Nam family. Immediately, you made him break down. After that, he had to be taken to the hospital. This guy, when he woke up, started acting weird. It seems that after getting hit in the head, he has even more problems speaking. They have found someone who can change this foolish family. This has left the divine Dr. Lai at a loss for words on how to treat his crazy. Desnextu returned to the training hall. Everyone was focused on seeing how powerful the young master is. Immediately, they were disappointed to find out only had a few basic sword moves. His plan to become a failure was going smoothly. I was about to go home and feed. When I ran into this guy Jak-on, I told myself that I would leave the Nam Kung family and he should not bother me. But this guy said, then we have the same goal. This small place surely can't stop you from dominating the martial world. Right. He is really crazy. Des also realizes this guy is quite the lunatic. He is like a crazy revolutionary. If this were a time of great chaos, he would shine. But in the peaceful era of Nam Kung like today, he is just a madman trying to cause trouble for others. And he even calls you his commander. No matter how much Diso refused, this guy was too much trouble. So in the end, Diso told him to wait a year. 4 months later, Diso's progress was called from trash to high-level trash. Because during this time, he only learned the basic Tam Tai sword technique. This went exactly as planned. Everyone called him a nut, while Jak-on still called him his commander. He shot a terrifying glare at the 2 guys who dared to speak ill of his master, making them flinch before he left. He brought a box of fancy, and just as he took a bite, he realized it was the little Huan Dan. He immediately asked him where he got such good stuff. This is a gift from the abbot at Shaolin Temple for the noble family, and he even invited the servant girls to join in for fun. Is this guy a thief? Diso suddenly felt his internal energy start to dissipate, but he did not care. The guy with the white hair was giving a sinister smile, looking really creepy. The next day was the annual assessment. While everyone was frantically practicing, Hyo was just sitting back, relaxing, and everything was already prepared. As expected of a command, it was finally time to destroy this foolish Nam Kung family. I have prepared the entire plan to overthrow Nam Kung. This guy keeps rambling as usual, but I am used to it. The final exam has arrived. His father, his senior, and his tutor were all present, which made Du a bit flustered. It was just an annual exam. Why were they here? Zihone even brought a huge banner to cheer, which startled. That guy is shouting about the light of the Nam Kung family, the dreams and hopes of the Nam Kung family, the world's #1 Du. Make him look bad in front of his mother. Is this guy messing with? The elder is starting to explain there are 2 ways to evaluate. First, you can point out one of the gear, compete with that person. You can join any team you like, but you can only compete once. If you fail, you will have to fight again next year. Second, one person will go up to the stage and complete 5 rounds of tissue. The evaluation will not be based on win or lose, but will be given after all 5 matches are completed. The rules have been announced, and the competition begins. A disciple bravely challenges the deputy leader of the Thunerdun Kin Nan. His name is Nam Kung Hon. This causes panic among everyone. In his previous life, he single-handedly wiped out 100 enemy soldiers on the battle. He is Beechesef Nam Bring Home, the swordsman of the Thong Kung Kim Loon. The deputy leader even declared that if he could hold out for 10 seconds, he would accept him into the sword guild. But enduring those 10 seconds won't be easy. The old man rushed in like light, and after attacking, he was blocked by Hon, who then countered with a powerful strike. This time, Hon also unleashed the 3 moves of the iron sword, but with a single slap, the deputy leader broke it. However, he also let him through because he recognized this kid's potential. Carefully tempted, he will become the mighty sword of the world. The next contest, Dis volunteers to go up. He challenges a nameless disciple, but ends up getting beaten badly. It is just act, yet is already too over the top. This makes Jak-yeon very angry, especially when he hears some disciples behind him talking trash about the young master, calling him a useless piece of trash. Isn't he that kid's name now something like crazy genius? He immediately turns around, tells them they are being shallow, so they should just shut up. Instead, they keep blabbering, showing off their own. How dare you let your mouths run wild in front of him like that? His father is exuding an intimidating aura right now, calling the kids out for being so boring, saying that with such dullness. How can they call themselves the top family in the world? The strategist beside him starts to stir things up, so he proposes that the master compete against his older brothers right here. Everyone is shocked, thought of their own foundations being shattered. The third brother immediately jumps into the arena to face the younger Diso, who was planning to escape, but his father's face is too tense, so he has to fight to make it fair. The third brother won to use internal energy. The strategist is enjoying it, cheering them on. In reality, he had given Diso a pill containing 10 years of internal energy, but he seems unaffected. Only the family head of the Southern Palace can do this. This is the first time Diso is talking to the third brother, but he shows no mercy and charges at, causing a huge hole to form in the arena floor. This is an attempt to kill some. Luckily, Diso managed to dodge in time. Otherwise, he would have been done for. Today, after observing your actions and your match, I have realized you do not care about martial arts at all. That is right. The handsome third brother thought he would take it easy, but he attacked even more fierce. The speed was too fast. Desestangfex could only use the 3-talent sword technique, block the strike. Although the third brother's sword was very heavy, he was finally able to withstand. This caught everyone off guard. The third brother also grew angrier. Just now, he had broken the third brother's ultimate sword technique, the simplest sword technique. He charged forward madly to attack. This rate, he was going to get hit in the face for sure, so he had to use a lame sword technique to defend himself. Diso hitting the elbow, wrist, and ankle of his opponent, preventing the third brother from exerting force. However, as he swung his sword, the young younger brother began to fake an injury, fell down. He was about to gently concede and leave, but the third brother stopped. Do you think you can escape easily from such a trick in front of you? Do you think I won? T notice. He wanted to fight Desiv back. Their father asked how the youngest was doing. This promise is starting to look like a law. The spectators see that the guy does not have any strength left to swing a sword. How could he fight the powerful third brother? This made the third brother even angry. If you leave like this, then starting today, you will no longer be my brother but my enemy. And in my memory, I have never gone easy on anyone I consider an enemy. It is really frustrating that you can't even concede grace. In this qualifying round, they will use real sword and also employ 3 parts of their power. You can't resist because this family is full of martial arts fanatics. Before the battle, Desa threatened that if he did not fight Siri, he would lose both hands. On the platform, everyone was cheering, but he could only feel the pressure of the situation. He struck with a snow sword, slow yet unavoidable. He could only use the earthly position sword technique to defend against. Faced with a storm-like attack, he could only unleash his ultimate move that combined heaven, earth, and human forces. Clash immediately shook the entire arena. Desi thought of his past life. If he were to lose an arm this time, how would he manage? Could not let his powerful aura fade, or would he be defeated? The expressions of everyone turned serious. Third brother used his hands to break the sword in 2, admitting that he had used 5 parts of his internal power just to block the youngest brother's attack. It should have been him bleeding, not the youngest brother. So he conceded this match. After being bandaged, Des awoke, and seeing his arms intact, he felt incredibly happy. Next to him, the assistant teacher urged him not to get up and to lie down. His wound had just closed up, and now it had opened again. Seeing his opponent's face made him furious. If it were not for that jerk, he would not have been cut like this. Again, let me tell you that I am the one who won the last battle, and the second brother has been in closed-door training. Right after the fight ended, I can't even believe I beat the second brother. The deputy mentor even gave me the reward from my dad. It turns out it is a 3-day pass to the library of martial arts. 10,000 martial arts books inside, and even some great martial arts treasures. Some, after entering the library, see a significant increase in their skills. However, there are also various unverified martial arts techniques. Des directly stated that there is no need to go inside, leaving the white-haired guy speechless. What others want can't even get in. Yet the young master does not bother to go. Do you really want to live like a rat, never leaving your hole, always a coward hiding in the shadow? Clearly, this guy is trying to provoke, and he starts laughing loud. From now on, things have changed. After the contest, even if you are a rat, a lot of people will pay attention to you. Or cats will start to act. Only by becoming stronger can you survive. You only have 2 choices: become their king or kill. Des is really tough. This damn dog has ruined all my hidden plan. I just want to punch right now. His words make sense. But looking at that provoking, I still have to teach him a lesson. At this, I can only learn martial arts to survive. Thinking back to that year, after my older brother became the head of the family, both the second and third brothers were recognized for their talents. You have to seriously compete for that position. That way, if you fail, at least you can enjoy the flowers. To face off against the other, I need to reach the minimum threshold. Peak level is absolute. The maximum time I can give you is 2 years, while the second son is in seclusion. During that time, become someone who won to be swayed by others. To counterattack, you need the strength to endure. Desi has reached the vast learning library, as I remember. After the elder brother left the vast learning library, he turned into a different kind of monster. His martial art, which represent the past of martial art, is the Teichi Wisdom Sword, also known as the 3 Master. Thanks to that, he became so strong. During this time, third master is in seclusion, while the power of the second son and the first son will focus on you. If you can reach the royal palace, then it will be good because the 2 sons will have to face each other direct. After Du goes in, everything will be under the watchful eyes of the 2 elder brothers. Forces quickly got this information, and it is time for Jack-On to make his move. Inside the vast learning library, it is indeed vast, filled with martial arts secrets everywhere. This guy is greedy. Just taking a few of these can give him money to spend lavish. The second brother once said, after learning the last technique, bookshelf, it is the duality heart, which can split consciousness into 2 parts to perform 2 types of martial arts simultaneously. If it is just at that level, then everyone in the South Palace has tried the duality heart. If you want to confront the brother in the battle for the title of Little Lord, you have to find out what that brother has received. You must find it. The second son of the Namkung family, Namdung, is called a knight or a hero by everyone, but those who know him often call him a strategist because he is very intelligent. The one he considers the most dangerous, deputy military advisor. He immediately ordered his subordinates to arrange for 5 people to go to the military advisor's palace. 5 people at the one learning hall. All top experts are hired and report back to me every half hour. Clearly, the confusion of brother men and the crazy guy Jack-On has given him a sense of pressure, as if he were being chased from behind. As Desco has been studying for a long time, but still can't understand the duality. He had to give his own summary. Since ancient time, a small universe has formed. In that chaotic universe, order is created from chaos, forming a bipolar world, and then Taichi forms one yin and one yang, which is called duality Tai Chi. Dest began to sit down and apply the great listening heart method, discovering that the internal energy in his body was moving very. If he tried to stop, the blood vessels would burst. Could only perceive it by adding the duality heart technique to the heart method he was cultivating, thereby separating yin and yang. This guy surprisingly managed to complete it easily. He even did not forget to self-indulge, claiming to be a genius. Suddenly, body felt strained. The lower half was cold as ice, while the upper half was hot as fire. Then came a wave of pain, and his vision gradually became blurry. Anyway, he might as well take a risk and see what happens. Directly mixing the 2 streams of air, I heard a cry even more tragic than before, but after a while, my whole body felt no pain at all. I thought maybe it was because the pain was too intense, and I lost my sense of feeling. I could sense strange currents within my body. Even the spirit of the creator of this technique was stunned, yet it immediately entered the small city. This kid is too unreal. The 5 elements have autonomously circulated within his body. This is truly absurd. This kid has no idea what is going on, yet his body has automatically adjusted for the 5 elements to circulate rhythmic. Among the methods to grasp the duality and try it, there is unexpectedly such an illogical way. This absurd situation, whether dead or alive, I have never seen before. But if this process does not go as planned and gets reversed, he will become a cripple. 2 streams of air then surged straight to my head. No matter what I did, I could not stop. Like an explosion in my head, I immediately fainted. When I opened my eyes again, 3 days had passed. Peanuts had not learned anything, and this time it was all for nothing. I suddenly felt something strange in the airflow within my body. There was something moving below my navel. It was the sea. 5 elements were also circulating smoothly. They could also see the potential of those in charge. Can he become powerful like his father and grandfather, along with the heavenly demon who were all great figures at the top of the world? This is definitely worth looking forward to. 2. Du feels lost because he fell asleep 3 days and no one came to pick him up. Suddenly, his second senior brother shows up here. This makes him a bit anxious. Since when did his second brother care about him like this? Clearly, he is here to probe into this achievement. The second brother leads him to a lavish. He has not eaten anything in 3 days and immediately turns into a grinding machine. Surely, the second brother would not poison him with such delicious food, right? This makes the second brother stop and stare. He is eating like a starving ghost without any manner. I do not understand what the strategist sees in the youngest. Clearly just an innocent kid who is still growing. Suddenly, Du gets unusually serious, thinking he wants to discuss something important, but then he calls out that these dishes are so good, asking for a few more plates, leaving the second brother speechless. How can you eat so much, you brat? Suddenly, the second brother realizes that Des's way of grabbing is indeed the duality mind. Yet, his body is so used to it that he does not even realize. For now, the youngest is just like a little snake, posing no threat. Des does not understand why the second brother treats so well. He has a reputation for being colder than anyone, a heartless guy, three-headed snake. But soon he figures out the reason. The second brother directly says, I also practice the duality mind technique in the vast learning library. Clearly, the eldest brother only mastered it last year. After all, it is just a minor martial art. Don't take it too serious. Just a minor martial art. Feels like something's off, yet is making my abilities grow strong. Right. A seed of my abilities feels like it is formed. Like I am standing in a lush green highland. Not only that, but your eyes can also see the smallest details clearly. This makes the second brother feel more at ease. Isn't that the look of the older brother gazing far away, along with the smug smile of the deputy strategist? I need to uncover the source of the distance coming from him right away. At this moment, Des is running towards his father, thinking that his older brother must have seen something from their father to be so calm, so he needs to see for himself. Unexpected, he is also waiting for him. As soon as he enters the main hall, his father's imposing presence makes him tremble. He knows that his father is a formidable person, but this is terrifying. Feels like being spare. I have observed my older brother very carefully and thought that if I just put in the catch up, but with my father, that is not possible. The Namgung family is so intimidating. If I want to survive, I can only flee. He also mentioned that when observing his grandfather successfully cultivate the yin-yang heart, he saw the great golden dragon appear. When Namgung Day observed, he said he saw a large sword wanting to become powerful. That is the instinct of a martial artist. Then he directly asked, what do you want? Well, I have to lie so that he will reveal the secret of seizing opportunity. Let us try being honest. Actually, the son just wants to return home to raise fit and grow some vegetables. My son does not have any talent in martial art. Even just reading books in the library gives him a headache. And my son thinks that his older brother will inherit the position of the head of the Namgung family in the future. He has no thoughts about that position at all. He laughed maniacally, which startled his brother. In the past, the Namgung family had someone like that too. Throughout his life, he has never had a single scratch, not even a tiny one. His Des is also curious. He must be some rich second generation, living a life of wealth without having to work at all. Pointed up at the sky, saying that the person up there is the one he is referring to. Is he talking about someone who ascended to heaven? Do you hear that? It is frustrating that even my light dreams come true. He does not realize that his father is talking about his grandfather, the former head of the Namgung family, who also had to be silent for a while. Unexpected. Both his father and son have the same dream, although deep down, it seems like this kid is hiding something. He hopes that his father will bless his grandson, and he himself must directly experience how hard it is to live a leisurely life. Suddenly, the door burst open, and Namgung John stormed in anger. Namgung John confidently bowed to his father, saying he has something to ask of, to let him see the abilities of his younger brother clearly. Dian was startled when he heard what his older brother said, and he was completely taken aback. Namgung Han remained silent, his face full of joy and satisfaction as he looked at his two sons. Slowly approaching, Namgung Jo finally spoke. What is your reason? Namgung Han firmly believed that his younger brother was you and wanted to know what he was thinking. Namgung Han showed no surprise, gently saying, well, you and your brother compete. Even without a winner, we all know you will win. This win or loss is not necessary at all. Zhu silently rejoiced, fully supporting his father. That is right. Father is indeed wise. However, Namgung John still was not giving up. He presented several reasons to persuade Namgung Han. His brother was directly from the main line and would be the heir. Martial arts are one of the most important things for someone who can inherit the position of family head. Namgung Han coldly asked back, the what? Namgung Jo earnestly pleaded, please allow me and him to fight each other. Who behind him could not believe his ear. He was speechless, his face pale. Meanwhile, Namgung John made a he lost. He would do anything his brother wanted. He would publicly declare to everyone in the world that he was indeed the legitimate heir of Namgung. His second brother smiled confident, his eyes sparkling with belief in his own ability. For him, this was a favorable opportunity. No matter the outcome, he would not do anything to harm his brother. Behind him, frustration filled his head. How could he possibly lose? Namgung Han nodded in agreement. Feeling convinced, Namgung Han turned to ask for his opinion. What do you think? Cover your face for a bit. Try to breathe deeply to calm down. He tells himself to stay focused. He will ask again polite and make this seem like it never happened. After taking a deep breath, Xian calmly reports to his father from what the son knows about this competition. Since both sides are evenly matched, one side will get seriously injured during the con. With such different skill, winning or losing does not really matter. Someone must be chosen to fight on behalf of both sides. People who will fight in place of the brothers are all strong and skilled. As for my side, there are only the maids who do laundry, and Fu firmly insists that this competition is very unreasonable and asks his father to reconsider. Although he feels great, it seems difficult to carry out. He closes his eyes tight, feeling secretly pleased. It is indeed a perfect rebuttal. Namgung John indifferently added, there are still people on that side. Wait until after the meal. Yangstu frowns and asks, are we really going to send that annoying senior brother? Are you scared of a little guy? Are we really going to send the maid heat? Namgung pretends to stroke his chin and thought, it seems like you do not know what happened in the family during the 3 days you were at the Vinen Hexeth Kid. Zianka is startled and asks back, what happened? Namgung John just do not faint when you hear this. The master has already trained and built up a force for you. The Desun fury. He knows exactly who did. Crazy guy. Trust me. Don't fear a strong enemy. Just fear a teammate who sleeps. Desun grips his hand. With this in mind, I will kill you. Scene shift to 3 days ago. Namgung John felt a chill, as if he had aged several years. He rubbed his forehead and complained, while pulling strings for the young master keeps me very busy. He angrily threw the book he was studying on the table, secretly blaming, but do I really have to pay attention to all these trivial tasks like using the rest, cleaning the yard, wiping the stair, cleaning the roof, and trimming the tree? Namgung was more frustrated than ever. Every bit of frustration embodied by Namgung Lum, with the master piling all the work onto the the disciple. So surely the master is quite relaxed now. Right, he was back at it, reading the book on the table intent, having to wipe down 100s every day, a task that these servants had to go up and down dozens of times. Suddenly, Nam Kung Jong's gaze fixed on a mysterious page that made him exclaim, "Whoa, something's about to happen." He flipped through the stack of books as if searching for something. Nam Kung Jong was oddly calm, without a trace of frustration left. Instead, he sat quiet, absorbed in reading the books. Nam Kung Jong seemed to have hit a crucial point, and suddenly laughed loud, his laughter hauntingly resonant. The smile on his face gradually lost humanity, and a wicked glint appeared in his eye. A normal person absolutely could not handle such a workload. The servants of the Nam Kung family, the most powerful in the world, could not be just anyone. Nam Kung Jong seemed to grasp the divine insight bestowed upon, decisively slapping his right hand. Before the young master steps out, I must make them join his side. But there is one thing that our deputy strategist is worried about: how to win them over. Because they are martial arts students taking on odd jobs in the Nam family, practice their skills. Perhaps everyone carries their own wounds in their heart. Those who once had glorious pasts are now just useless people. Nam Kung is deep in thought. He is troubled along with 7749. Although being a servant is hard to accept, it is a force that does not belong to any faction. These people really current young master. Thinking too much truly gives one a headache. In a state of high spirit, suddenly there is a rustling sound that forces him to look down at where the noise is coming from. There is no real power without genuine effort. After all, he has put in a lot of work for the young master. Nam Kung decides to head towards the dining room. He walks confidently with his growling stomach. Let us eat first. Living and eating is a normal affair. How can one starve? Nam Kung takes out as usual, using all his strength to fling open the front door. Standing in front of the dark room, he hesitates to enter, yet is very curious upon hearing the singing from inside. I wonder what the older sisters are cooking today. I have to prepare gifts for the older sis who. Nam Kung Dian truly lives up to being a deputy strategist. He breaks into a wit smile. It already smells great from outside. Is it boiled chicken tonight? He pushes the door wide open, holding a small gift, excitedly exclaiming, "Older sister, hi, and what is in front of me is something I can accept." Nam Kung John's eyes widen in surprise, uttering a gasp of shock. Since when has there been an extra restaurant? Countless people are sitting there, eating food from the meal prepared by the sister, and looking up at. Those eyes held no kindness at all. They looked at him as if they had a grudge from a past life. Nam Kung almost dropped in his hand, stammering, "How did these people gather in the young master's hall like?" Suddenly, a beautiful sister rushed over and grabbed his hand to pull him away. "Deputy strategist, please have a seat." Now, still in shock, asked the other person, Sezano in hand, "What is going on?" Song Han looked around at the people sitting there, and cheerfully said, "They are the ones who have worked hard. The aristocrats always finish all the food, leaving nothing over, so there is not enough food for them. The head servant always treats them like this. You were thrown to a corner of the table. Please sit down. The food will be brought up soon." Food was continuously served, accompanied by the chatter of a maid. "Today we prepared a special dish. Since we have to transport weapons and do heavy work every day, we need to eat well." The young man felt shy. "Thank Miss Ho for the hospitality. Please do not be so polite. I am just a maid." Luladan from a distance held a small gift box and loudly said to everyone, "I have prepared some light snack for when you are working." Few men praised while eating. They were very satisfied with today's Lulun. Faxon joined in hand. The head servant, "They are all wonderful who deserve respect." Another person chimed in, "That is right. Cooking skills are even better than in a kitchen." "That is quite interesting." Kung John thought for a moment, gathering those extremely hard to meet slaves, and even received goodwill. The elder sisters are indeed remarkable. Suddenly, a big man appeared next to Nam Kung John. He sat down next to him, not forgetting to complain, "Oh wow." As soon as he saw Nam Kung John, he happily spoke up, "My lord, what brings you here? I did not expect to meet such a noble lord." The deputy strategist still looked a bit dazed at him. "I remember this person." Nam Kung Dian looked surprised at the man who was greeting him again. "Isn't this the legendary master? Person who once topped the martial arts world, the sect leader of Shaolin, who was a representative of the Central Plains martial art, the 8th master of the breaking limits." After losing an arm, the man was rumored to have left Shaolin in psychological turmoil. He stepped out, slaughtering anyone who dared to block his way, then vanished without a trace. Now he sits here at the Nam Kung family, calmly tidying up the garden. Nam Kung laughed heartily and politely replied, "I just stopped by for a meal." He nodded and praised. "Food here is indeed very good." Then he bowed and said, "The deputy strategist only came here to dine. I think it is quite rude to eat so much." Sun Hung Han stepped forward, her voice full of anger. "You glut, you have already eaten 3 bowls and still pretend you are not eating. What are you sitting there for? Many people have not even tasted a drop of that wine yet." Nam Kung Dian was startled and quickly said, "Don't make this person angry, big sis. If he really gets angry, it will be dangerous." He replied foolishly with a laugh, "I already said, I am not a greedy person. Sunun in tea. Have another bowl, and I will prepare some snack and late night food for you. The people here really catch you off guard." Sun Han quietly said, "The manager has something to discuss." The man, upon hearing this, looked startled. "What do you want to say to me?" Sun Han explained. "When Lo Ho and Nin encountered thugs at the main market, he helped her. What I mean is that prepared this meal to thank. And did not everyone say your strength is very formidable? An ordinary person would also struggle to stand still when facing thugs." He blushed and shouted, "That is right. What else does she want to say to me?" Some people around eagerly listened in. Could it be? Sung Han laughed loud, winking at him. "The rest is a secret." The elder looked disappointed, with a sad expression on his face. Everyone around was too familiar with this scene, all laughing and mocking. "Look at how hopeful he is." Someone loudly commented after being the head of the martial arts community. Being humiliated, the elder looked very angry, his face filled with rage. "You are boiling with rage in your hand. Are you looking down on me just because I only have one arm?" Suddenly, the manager appeared behind him. "Boss, please calm everyone down. They are eating. Dantiko's a scene. Just eat up. And for these gentlemen, I will get you an extra chicken leg. Just wait a moment." This time, the deputy master has really had his eyes open. He suddenly realizes that these servants, despite being martial artists, do not care about him at all. Without strength or martial skill, who would be thought they could be so obedient? The master met these ladies. He might just faint. Nam Kung suddenly remembers something. Hold on. Nam Kung Dian thinks to himself, is not this a perfect opportunity? Person once called a dragon. Person once called a monster. Person once called a king. Person once called a deity. Looking at those people enjoying their food, Nam Kung John thinks there are 50 of just the right number to form an army. A hint of worry story suddenly crosses his mind. Those who could not be in the same place have gathered thanks to the lady. They have just had their fill and are taking home. Who would not like that? The group of people laughed heartily. A man saw the manager and cheerfully called out to her, "This stew is so delicious that I can leave Nam Kung." Chubby guy next to him slurped his bowl to the last drop and loudly said, "Some people have never eaten, while others have eaten it more than once." The manager chuckled. "You are joking. The atmosphere is really intoxicating. The time has come." Nam Kung Dine decisively clenched. Can't miss this perfect opportunity. He thought of a powerful army he would have in the future. Bring back to his master. Young master, wait, I will gather strength for you, so they can stand before you waiting for orders. Saying this, Nam Kung Dine confidently raised his voice like a sweet song, showing his nobility. But there was a prepared script. Nam Kung John laughed loud. "Ladies and gentlemen, the deputy strategist of Nam has something to say to you. I know your past too well." Bei Tun was just putting a piece of meat in his mouth. Looking at the deputy strategist, a guarded expression. Indeed, he came here with an agenda. Dune respectfully clasped his hands to greet everyone. Fully aware of what they were thinking about, his face became serious. "I want you all to become part of the young master. I hope you will agree." Tun casually picked his nose, sighing in relief. "I was just unnecessarily tense." But right after that, he bluntly refused. "Sorry, you have got the wrong person." Then he turned away and discreetly snapped his finger, his voice full of determination. "We no longer care about the martial world." Nam Kung Jong could not hide his surprise. "What is it?" A moment later, the others burst out laughing. Some calmly replied, "You asked the wrong person. You should go elsewhere." The deputy strategist thought of a strong countermeasure, a sinister smile appearing on his lips. "If you all do not care anymore, should not you go back home or head to the mountain? Why come to the southern palace?" Runner in. Truly, they were guilty. Some seniors beside him exchanged confused glances. That a man could not keep his composure and shouted loud, "Because we have lost." The atmosphere became. Everyone looked dejected like a deflated bao bun. They sadly lowered their head, feeling humiliated and defeated in a miserable way. Nam Kung Jong was utterly surprised. Was it really that simple? Bi Han still could not forget that day. He and Nam Kung Han had fought each other. He still remembered the sword from that day, fearfully saying, "Stuck in the sword." Nam Kung Dine sighed helplessly. He scoffed light. "I may not fully understand, but I get it to some extent." He immediately thought of his master. Had not Nam Kung John once feared him like he feared a goat? He awkwardly recounted. He had also been disappointed dozens, hundreds, thousands of times because his master's shadow was too big. Now the important thing for you is to break the sword that haunts you. As a strategist, I think there is no other way. Nam Kung approached Bitanch, appearing regret. "Excuse me, I will take my leave." Saying that, he took the gift box he had brought and boldly walked away. Nam Kung Dine thought to himself, the world's #1 Nam Kung Dine would not back down easily. There must be another way. Seeing Nam Kung Dine walk away sad, Loa Nin hurriedly ran after, calling out, "Deputy strategist, are you leaving?" Nam Kung John just thought of another plan. He secretly thought, now is the time to speak up. He immediately played the role of the guilty one, his eyes red and nodding. "I have something urgent, so I must take my leave." His gaze also showed a hint of cold, accompanied by a fierce intensity. "I will evoke the sympathy of the older sister and make them stand by my side." Loa Nin felt sad. "But you have not finished your meal yet." Nam Kung John pressed a gift he brought into Loa Nin's hand. He said, "This is not worth much. Please accept my sincerity." Before Loa Niven could react, the deputy strategist turned and sadly ran away from the restaurant. "I take my leave." Loa Niven noticed something was off on the face of the deputy strategist, which made her feel sad. Is something wrong with? He does not look happy. She immediately went to the table, where Biat Tun was greedily munching on a chicken leg. "Old man, what is wrong with the deputy strategist?" He was eating and looked at her shaking his head. "Nothing much. Just that we refused the deputy strategist's proposal." Before he could finish his sentence, a chilling atmosphere suddenly enveloped, and the delicious soup bowl on the table was abruptly lifted in anger by someone. Batinkan was startled, eyes wide in surprise. Loa Nin seemed to transform in person. She angrily confronted, demanding why Bitan was so scared that he was stuttering. Loa Nin pressed him on this matter. The old man watched as the mysterious box slowly opened before everyone's astonished eye, revealing dozens of jewels sparkling like gold. Every time the deputy strategist came to dine, he always brought a special gift. The light in Dad's eyes shone bright as if he had just found treasure, while he gazed passionate what was in the girl's hand. Liani sighed. "The deputy strategist is so gentle, but just for a small task. It must be something very simple." Bat Tongue kept apologizing. Gradually, everyone began to notice the sparkling object in Bat Tongue's hand. They were also drawn to that strange item. The person who recognized the treasure immediately ran over, happily exclaiming, "Isn't this the Than Ha Dan?" Curious man interjected, "What is so scary about it?" The other person angrily replied, "How foolish. Don't you know how precious it is? There are a total of how many pills great immortals spent a lifetime creating, and one of them is the Than Ha Dan. To eliminate impurities in the body, you must at least reach the realm of bone refinement and rebirth. But just by taking this Than Ha Dan, you can completely cleanse your body." After hearing the theory, the crowd felt like they had struck gold, shouting, "Treasure, treasure." Suong Han was also curious and ran over to take a look. She gazed longingly at the jewel. "I have 20 of these in my room. If needed, I can bring each of you one on any day." The crowd was surprised. "What? Than Dan is not that common." Ho walked by, calmly saying, "I have grown tired of this stuff. What was that better thing he brought last time?" Called again. Before finishing the sentence, the others became frightened and stuttered. Tiu Honan enhanced his internal power with the appearance of the treasure. The atmosphere gradually became tense. Everyone discussed among themselves, knowing that Fief Kwon-s was an influential person in the Nam Kung family. Unexpectedly scary enough precious treasure to a maid. The rumors quickly spread. If so, then the proposal just now did not seem bad. Nam Kung Dian stealthily peeked them through the crack in the door, a sinister smile creeping onto his lip. When Fio Kwon-sis made a move, it was always success, never failure. "This time, I can head home with ease. I need to find a way to pull them in." Transitioning to 3 days later, Luka walked leisurely. "Luckily, my second brother's proposal was postponed." He angrily rolled up his sleeves to find that Nam Kung John, the deputy advisor. "Where the hell is that bastard? I am going to take this chance to give him a beating, so he won't cause any more trouble in the future." Suddenly, a noise in the forest caught Deski's attention. He stopped, slowly observing the situation. That tree seems to have someone hiding behind it. Suddenly, an old man with lightning speed rushed forward, slashing wild, causing the tree to shake violently. What is more impressive, the old man's speed was like he was hitting the gas, wielding his sword more nimbly than Kai Bun could. In the blink of an eye, 3 trees had been neatly trimmed. After that, the old man gently landed behind it, looking like the job was done. "That old man is Men Kang, the gardener in the manor." Zia, a maid, exclaimed, "Was that really necessary for just trimming some tree?" Men Kang turned to look at the boy, saying nothing. At this point, Li Yangstu finally realized to ask, "Do you know martial art?" "Old man." Men Kang casually replied, "I have to know." Yangstu laughed loud, pointing at him. "You are not as skilled as you think." Men Kang was taken aback. "What?" Then he felt a bit angry. "I took out a large watermelon and said, right, I think it is probably some martial martial art from Wuding, but you have mastered it too superficially. Men tried to control his anger, the sword in his hand trembling with his breath. How dare you speak about the Wuding Sword King like that? Men Kang stepped close, his eyes filled with fury as he glared at Go. What nonsense are you talking about? Coldly asked. The Wuding Sword King was once the leader of Wuding, the senior brother of the current Wuding sect master. After being defeated by Nam Kung Han, he left Wuding. He was actually kicked out for being drunk, causing a scene, destroying the ancestral altar. Since then, he swore that no matter how angry he got, he would not act recklessly. Men Kang silently looked down at the kid with a blank expression. This were Wu Dang. All the first generation disciples, including the master, would have beaten this kid up by now. I never expected someone so weak and lacking in spirit like you would dare to criticize his martial art. Dessa lightly clapped his, forming a blade shape, and gently said, so when trimming trees, do not use martial arts clumsily. Cut only what needs cut. If something goes wrong, you are the only one who gets hurt. You have heard what the Du family said, right? Men Kang did not bother listening to what he said. He was lost in his own world, in this small yard. You can cause a ruck. This arrogant kid. Could he be the youngest son of the Nam Kung family? After a while, he said goodbye and left. Then I will be going. It has been 3 days since I slept, and I am really sleepy. Anyway, you take care not to get hurt. Men Kang suddenly called out, wait, what did you see that makes you think my martial art clumsy? Yin sighed and replied, just look, it is obvious you are clumsy. Men Kang was not convinced, pointed at the trees he had neatly trimmed. Clumsy where, indeed, all the trees are no gaps at all. Overall, these trees are trimmed very neat. But Men Kang still asked, don't you think? Viku nodded. Yeah, not only clumsy but also in effect. This kid really made Men Kang frown. He tried to suppress his anger. Important things should be repeated 3 times. You have to endure. You have to endure. You have to endure. This guy does not understand any. He can grasp how deep the implications of these prune trees are. There are 2 types of sword. The life sword used to save lives, and the death sword used to take lives. As a Taoist of Wuding, my sword has always sought the life sword. It makes sense. This kid can understand the essence of Wuding. Diso looks at the tree thoughtfully. Even as a senior of the Nam Kung family, he might not comprehend this level. Diso casually reached for a small branch in front of him. Pruning is about removing the excess, but his pruning did not miss any. The shaking caused branches to fall to the ground. From the outside, it looks complete, but just a slight shake and the weak branches will break. Man Kang thought differently and loudly retorted, I intentionally let them live. Is not it better to leave everything as it is? Diso smiled at him. If this were in nature, that would be true. Pointed to a bird perched nearby. Because there will be insects or animals using these branches for something. This is in the Nam Kung family, where not only ordinary people, but even insects and animals do not exist. This is a place where no animal dares to approach. Therefore, people must remove the weak branches for the tree to grow well. Man Kang was confused. Water flows from high to low. The strong dominate the weak. Des cheerfully asked, what would happen if everything were fair? Men Kang immediately replied, wouldn't that be great? Everyone would live well equally. Des tried to suppress a laugh. Do you really think so? On the contrary, there would be competitions again. A new order would emerge, and in the process of creating that new order, countless innocent lives would have to be sacrificed. Men Kang's gaze suddenly wavered. Perhaps he did not expect a kid this age think so deep. Des calmly continued. Therefore, getting rid of the weak is the best for the remaining one. It is necessary to create order. That is right. You know the technique, right? In a normal technique, there is always a part that is mysterious. The remaining parts of the technique are all motions. Prepare for that mysterious part. If all 3 parts of the technique are deeply mysterious, what will that technique become? Men Kang pondered for a moment and then spoke. If so, that technique would lose its value, becoming just a meaningless repetition of an act. Des nodded in agreement. That is right. Then he quickly demonstrated a few graceful moves, filling in the gaps and shortening the excess. Dessen skillfully performed in front of his senior, as if wanting to create a technique with a natural flow. The fiery energy surged around, and the end of that path was a bright light illuminating the entire garden. Man Kang blinked, seemingly drawn in by Du's aura. That moment, Man Kang felt small before Du's imposing figure, as if he were facing a bodhisattva. Man Kang suddenly realized the mystery he had once cherished. Just a glance was enough to sense the Tai Chai aura from the cut branches. Dees focused intently on the tree in front of him, but if it continued like he would exhaust himself. Man Kang's eyes wide, breath began to quicken. 10 years ago when I lost, Nam Kung Han also said something similar. It took me a full 10 years to understand the meaning of those words. I never expected to hear a similar phrase from this today. Could the answer I have been seeking lie with? Man Kang mumbled, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out from behind. Found it. He was angry for being disturbed, turning to glare at the approaching figure. But upon closer inspection, it turned out to be an acquaintance. Lai Han, the divine doctor, approached with an angry expression, clenched fist, and charged toward Disa. Do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? Lai Han grabbed Du and pulled him away. The divine healer yelled as he walked. Hurry up, I need to check your... Desiexu yawned and explained, I am just really... I am on my way to bed. Men Kang stood alone watching the two of them. He looked over at the trees he had just tended and thought, I really overdid it a bit. But Tun suddenly appeared and asked, what are you doing standing here? He looked after Lai Han, puzzled. Isn't he that the divine healer? I never imagined I would meet him like... Suddenly, Men Kang spoke up. I have found the answer I have been looking for all this time. As soon as he finished, Tun froze, not understanding what his old friend was talking about. A little while later, Du arrived home and immediately fell asleep, snoring peacefully on the bed. Lai Han sat beside him, looking at him with a happy expression. He thought to himself, unlike before, the bones have returned to the right position. The hemorrhage has gradually decreased and is recovering. He will live a comfortable life without worrying about illness. Truly healthy person. However, he was still worried. One did not know he had suffered from blood and energy loss. Even I, a divine healer, would not be able to recognize and would just overlook it. Now, the heavenly martial body has completely taken over. Loa Nian gently entered Desfaxq's room, anxiously asking, he has been sleeping for 2 days straight. Is something wrong? Lai Han continued with acupuncture, calmly replying, he is still healthy. Worrying is unnecessary. Suddenly, a strange sense spread through the room. Lai Han took a deep breath and suddenly realized this sense. Could it be Than Uzan? This is not suitable for a maid stat. He remembers Nam Kung John. That is right. It is clear that the Nam Kung family has hidden it somewhere. After a moment of hesitation, the divine doctor had also left, thinking to himself that he might have been mistaken. As soon as he finished speaking, Xung Han calmly took out a delicate pill, put it in his mouth, and handed another one to Loa Nian. The snacks were almost gone. She asked, should we have the deputy strategist get some more? Lua Niven nodded in agreement and had him go. That night, He finally woke up. He wandered around the mansion, lazily observing everything, his face clearly showing fatigue. After a long sleep, he sighed, realizing that he had been dragged from one place to another right after leaving the library. So tired, even after sleeping for 2 days, he still felt sleep. As he passed through the bamboo forest, he stretched, realizing he needed to take a walk but Desang did not expect suspect that there was a figure hiding behind a rock, observing all his actions. Suddenly, the rustling of leaves made him stop. Sensing something unusual, he glanced over and discovered someone was watching. Des, he shouted. Who is there? Bitan slowly stepped out from behind the bamboo bed. Compliment. Well done. Can recognize me. Des next to was startled and pointed at. I suddenly feel a chill. That was really scary. We are not close enough to meet like this in the middle of the night, are we? Batin Kwan quickly explained. After asking the maid, I found out you were here. I waited for you for 2 days, but since you were asleep, could not meet you, so I had to do it this way. Li Yin's mouth dropped open. You waited for me for 2 whole days. His eyes suddenly squinted before he looked up to ask. Wait, pointed towards Bat Tun. Puzzled. You are a martial artist. Bat Tun nodded. Can you feel it? I hide my internal power perfectly. Do not. Diso thought for a moment and then stepped back. Here. Could it be that you are a bandit? Bat Tun shook his head in denial. You should not compare me to those. Diso let out a sigh of relief, sat down on a nearby wooden bed, comfortably looking at Bat Tun. Thank goodness. No matter where you are from, I do not care. Even if you are a mountain bandit, I won't say a word. He lightly patted the chair, inviting him to sit down to rest his legs. Bat Tun suddenly lowered his voice, pointing at Diso. Scaring you. Do you not fear that I might assassinate? Diso chuckled. If you were dangerous, the maidens would not have told you where I was. Bat Tun laughed and then sat down next to this strange kid. The two sat silent, gazing at the sky, each lost in their own thought. A cool breeze blew by, the bamboo leaves rustling soft, creating a peaceful scene. But Tun gently spoke. Indeed, comfortably lie down on this big bed, laughing out loud. It is very comfortable as the saying goes. Ikuhu reminded. I did not tell you to lie down. Tun looked at him with dissatisfaction and instinctively sat up, coughed a few times and admitted. Anyway, I am indeed a member of the martial world. I used to be so great that you can't even imagine. Des excitedly asked. What about my father? Kun blushed and retorted. Except for him. You are just hard. E2 chuckled. I was just joking. Tuan wrapped his left arm around himself and said seriously. I once fought your father and lost an arm. Deku naturally felt tears welling up, not knowing why he understood the feeling. What he just said caught him off guard. Kwan shyly rubbed his. Do you feel sorry for me because I lost an arm? Wee Extra wiped away his tears while shaking his head. Desi Extra lowered his head, tears silently falling, overwhelmed by indescribable emotion. You must have gone through a lot of hardship. Tun nodded while picking his nose. Yifang suddenly grabbed his hand, feeling a surge of doubt. Could it be that this snotty kid is the one hiding in the Nam Kung family to seek revenge? My father really is someone who only knows martial art, a tough and stubborn man. But Khan was embarrassed, his face turning away, unable to look straight. Desi suddenly had an idea. If he really wanted revenge, there was only one way. But Tan, although not interested, seriously asked, what way is that? This kid is young but really cheap. Desi smirked. That way is if you live to be 130 years old, then you can defeat my father. No one can fight against age. That is just how it is. Desi pretended to punt, looking up at the sky, advising Ba, just give up. If you give up, you will feel more at ease. Normally you think that regression can achieve everything, but whether it is regression or reincarnation, nothing changed. In the past, you were stabbed in the stomach, so seeking revenge against the Nam Kung family and the brothers is just. Des stood alone, sighing. You should go back and trim the trees instead. Batun immediately turned and left in a panic. Suddenly he stopped, unleashing a surge of power. Waves of fiery energy spread throughout the forest. A beam of golden light appeared. Batun roared. I have spent over a decade realizing something so simple. Des was so startled he nearly wanted to run away. The angrier Batun got, the more his power exploded. He was like a giant flame radiating bright red light. He felt enlightened, telling himself, that is right. If I give up, I will feel more at ease. Batuan's eyes shone brightly like lights in an auditorium. He looked like a giant god, filled with mysterious power. Yihang stood tucked in a corner, watching Batun unleash his power, secretly thinking, the Yan Nin Thu Alam. Batun possessed kind, clearly a renowned master of martial arts, clasped his hands as he walked, and Zio asked in surprise, did you learn the martial arts of Thiku Lam? Batun smiled gently, nodded. Adia, he reminded, please convey my message to the deputy military advisor. If I survive and return, I will accept his proposal. Then Batun flicked his robe and left, saying, well, I will go ahead. Still in shock, quickly called out, wait, it seems like you intend to take revenge for my father. What if we let everything pass quietly as it is now? Batun's eyes showed determination. Didn't you say already, giving up would be more comfortable? Now I am going to give up. Theseus scratched his head in confusion. What I mean is not to give up this life. Before he could say more, Batun vanished, leaving only his echoing voice. So right after our reunion, Ziku sighed, looking up at the stars in the sky, wondering if there would be a tomorrow. Thinking back, questioned what that deputy strategist wanted to clean up this. Batun came looking for Nam Kung Han. He appeared before the Nam Kung family, gazing at the sign with mixed feelings, thinking that when we meet again, I will officially greet, and he was curious about what the world created by him would be like. Men Kang had already appeared beside Batuan, gently asked, as I meeting the young master is great, right? Batun nodded and laughed loud. That is right. The two of them stepped forward together, confidently entering the enemy's. Men Kang said, come on. The invisible chains of the Nam Kung family had tightly bound them, the chains that had restrained them for the past 10 years. Men Kang and B2 Kong confidently walked, meeting Nam Kung Han. Batun spoke up, Adia, it has been over 10 years since we last met like this. Today I come to challenge. Men Kang made the request. The Buddha is boundless. Can we both join forces? Nam Kung Han slowly stood up, his cold voice ringing out. Alright, if it is the two of you, then you do have the qualifications to challenge me. He summoned his divine aura, each step exuding power, as if just a single step could crush his opponent. You must have your answer by now. So what does this duel with me mean? Men Kang stood firm in the face of the tremendous pressure, resolutely replied, right now I am just a guard, but no matter what, I am still a martial artist, so I have come here to challenge. The 8 lords also spoke. How could I come to see you without enough determination? Nam Kung Han's gaze swept over the two, a hint of surprise crossing his. He realized they had changed. Why have you changed? The 8 lords glanced at him and replied, I will tell you why. Nam Kung Han burst out laughing, his voice full of excitement. Interesting. 3 of them immediately charged at each other, their divine energy erupted, countless beams of light intertwining, bringing with them a sense of depth. A loud explosion rang out, shaking the entire auditorium. Flames erupted. When the smoke cleared, Men Kang and the 8 lords had vanished, leaving only 2 deep holes in the corridor. Nam Kung Han looked at them with keen interest. They had taken a hit. Indeed, the two had been beaten, their limbs torn, and in so much pain they could not stand up. Nam Kung Han coldly asked, what is the reason? Men Kang laughed loud. You know, right, you have changed too. Nam Kung Han still did not understand. Suspiciously asked. The 8 lords gently replied, just look into our eyes to see the reason. We have changed just like you must know that by now, right? Nam Kung Han immediately thought of his son. His expression slowly changed, mumbling, I have changed. Finally, Men Kang and the 8 lords could not bear the internal injury, collapsed unconscious. Nam Kung Han was originally a bloodthirsty person. He once again gathered his energy, prepare for an attack. Suddenly, his gaze changed, and he retracted his power, his arms slowly lowering. He realizes himself, perhaps he has changed. Looking Looking back, Man Kang and Batun had fainted on the spot, no longer aware of any, and there were more interesting things to come. The next morning, in a small room behind the manor, Diso sneaked in. What are you sisters doing there? Lian jumped and turned around. Young Matt, what are you doing here? Du presented a small gift, giggling. Please take this little elixir. The head maid told me that you sisters always take care of and help, and I also wanted to come greet the two of you in the room. Lian was touched. Teary-eyed, Du walked over to the sick, her eyes suddenly widening as she recognized the two familiar faces. Why are you two here? Man Kang and Batun covered their face. Sighed. Namkung beside them also noticed something unusual, clapping to praise. Glad you both survived. Came back. Man Kang glanced, annoyed. Sounds like you wanted us dead. Du stepped back, somewhat frightened. Now I understand. You were not looking for death, were you? The other two stammered. Well, it is, but we really are lucky. Lian slowly approached. Surprised. Young master, do you know them? Diso looked at the two, nodding. Yeah, let us say that. Then he asked Lian to step outside for a moment, his voice becoming urgent. I have something to discuss with these stubborn old men. When the maids left, Man Kang and Batun slowly sat up, their bodies aching all over. They got to the point. Now, tell me why you two are still. Man Kang looked up at the sky and down at the ground, stammering, chickened out. I do not really remember anymore. Du's smile gradually lost its warmth, so he had to make them remember. Du brought up the past, inquiring about the appearance of the Wudang sect leader and the abbot of Shaolin Temple. Hearing this, the two people were startled and scared. Di pretended to be calm, then suddenly announced that there were two mice hiding in the Namkung family. Men Kang immediately jumped out of bed, while Balloon Kong cried without tears, vowing to tell the whole truth. Men Kang's heart was filled with bitterness, thinking about being defeated by Namkung Han, losing his position as the sect leader, and now being discovered as a servant in his house. This bizarre situation left him quite surprised. Looking at Bethit, he was even more agitated, his hands clenched and trembling, sitting motionless. Men Kang anxiously advised, if you do that, I will lose my teeth. Beton was so frustrated he could not speak. Di continued to question, what happened when you left Shaolin Temple that shocked you so much? Or did you vandalize the ancestors' hall? Toon admitted it was. For the first time in his life, the master was so angry that he crushed the target into powder. He sadly exclaimed, I would rather be scalded by the master. His eyes seemed to emit fire. Dio finally understood the problem, silently thinking that judging by their reaction, he must have guessed correct. Dio suspected these two had learned martial arts improper, perhaps stealing to escape the pursuit of Shaolin and Wudang, which is why they had fled to the Namkung family. He demanded they answer exactly what he asked. Man Kang whispered to Bat Tun, can't you smell the aura of righteousness from his body? Bat Tun nodded and quietly replied, if it is this kid, who knows? He might be able to take down the monster that we had given up hope eating. Dis suddenly said, the weather's nice, perfect for going home. Then he seriously looked, summarizing the situation. Previous, you two challenged my father, lost, and then returned to create chaos, only to be caught and driven away by someone of higher status. Right. The two nodded in confirmation. Des continued, as you said, besides my father, you also fought against about 50 other from Namkung. Right. The two nodded again. Deslink wondered, but hey, why do you two clinging to me like flies? The other two, where it hurt, awkwardly rubbed their head, their actions somewhat resembling flies. Men Kang whispered to Bach, we have nowhere else to go now, so we have to help each other. Des mocked, you challenged my father, failed, got fired, and now you are here asking me to take responsibility. The two were cornered, and Men Kang whispered, he is right, is not. Yanks was furious, his face turning red, but he still tried to stay calm. The Taiji Sword King and the Buddhist sect are both powerful forces. Clueless deputy strategist still begging to be part of my team. It sounds a bit lame, but I guess I need some power to deal with. He looked at the two, seriously asked, I know you two are not ordinary, but one cannot rely solely on instinct. If you want to maintain power, you first need money. Do you two have money? Men Kang glanced at Bai Tun, chuckled, I spend it all on drink. The two laughed heartily, innocently saying, what does money matter? Yangsu fumed internally, thinking these old men are not even officially part of a powerful family. Do not dream of getting financial aid from them. His expression suddenly changed, filled with determination. If you want to join me, you must pay a membership fee of 100 taels of silver. There will be rewards for the victor. Men Kang suddenly became serious, looking directly at Da. Little hero, seems like you are mistaken. The membership fee you are talking about is not ours. Vasius was taken aback. Really? How does it compare to my father's? The two immediately shook their head. That is not it. I have been here for a few hours now, and chuckled light. After all, I am a person of conscience. As long as there is money, that is enough. If you give me money, I will help you to adjust your martial art. Men Kang and Baton lit up excitement. Really? Outside, three people were listening intently. Lua Niven pressed against the door, murmuring, this is getting more Sung Han Hoen also seemed curious. How did those three know each other? Loa Nian looked down at his stomach. A gurgling sound echoed. Am I hungry? The other two nodded in agreement. Hearing him say that reminded they were feeling hungry too. Loa Niven laughed loud. Then let us eat. She opened the bag that Des had given. Inside were several sparkling elegant pills. Honan was surprised. Aren't these from the young master? What if we eat them and he asks for them back later? Loa Niven relaxed. What do you have to worry about? I still have some in my room. Can replace them easily. After all, this is just the beginning. Let us. Sung Han encouraged Honan. The divine doctor said it too. As long as you sleep comfortably, when you wake up, everything will be fine. Nava nodded. Really? Just now. The old men all looked normal. Three of them simultaneously grabbed a few pieces of the fragrant Thanella Dan. Alright, eat up. Suddenly, a panic shout came from afar. Three hurriedly popped the Thanno Dan into their mouth, and Lihan rushed over like a goat. His face as red as a hot, shouting, everyone stop right now. Three were startled, fearfully looking at it, as Lihan snatched a few pieces of Thanna Dan, finally asking in anger, this looks very familiar. Could it be Thanna Dan? How did you get this? Lo and Nin innocently replied, I was given it. Lihan could not believe who would give it to you. Just then, footsteps echoed, and a cheerful voice rang out. Today, you all met Mei. Nam Kung John holding the box of Thanno Dan, walking slowly towards them. Lihan angrily snatched the box from Nam Kung John's hands. When he opened it, painfully realized there was only one Than and Dan left. He trembled and asked, where did all of it go? Nam Kung Ryong calmly replied, of course it is all been eaten. Lihan's eyes narrowed with murderous intent. Do you know what this is? Nam Kung John laughed loudly, pointing at the box. It is Than Nan. It says so on the box. You are still teasing, and your eyes are already dim. You are really getting old. Lihan cried without tear, angrily looked at the sky and growled, then turned to Nam Kung John, his aura intent, his voice cold, and the maidens around him also exuded the scent of Than No Zan. How many pills had they eaten? 5 pills, 7 pills, or 10 pills? Nam Kung Dian was startled and stammered. Why are you like this? Then he quickly said, could it be that the divine doctor wants to eat too? That is the. You should tell me. I will secretly give you one. Already angry, encountering someone annoying, Lihan's eyes were bloodshot, and he crushed the box in his hand with his aura. Nam Kung Dian was scared and ran away, shouting, I said I would give it to you. Why are you treating me like help me? The sudden noise attracted the attention of the three people in the room. Deses curiously opened the door to check the situation. He shouted, what is all the noise outside? When he saw Nam Kung John, whom he had not seen in a long time, with his face smeared with tears, ran over and called out to the young master earnestly. Weasley was originally planning to find him, but when he saw him appear, he immediately yelled, "What are you doing?" Before he could finish his sentence, Namkung-jong quickly hid behind him, looking very scared. Des was even more surprised. What is going on? Lihan also walked over to ask about the situation of Men Kang and Ba Tun. These two seemed to still be awake, and they immediately thanked Lihan. Thanks to you, we can rest comfortably, but you should still rest a few more days. Lihan advises, but Man Kang and Ba Tun shake their head. No need. We have urgent work to do. Meanwhile, Dion is still trying to cling to Brother Ko's leg, while Diso just wants to give him a beating. Lihan looks at Namkung-jong with a deadly glare. Then there is no other way. I have things to do too. Desiax grins wick. I have grasped the situation. He immediately handed Namkung-jong over to Lihan. Seems like he wants to chat more with, right? Lihan nodded in agreement. Then he grabbed Namkung's collar and dragged him away. Namkung could only scream in despair. Please, young master, do not. Did not care. He turned to chat with the maid. You ladies go ahead. I need to talk with these two for a bit or joining you. For a while, everyone left. Three walked to the bamboo fort behind Desku's manor, as if they were familiar. Leading them here should be fine. Feel free to use any martial arts you know. I will observe. If anything is off, I will let you know. Men Kang gently drew his sword and acknowledged the order. The sword was raised high in the air, a deadly aura slowly enveloping the space around. Men Kang followed the direction of the Than Kim's move. The divine energy shifted accordingly. Men Kang gently moved the sword, tracing fluid lines with the blade. The energy emanating was incredibly strong. Just a light swing was enough for Du to sense death approaching. A large amount of spiritual energy pushing him back. A wave of energy brushed against his face. He felt it like a breeze. Bat Tun beside him said, "Are you serious?" Man Kang seemed to merge with the sword, unconcerned with the world as he gracefully moved the blade. The sword was directed towards the wind, harmonizing with nature. His martial arts were based on that foundation. Finally, Man Kang's swordsmanship reached the highest realm. Man Kang was drenched in sweat, sighing in relief and asked, "How was that?" He clapped in signal. It was indeed pretty good. Man Kang suddenly viewed, unsure if it was praise or criticism. Both Bat Tun and Man Kang were a bit annoyed that their skills were not recognized. Pointed at Desix Khan. No matter what, lying it really bad. If it is about pride, just say it. No need to do that. We understand. Desix Chua was thinking hard. What should I do? I really feel that way. Prove his words. Ruta. Desix Chu directly grabbed the sword from Man Kang's hand. Give me the sword. I will swing it just like you did. He stepped to a front corner, and Man Kang called out, "Alright, if you can do it, then go ahead and try." Man Kang laughed heartily, proud expression evident on his face. Since he was young, he had spent decades hunting Tai Chi, refining its perfection. He understands that only those who are deeply enlightened can wield him. Dessa closes his eye, focusing on sensing the soul of the sword. He recalls every move, every gesture, every technique that Men Kang just demonstrated. Then, Des swings the sword, skillfully maneuvering the hub Kimim in the way Men Kang had illustrated. At this moment, Men Kang looks at the young master, his eyes wide with astonishment. Indeed, who resembles him from back in the day. From the flowing techniques of the sword rising and falling, moving left and right, it was unmistakable. Batun approaches his friend and says loudly, "Not bad at all." Dest is still engrossed in moving with the sword. The second technique of the closed system is gradually reaching its conclusion. After firmly grasping the sword in his hand, Desun realizes that this martial art grows stronger the more it is practiced. Now, he understands why martial artists are willing to sacrifice their lives for such extraordinary skills. Let us dance the sword a bit more, shall we? Batun suddenly realizes something. Men Kang beside him is so astonished it is as if he has been struck by light. He witnesses the martial skills he has painstakingly honed over the years being effortlessly replicated by a child. The sharp tip of the sword pierced through a falling leaf beside a surge of spiritual energy pouring. The second technique of him. Dees moved the sword in a few graceful strokes to showcase stability of the blade, enveloping his body. His sword strikes were quick and decisive. His body soared, blending with the sword movement. Step, each swing, the leaf swayed in rhythm with while dancing. His mind was racing. I do not want to stop. I want to practice more. He told himself, just a little more. Practice a bit more for those two old men to see. Inside Dees's body, the green seed was vibrating continuously, radiating powerful energy. Bat-Ton stared wide-eyed in amazement, exclaiming, maybe after he finishes training, we will have to sneak back to the sect. He suddenly stopped and said, that is enough. I can't think of anything else. At the same time, he reminded, don't force it. Go with the feeling. Got it. This technique is very suitable for that old man who steals fruits from the Wuding sect. The more he practiced, the lighter and more comfortable his body. That is why people in the martial world risk their lives. The Tai Chi Hoi sword is not some kind of theft, right? Those teachings from Du opened Men Kang's eye, making him tremble. Suddenly, he shouted, do you want to join me in establishing the greatest martial arts school in the world? His face lit up as if he had just found gold. Eagerly grabbing Izexko's hand, proposal. I will take responsibility, promote you to headmaster. The 8 lords also agree. Amitabha, have you heard of Shaolin for 1,000 years? Do you want to help me turn Shaolin into the #1 Buddhist sect in the world? The Yangstu was just having previously mentioned that strange request. Show me your martial art. Hearing that, he shook his head vigorously and refused. I did not see it that way. So Vu waved his hand and walked away. Then I am leaving. If you bring 200 tael, I will teach you even more. After thinking about it, come to the temple to find me. Seeing him refuse, Batun pondered. Men Kang had lost the Hud Kim to this kid. After seeing that, can't reveal my techniques easily. He recalled the moves Zexku had just shown and wondered, why do I sense the aura of Masterite Ma from that child? Not letting him think any further, Men Kang held his sword, mumbling, 200 tael. Just need 200 do it. This made Batun panic and ask, where are you going? Put on a grim face and replied, I am going to the martial arts school to steal 200 tael. Right. The old man shouted helpless. Have you lost your mind? Batun then patted his friend on the shoulder, advising, the skills you have trained your whole life were just copied by that kid in one go. You must be in shock. He has a rare talent, no different from a genius. But geniuses are very rare in this world. Do not worry. Man Kang seemed to ignore all the words with a sad look. You do not understand. There is a story only passed down to the heir of the Thanhu sword. He suddenly recalled the words of his master from long ago when the two stood on the grass. His master's colico, Man Kang. At that time, he was still a young teenager who hurriedly responded. The old master sighed, his voice full of disappointment. I accepted you as my disciple before because I saw your talent, but you lack the character of a true martial artist. Man Kang blushed, scratched his head, and apologized. I have been less hot-tempered lately. I won't fight my junior brothers for no reason anymore. Master. The master gently called his name. Man Kang quickly replied, Master. The golden sunset enveloped the scene, creating a solemn atmosphere. The master continued, a true martial artist never fights. Then he drew his sword, his tone calm. Alright, now that you have become the heir of the Thanhu sword, I will tell you the legend that that is only passed down to the hair of this sword. The master began to demonstrate his martial art, the sword creating swirling winds around, leaving Mankang dumbfounded in amazement. The master advised, later, when your sword no longer has the wind, the world will tremble under the blade of martial art. The end of the lesson. Mankang was still not fully understanding the meaning, and exclaimed, Master, the sword must have wind. The master smiled gently. That is right, which is why it is called a legend. Back in the present, he was walking down the road, his mind wandering. He told himself, what martial art? The world will tremble under the name Namkung instead. He whistled as he walked, leaving Mankang watching, thinking, I wonder if those old men who spent their lives training in martial arts are nate. I should have asked for a higher price. Maybe I could have earned over 200 tael. He regretfully watched Iso's back, long felt dissatisfied. Was there really no other way? I do not like him. Baton saw this and grabbed Mankang's hand, saying as they walked, can't go up the mountain to steal money from those kids. 200 taels is equivalent to 2 wins of our work. For an ordinary person, it takes 10 years. The only way to get that amount of money is to follow this plan. After hearing that, Mankang was excited, laughing loud. Damn it. Fine. You think I enjoy this? The Golden Pavilion. Fierce argument was about to break out. A shout rang out, breaking the silence. Who wrote the ledger yesterday? A timid servant replied. It was the one who wrote the last part. The deputy head was furious, grinding his teeth. It was him who called him here. He had written the wrong name so many times. How much did I sell yesterday that there was a mistake? Where is he? A hoarse voice of an old man rang out. You called me. The deputy chief shouted, pointing and scolding. Called me, you jerk? Am I under your command? Even without the chief's order, I can still kick you out. The person was Jiang Mei, but he seemed indifferent to the deputy chief's word, turning away in anger. If you have nothing, I am leaving. The deputy chief shouted in frustration. Stop right there. Jiang Mei turned back, but that look made the deputy chief thinking to himself, that gaze is terrifying. He lowered his voice. If you feel tired, just tell me to take a break. Because of you, the records from yesterday have to be redone. Jiang Mei replied coldly. I am sorry for the mistake. That statement only made the deputy chief angry. He slammed the table, pointing at Jiang Mei. This can't be resolved with just an apology. Starting tomorrow, you need to leave the Golden Tower. Jiang Mei widened his eye, asking back. The chief allows me to leave. The deputy chief panicked. I will convince the chief. Hurry up and leave. He countered. Are you sure you won't? The deputy chief firmly asserted. The only regret in my life is not knowing my wife was cheating and just giving her money. In response to his confession, the old man laughed loud. That is something worth regretting. The more he spoke, the more he threw the deputy chief off balance. This old man even mocked someone else's situation. If it were not for the chief's order, I had not even finished. Jiang Mei's face turned serious, radiating a terrifying aura. I will take revenge for you. If it is money, there is nothing in this world can't be done. The deputy chief did not care about the old man's proposal. His face flushed like a pepper, seemingly about to blow. He shouted loud, you do not even know where you will be, and you want to take revenge right now. It is not because of my wife, but because of you. I am about to lose my mind, so get out of here immediately. The old man turned away, trying to throw in one last remark. What a pity. The deputy lord's son were a bit older. He might witness you collapsing because of me, leaving a child without a father, and even I would feel a pang of guilt. With simple but lethal words, he had made the deputy lord so furious he was foaming at the mouth, causing the servants to panic. Deputy lord, wake up. Doc, go get the doc. They hurriedly carried the deputy lord away, constantly calling out, Deputy lord, wake up. After they had disappeared, the old man smirked, tossing a piece of paper onto the table. I was going to send this directly to you, but it is too This is the last gift. Paper indicated the third house to the right on the outskirts of San County. His fat wife was hiding there, finishing his task. The old man clasped his hands behind his back and strolled leisurely, wondering, where should I go now? Have I paid off my debt to the lord, or should I go home? Someone caught his attention. It was Betha Tun and Men Kind. Betun politely extended his hand. Can I borrow 200 tael? The old man replied, I thought you were some beggar. That is all you want to borrow. Jiang Mai squinted, pondering why these proud beggars come here. He stroked his beard and smiled cunningly. I can smell money strongly. Jiang Mai clasped his hands and said sternly, so you need 200 taels to join the influence of the young master from the Nam Kung family. Men Kind annoyed extended his hand. You know? Then just lend it to us. We will pay you back later. As if sensing something, the old man smiled cunning. You too join. Then those under you will join as well. Around feet right. The question made Bat Tun worried. He thought to himself, he can smell money, can't he? Bat Tun recalled Jiang Mei's path, a time when he was called the king of gold, the one holding the most money in Central. As long as there is money, his parents, children, and wife would all be sold. A money-obsessed person could do anything. Jiang Mei sarcastically remarked, only 200 taels and you want me to go get it? Raise the amount. Call all your all over. His words left the two stunned. What? Confidently declared, whether it is 10,000 or 100,000 tael, I will decide after meeting the young master in Dessa's palace. A sharp sword flew up into the sky. He was focused on practicing his swordplay in the courtyard, while several girls watched each of his graceful moves. Ho Nao and Xuang Nan were chatting while eating. Suong Nan asked Vu, you started dancing with the sword right after arriving. Is something happening outside? Hona added, don't you think it is amazing? I thought martial arts would not suit us as it is aggressive, strong, and rigid, but watching the young master wield the sword, I find it very peaceful. Lianian also joined the conversation. Manager, is martial arts really that graceful? She held 2 cakes in her hand, eating while replying, I have never seen it like that. I've seen many types of martial art, but the young master's style is a bit different. If it is that kind of martial art, I want to practice it too. The manager looked towards the door, sensing something was about to happen. It seemed someone was coming. The girls did not understand what was happening. Puzzled. Why did you say that? That feeling was indeed not wrong. Immediately, a group of tall, fierce men kicked the door and walked. Ho Na and Lianin were startled, wondering why the older men should be working right now. Xung Han rushed out to stop. The elders came here without any notice. What is going on? Men Kang replied sternly and polite. We only come when there is something important. Besides, the young master already knew about. Sen Han responded, really? Can the elders wait for the young master to finish his sword dance? He has been practicing for a while now. The surrounding noise was irritating for Death, who was trying to concentrate with his eyes closed. He thought to himself, why is it so noisy around? The green seed inside him vibrating as he danced the sword and said, that is right. There were many people watching early, so I had to intentionally suppress my internal power. Every sword move of his seemed to penetrate every muscle and cell. I can't exert too much force, so this time I will just let my internal energy flow naturally. Suddenly, he opened his eyes wide in shock. It felt like he could see and feel every sword stroke of his, and he was somewhat surprised. Clearly, for his sword moves had been blocked at this point, but now he could see a new path. Having untangled the block, Des joyfully danced the sword freely. So that is it. From this point, I will need my internal power. And the green seed inside him seemed to have unlocked a new level, turning into a reddish hue. He laughed joyfully. Fantastic. That is right. This is my new dance. I will call it Cloud Sword. Suddenly, exclaimed. Now he realized there were many people standing around him. Desi stood in the center of the courtyard under the gaze of of many eyes who had no idea what was happening. He raised his voice to ask everyone. Everyone gaped in disbelief. Des casually asked why everyone was in a panic. Mankind. Red suddenly rushed over to him to question. What was that just now? The old man's eyes were spinning, his mouth firing question. Did you finish the first move and then go to the second? I am very surprised. That was definitely Hub Kiem, I know. What was that sword tech just now? Jiang Men behind pushed the old man aside, reminding him. Dante Kozasine, step aside. The old man looked at Xiexu with eyes sparkling and filled greed, confidently introducing. You are Hu, the young master of the Nam Kung family. Hello, I'm Jiang Men. The formal greeting. He frowned and asked, making the old man embarrassed and speechless. He ignored it and turned back to Xung in hand. Asked, but what are you all doing here? She replied, young master, they said they had an appointment. Yang shouted in denial. What the hell? I do not have any appointment at all. Since Men Kang was still in shock. Tunkan spoke up to repeat, forgive me for coming here suddenly, but we really do have an appointment. You mentioned the joining fee. Do not you remember? Desine looked blank and repeated, is the entrance fee really 100 tael? Seeing that he seemed to remember, Bat Tung confirmed, that is right. Once you mention money, you immediately start bargaining. So they all came here to pay the entrance for me. One person, 100 tael, a total of 5,000. Just a glance shows they all look like beggars. How could they come up with that money? Jiang Man walked over to Dexo and casually said, if it is money, I have enough. Dexo still did not recognize him and irritably asked, who are you to interfere in my business? Jiang Man calmly replied, have you ever heard of Qianhe Dian Zhuang? Year ago, someone called me the #1 estate in the world. The statement startled Dexo, leaving him stunned and unsure how to react. He continued, I am the owner of that trading company. You have sent many interesting items to my estate every year. Dexo remembered that when he was young, he had asked his sister to send those items to Qianhe Dian Zhuang. Jiang Man chuckled lightly. Our estate keeps secrets well. Everything you send is confidential. I will show you proof that I am trusted. Saying that, pulled out a stack of yellow banknotes and asked, is this enough? Everyone around was stunned by the huge sum of money. Jiang Man loudly declared, each note is worth 10,000 taels of silver, a total of 5 notes. The remark hit Dexo like a thunderbolt, leaving him dazed. His attitude changed immediately. His face bright, and he eagerly began to invite. Oh my, it is such an honor to have a distinguished guest. It is scorching hot. Please come in and rest. The sudden change from Desai surprised Exting on Anne and Lua Nevin beside, who whispered, our young master loves everything, especially money. He has always had a thing for it. Jiang Men laughed loud. Just come inside first. I did not say I would give you money yet. Desi X2 softly flattered. So what do you need? The elder replied. Do you know Nam Kung I? Yan was taken aback. Now, why is the elder mentioning? Jiang Men's face turned cold. I want to take revenge on Zivinku panicked. His voice dropped. I want to see him get bad. Can you do that? You agree to this deal? Whether it is 50,000 or 100,000 tael. Promise to support you fully. Fluss waved his hand. Wait a minute. He looked around at everyone, anxiously asked, are all the people here those who stayed to take revenge on the Nam Kung family? As he finished, the atmosphere suddenly became, and everyone's faces were filled with murderous intent, harboring deep resentment. In front of this scene, Yangsku turned pale, feeling overwhelmed. Suddenly, one of them spoke up, sounding annoyed. What did you just say? This left the Yank's speech, covering his mouth with his hand, mumbling. Whoa, I was so surprised that I blurted it out. However, he quickly reconsidered. Wait, why should I care about their look? Think and act. Yangsto shouted angrily, pointing. I said you guys are crazy. Did I say something wrong? He looked at B Tun and Menkind, judging the old men who claimed they wanted revenge, getting chased away in the end. What kind of standing is that? Thought everyone would be angry, but on the contrary, they burst into laugh. Crazy. That is right. We are all crazy. Diso said confusingly. Stop laughing. What is wrong with you all? Are we all crazy? Everyone there was crying from laughing too much. They wiped their tears and explained. That was the most relaxed thing we have heard in a while. We can say that we have temporarily let go of what we have been holding back for decades. We feel relieved. Please understand us. One person prayed. Du said, your sword is really good, very commendable. Hu's sword is Hu's sword, and yet it breaks mold, and it does not get worse but rather beautiful. You have done something that everyone here could not do for 50 years. That person then clasped their hands and bowed to Jiang Maineni. Jiang Maineni, I hope you can help by giving him 100 taels. The others saw this and followed suit. In unison, they said, Bat Long, 3 demons, 7 demons, true heavenly sword. Deso was panicked, sweating profusely and exclaimed, what the heck is going on? Bat Tin also clasped his hand. Bat a ton. First then, Manakong said sternly, Taichi sword manhwarerecap, and everyone bowed respectfully and shouted before Jiang Mainevin, we hope you help. Please give him 100 taels. Zhu has a headache and feels dizzy, his vision blurring from everything happening. Oh boy. Jiang Mun turns around, clasping his hands, asking for his opinion. Dear third young master of the Nam Kung family, may you accept our present? Feeling awkward and unsure of do. Everyone is misunderstanding. I have no intention of taking revenge, and I also do not have the strength to do that. But everyone immediately retorted. In the young master's sword dance, we saw it clearly. Yexu exclaimed in shock. That was just a dance. What did you see? Men Kang stepped up and seriously lied. What you just performed is not just a sword dance, but the Tai Chi wisdom sword. The old man nodded, his expression serious. Dexia pride pointed at himself and asked, do you mean the Tai Chi wisdom sword? The strongest martial art that I just formed. Seeing Dake still confused, but Twun took action aside and threw a power, creating a gust of wind that blew DX2's hair. He asked in a serious tone, can you do that? If so, channel your internal energy. Dexto hesitated for a moment, then gathered his energy and threw it. Immediately, the wall in front of him exploded. Dexto stared in disbelief. What is this? He looked at the destroyed wall and asked, what was that? Baton stroked his chin and exclaimed, amazing. What you just did is the hundredths divine. Dexto was still puzzled. What is that? Suddenly he pointed at a person holding a sword and said, hey young, show us a move. Anything is fine. Person nodded and drew his sword. A strong gust of wind appeared as if created by the blade, and he soared high with the wind. DX2 did not hesitate, drew his own sword, and also flew up lightly like a feather. Everyone cheered and applauded. He landed to the amazement and praise of everyone. However, Meso became dizzy from performing too many techniques once. I secretly thought I really could do it. Tun laughed loud, truly a rare outstanding talent. Baku recalled the sword moves he just practiced, wondering, maybe it is because I only learned the basics. He opened his eyes wide, secretly thinking, is it true that Lane created the 3 major sword to master all sword? And it seemed he understood everything. Jiang Men clapped happily. On a beautiful day like today, can we not have wine? Today I am treating everyone to wine. Eat and drink freely. Immediately, the servants brought in dishes one after another. The atmosphere became lively like a fest. However, only Yangsu weakly waved his hand. I am still too young to drink. That evening, everyone happily ate, drank, and chatted, all feeling relaxed, saying, let us celebrate the good news. Suddenly a voice called out, old uncle. That is, he respectfully poured wine for the old man to express his gratitude. Thanks to him, everyone could be joyful today. I invite him for a drink. The old man laughed heartily. Ha, all right. The wine invited by the young master must be good. Taking the opportunity, the Fink sat down and asked, why does the old man want to take revenge on the elder of Nam Kung. The old man pondered and replied, I wonder if the young master has ever had so much money, can't even count it. Jaimon recounted an old story. One day I woke up with an uncountable amount of gold. After realizing that, I found the world really boring. During my time as a merchant, I was bullied by those martial artists. From then on, I was determined to spend money like water. Z was confused. Spending money like water. The old man reminisced. Slowly, I bought many rare treasures. Legendary armor, mythical sword, legendary weapon, anything related to legend. I bought it all. I spent an enormous, uncountable amount of money, and in the end, I became impoverished. A group of martial artists gathered around, curious, and asked, what happened next? Memories of the past came flooding back. Images of the old man wielding a sword and defeating one opponent after another. I had faced them before. The initial challengers were not very strong. Just a few moves. I could easily defeat those third-rate masters. He continued, saying the third-rate fighter and ordinary people were not much. Only those of second rank and above were truly considered part of the martial arts world. After all, they could not pierce through the dragon-scale armor. When a first-rate fighter appeared, his sword flashed, and I was filled with fear. Just when I thought I might lose my life, the nine heavens poison under his elbow, worth 10 million taels, seeped into him, and I emerged victorious. The old man continuously recalled the past, his eyes wide with surprise. I realized that even as a warrior, when exposed to poison, he was just an ordinary person like me, and when the top masters, poisoning them was a bit difficult, but I still won. The old man quickly took a sip of wine, and looked down to continue. That is how it was I met. Nam Kung was just like that in the old man's memory under the twilight, leaning against the wall, exuding a terrifying presence. The old man's voice trembled as he said, he is a monster. Jiang Mun recalled the moment he met Nam Kung, and cheerfully said, so this is how people in the martial world are. I should have lived like this a long time ago. Even the martial masters pierce the dragon armor, so I have nothing to fear. The old man laughed heartily. Maybe I should challenge the #1 sect in the world. Suddenly, a person appeared, leaning against the wall, making the old man curious. The old man looked at Nam, his whole body radiating murderous, and thought, what is he doing blocking the way? Like Jiang Mun spoke up. Get out of the way. Curt remark made him tremble all over as he struggled to contain his anger. He did not hesitate to reply. The damn old man froze, pointing at himself fusion and asked, are you insulting me? As soon as he finished speaking, he erupted with terrifying power. Brawl. Because of your damn self, you made me escape from the transformation realm. Now I can never enter it again. Nam Kung's face turned red. The murderous aura was overwhelming. Entering the transformation realm was the moment of enlightenment. Come here. At that moment, the old man still did not know his strength and replied disdainfully, a beggar blocking the way. Turns out to be a madman. I wonder if he is even a martial artist. What? You are boasting too much about the transformation realm. Without saying much, Nam Kung immediately launched an attack. The old man widened his eye, unable to react in time, and the sound of the clash rang out. I do not know when it happened, but Jiang Men's hat was flat and lying on the ground, and all he could do was exclaim. He laughed smug. I only hit lightly and it fell off. It is not made of paper. Is it? He flew into a rage, pulling a firecracker from his coat. Not just some boasting fool. Yeah, let us try this. As he lit the firecracker in his hand while shooting needles at him. Nam Kung Chine quickly raised his hand to shield himself, not knowing what that was. After finishing, confidently said, as long as you get hit by one of these needles, poison will spread throughout your body. Continued explaining, just count to 3 and you will lose your sight. After 8 more seconds, your flesh will start to conjure. 10 seconds, you will lose all your senses and feel pain as your heart and lungs are torn apart. After 30 seconds, you will be dead. He remained still, only bending down to look at the needles on his body. Manhwa. Jiang Man approached, holding the antidote bottle, calmly said, but I can't just kill someone I just met on the road. I will give you the antidote, because I think you have realized your mistake. But suddenly, Nam Kung Chine burst out laughing. Panicking, he shouted, do not be so arrogant. Just drink. He paid no attention and tilted his head back, spitting out the poison from his body onto the roadside stone. The stone he spat the poison on immediately started to vaporize. Jiang Man exclaimed, what is this? Nam Kung Chine just snorted soft, but immediately the veins on his face bulged like rope. He tensed up, and in the blink of an eye, the needles embedded in his body shot out. The old man opened his eyes wide, mouth agape in disbelief at the scene before him, yelling, no way. Pulled out the oxhorn needle himself, something even the divine doctor could not do. Nam Kung Chine stood tall, terrifying gaze fixed on the old man. He gritted his teeth and scoffed. When the needle pierced, I tensed my muscle. I could not stop the poison from entering, but it seems you are not too bad. If you were ordinary, you would have died instantly. The old man bowed his head, trembling, not daring to look straight. Suddenly, Nam Kung Chun grabbed the old man's armor shoulder. Continue. Looks like you have some interest. He lashed. One of the armor sleeves was torn apart by in a trembling voice. The old man looked at the armor and quietly, dragon scale armor. Nam Kung Chine showed great excitement. He madly tore apart the armor that the old man had always proudly mocked. What do you even use this for? The old man dared not do anything, just stood silently listening to his taunt, feeling immense pain inside. My treasure has fallen into the hands of this monster, ripped apart like paper. Finishing the destruction, Nam Kung Chun wiped the sweat from his forehead, his face full of pride. I did not expect my body to feel this good. It has been a long time since I felt like. He waved his hand and walked away, not forgetting to leave a parting remark. Thanks to you, I feel so refreshed. I will let you off. Jiang Mun, with his clothes torn, left with only his, stood shivering and watched him go. Before he left, the old man hurriedly asked, what is your name? Nam Kung Chun turned around, a cunning smile on his cold, and replied, you want to know to take revenge? The old man panicked. I am just curious. He scoffed. My name is Nam Kung Chun, from the Nam Kung family. After finishing, the old man gently poured himself a drink. Everyone around, including Det, was moved to tears by the old man's story. In the emotional atmosphere, one of them began to share. I was once called a genius of the year era. Once in the army, I thought I was a genius until I met that Nam Kung guy. Another person continued. Once I bumped into an old man. He said if I followed, I would never be beaten in my life. Looking back now, it turns out it was just a scam, like a storytelling competition. Each person took turns sharing their experience. A guy in a blue shirt scratched his head and said there was a martial arts tournament held in the village. Everyone said I would win, unless that Nam Kung guy happened to pass by. Another guy in an orange shirt said, I accidentally discovered the secret technique of a master level in a cave. I was as happy as if it were a fest. 10 years after stepping outside, I realized I was wrong. After hearing each person's circumstance, quietly sat and contemplated. 50 people gathered here were all notable talents in the local area. Just because they encountered the Nam Kung family, they fell from the heights into the pondered. Among those with the surname Nam Kung, I understand them the best. Looking into the bowl of wine before him, reflecting on his past, he sadly thought, perhaps like me back then, all these, even knowing the out, still can't give up. Suddenly, a voice rose up, surprising everyone. What is so difficult about these? I will do it. Dessing slammed the table, confidently declaring, the revenge you want, I will fulfill for you. Hearing this official declaration from everyone cheered with joy, lifting him up and shouting loud, long live the command. The next morning, when the sun had shone everywhere, V extra groggily woke up, complaining, my head, what did those old men drink so much? Before he could gather his thought, Lai Han, with a fierce expression, had been waiting for him and asked, "You are awake?" Crossed his arms, seriously saying, "This is a bit but I need to talk to you." Yangso suddenly asked, "What is going on?" His eyes wide, showing serious. Then he suddenly approached and grabbed his hand, earnestly pleading, "Please convince your maid to become my disciple." He recounted the recent event, explaining that he had met with the maids to inquire, apart from Than Nunno Zine, that Nam Kung Dian had given them anything else. He continued to express his feeling, surprised that just by smelling, they could distinguish all kinds of medicinal herbs, even pointing out the ingredients of each type. If they have such talent, it is no surprise they could not only become physicians, but also divine doctors. Lahang said seriously, "I tried to suggest they become disciples, but they refused, so I had to come directly to their master, which is you. I need your help. Please use your persuasive skill to convince them to change their decision. They agreed to become my disciple." Lahang pounded his chest. "I swear, I will join your group," led him, instructing as they walked, saying, "I can't force this. I will respect their opinion." Lahang also expressed his gratitude. "Thank you, really are better than your father." Suddenly, Desisi exclaimed, "What are those corpses?" In front of him was the sight of a people from last night, drunk and sprawled out at the table, completely oblivious to their surroundings. Lahang reassured him, "Don't worry, they still have life in them." Du leaned in, wondering, why is he here? He saw Nam Kung John struggling to pull a chubby man off the ground and shouted, "What are you doing?" This startled Nam Kung John, panicked and exclaimed, "Young master, explained as soon as he saw you. Why did you just arrive? Cleaning up these drunks is exhausting. My hands are about to break." But Desi just leaned on his hand, smiled, and said, "Seeing you struggle like this is quite good. Keep going." He then pushed the door open, causing the boy to groan in distress. "I am really exhausted." When Desi arrived, Sung Han and Hona, who were busy cooking, turned to greet him. "Young master, are you awake now?" Smelling the delicious food, he curiously asked, "Is that soup with bean sprout?" Lion Noon quickly and, "Would you like to try it?" He scooped a ladle to taste and compliment. "It looks delicious. By the way, let me ask, don't you girls want to become doctors?" 3 girls confidently affirmed without hesitation, "That is right. We want to spend our lives serving you." Hearing this, Desin was at a loss on how to convince. He looked at Lihan and asked, "So what should we do now?" Lihan replied, "Is it because of the young master that you girls rejected our offer?" But all 3 seemed uninterested in his words, focusing solely on their work. "Has the soup boiled yet?" Des also asked, "Is it really because of me?" He opened his sparkling eyes and exclaimed, "I am no longer a child who needs help." Suddenly, kitchen door burst open and a hand appeared. It was Nam Kung John, followed by Jiang Men. He loudly declared, "We also want you to become our disciple." The situation, which was already off, became even more tangled. Ziku angrily shouted, "What does this crazy guy suddenly want? And that old man too?" Hearing himself mentioned, Jiang Men replied, "I observed them yesterday. His eyes, looking at that treasure, were indeed extraordinary. The sharp gaze made me truly envy." Compliment. Xung Han was a bit taken aback. Nam Kung Dian walked over to Loa Nun and called her name. He looked at her with knife-like eyes and coldly said, "You are worth." Loa Nian worriedly listened. Beads of sweat formed. Then suddenly, he shouted loud, pointed as the strategist of Nam Kung John, "You are my age." Although she passed the provincial exam, due to her family's down, she became a maid, the eldest daughter, Lulanan. "This responsibility is something only you can take on." Then a scene unfolded where the 3 argued fiercely to claim her. Lihan angrily shouted, "I was the one who asked." Nam Kung Dian would not back down. Sarcastically replied, "You are being too greedy." Jiang Mun confidently said, "Aren't their opinions the most important?" Des, caught in the noisy argument, he could not take it anymore and decided to kick all 3 out to let the sisters think, asking them to wait outside. When it was just him and the sisters left, Z seriously began the discussion. "Now it is just us, sis. Go ahead and speak. Although this is quite it is a rare opportunity. I want to hear the honest opinions of all of you." Sister Nan spoke, "Honest, I am not sure either. Living with everyone is great, but I am also curious about the new world." Lion Nian continued, "Thanks to the grace of the Grand Lady, I was saved from a life of slavery, and I can never repay that debt. Taking care of the young master and later on was the happiest time of my life. I am happy to contribute. I will follow every request of the young master. There is only one master for me in this world." D closed his eyes to and then opened them to make a decision. "All right, then let us do it." He began to make decisions. Sister Swang Nan will follow the divine doctor. Sister Lion Nian will follow the deputy strategist, and Sister Hon Ha will become a disciple of Jiang Man. All 3 bowed their heads in agreement. "Understood." Diku added, "I will always keep your positions open. If you feel bored, just come back here. You are my family." His words moved the 3, and they were teary-eyed, calling, "Young master." Still taught. D put on a sinister face. "Sister Swang Han will become the medicine master, and your elixirs will also belong to me. Sister Lianin will become the strategist, and the operating costs will always be abundant. Sister Hona will become a disciple of Jiang Man, and the estate will become mine. We are about to get rich." All 3 forced a smile, unable to speak in front of his theater, realizing he might have overdone it. Dixtu cleared his throat. "I am just saying that. How could I enjoy everything by myself? We want to live happily. We need to be a little ambitious. The older sisters understand my feeling." "Right," the 3 of them replied. "Of course we understand very well." Then he led the older sisters to where the 3 people were waiting. Lihan asked, "How have you finished discussing?" Siso smiled and introduced, "Sisung Han will follow the divine doctor, Loa Nen will follow the deputy strategist, and Hona will become a disciple of Jiang Men." He said with a dangerous expression, "I hope you take care of these older sisters." This made all 3 worry. Think, why does it feel so unsettling? Don't bother everyone. I will tell them to quickly accept their master and decide. Well then, let us talk later. Everyone can go. After everyone finished talking to their disciple, Lihan happily said to Song Yi, "Just rest today. Come to the pharmacy tomorrow." A voice chimed in, "Your Majesty, are you dazed?" All the people who were just watching now gathered together with B, Tun, N, and Men. They shouted, "You are out now. What should we do?" They eagerly looked. "It is the first time we are paying our respects to a master. I am really looking forward to it." Desine looked at everyone, filled with energy, teasing, "Weren't you just looking at everyone like they were?" After saying that, he held his stomach and replied, "But now I have no interest in teaching anyone. Can't even protect my own belly. I am the one who needs to learn." Bikutun added, "That is something everyone knows. The young master's strength is about to surpass the 3rd rank." He retorted angrily, "When did I say I was a genius?" A voice chimed in, "But it was Men Kang," he said. "If the young master wants to learn our martial art, that is a different story. According to the young masters, do you want to learn martial arts from someone stronger than the 3rd rank?" The big guys stared at Men Kang continued, "From what I see, the martial arts of those here are not any lower than Nam Kung." The elder stood back and also gave me advice. "Depending on the martial arts method would be used, confused. You must directly use your body to feel it to learn. The elder burst out laughing without hesitation. Charged straight at death. You were still confused, not yet understanding what was happening. Amitabha. The old man swung his hand and threw a power punch that made ZNX's face contort. With a cunning expression, the old man continuously launched rapid at caught off guard. Defang could only shout, "Wait!" The old man paid no attention, continued to punch straight into his stomach, sending him flying a few meters away. Dessing gasped for breath after a series of relentless attacks. The elder wasted no time, using a technique that left Des with no choice but to endure. He continuously took from the old man without being able to fight back. The old man delivered a fierce, the dragon's horn striking straight into his chin. Next came a flurry of devastating punches. Zihing hurriedly raised both hands to defend, and finally, the old man delivered a decisive blow, up a cloud of dust. The elder laughed loud, mockingly saying, "How long do you plan to get hit?" Disif angrily swore, "Damn it," and charged forward, determined to fight back. He repeated the moves that Batan had just used. The old man skillfully dodged. Next, Long Geeky Ache Det swung his leg to throw it, forced the old man to lean back to avoid the blow, not forgetting to tee. Oh wow. He continued to unleash devastating, impressing those around. Nice. The young master is really good at fighting. Not joking at all. Can only say he is a genius. And they cheered enthusiastic. Des I'm bluff, embarrassed, and waved his hand. Why go that far? It seems you are easily embarrassed when complimented. Taking advantage of your distraction, Beakenheim threw a punch straight to your, making you slide down to the ground. The old man stepped closer, preparing to strike again. It is truly amazing. It reminds me of the glorious times before. Wei Yangst raised his hand to stop. Master, wait a second. But the old man ignored him, delivering it straight to your chin, sent you flying into the air. Batun shouted excited, "Exact. This is what living feels like. Swinging my arms feels great. After days of humiliation, the Buddha has finally given me the chance for revenge." Amitabha. Yangstu angrily cursed. That damn old man took advantage, and you retaliated with the tiger. Batintan fired up, rushed forward, and I will show you what the tiger fist really is. In the end, both of them faced off with their strike. The Yangstu realized his punch lacked power, and was immediately sent flying into the sky, then crashing down to the ground in a mess. Batun mockingly asked, "How long do you plan to get hit?" Though hurt, Zhu still retorted, "Are you sure this is a martial art trained over 10 years? Why is it that only I fell with the same martial art?" Batun scoffed, "Why is that? One person has only trained for a day, and another has trained their entire life. It is different." The Yangstu was furious inside. Now I understand why my father cut off the old man's hand. An ungrateful son. Not understanding his father's thought, he silently vowed, "I will definitely turn that head into a drum." The image of the old man's head turning into a drum flashed in his mind, while the old man continued to smile mock. 100 years is still a long way off. With overwhelming anger, Des Yanks continued to unleash the tiger. Crowd watching kept discussing without stop. "If you keep swinging like that, you will get hit again. I also want to take down the young master." He spun around to gain momentum, yelling, "The celestial scale strike," shaking the ground, then kicked backward at Bat-Ton. The old man quickly blocked it, and stepped back after being attacked. His X2 continued to lift his leg, ready to kick the old man in his mind. Thought his body lightly blocking the celestial strike, using his legs to counter with his short arm. Who says martial arts only use? Bat-Ton was not afraid at all. The old man grinned in delight, praising, "Not bad. Just I blocked your leg and knocked you off balance." Deck shouted in panic, "What?" Then quickly got back by the old man's counter move. He could not stop being surprised by the old man's move and exclaimed, "He also uses leg techniques in martial arts." I'm Lu. Desnexju fell to the ground, injured and passed out. Man Kang saw him unconscious and announced, "He has fainted." The old man turned to ask someone else. He had witnessed everything. What did they think? Truly a rare talent, able to discover the next level of martial art and internal power on his own, with innate ability and remarkable willpower. Here, surely no martial artist would see this exceptional talent and not want it. Man Kang smiled and said, "To learn all those martial arts, the young master will definitely be very busy in the coming time." The sunlight shone everywhere as a soft voice echoed. Desim rubbed his neck, sat up, and wondered, "My neck, how long have I been lying here?" In front of him, everyone was fighting with all their might. He had just woken up and was no longer dizzy. Brother Hong asked, "Are people fighting each other?" He spoke up, "What is this? Why are they fighting? Some are using weapons, while others are fighting barehanded." This made him curious. Suddenly, someone flew over to Des, startling him. Seeing he was awake, the person quickly asked, "Young master, when did you wake up?" The person continued, "While you were asleep, someone came looking for you, but we sent him away." The other person replied, "Just a big guy. You have been training in the mountain, so you do not know what is going on, do you?" The teasing made the other person angry. The two immediately jumped into a fight. "Are you crazy? Wanda, come in, and I will show you what it is like." Desi still did not understand what was going on. He looked at them annoyed and said, "Did they eat something strange?" From behind, Batuan and Men Kang appeared, telling him to just let it. "From now on, we are on the same side. It is time to establish rank." Desing wondered why the older ones were not joining the fight. B and Kun looked, gritting his teeth and replied, "We joined it would not be interesting. We all have our rank." Dessa observed everyone, secretly amazed. Just watching the matches look incredible. "How strong are they really?" Men Kang spoke up, "If you put in the effort, you will be stronger than them." Dio exclaimed, "Really?" Bat-Tung continued, "If you push yourself to the point of bleeding, you will be stronger than both." He explained further that if you train to the point of mad, you might even be stronger than both the celestial demon and the martial god. Dio put his hand on his chest, felt something, and said, "Then let us do it." His face flushed with confidence. "I want to try my best." Diso continued to observe everyone, quietly speculating. With such a relaxed expression, it seemed they had roughly arranged the order already. He sighed, "There are so many people. When will I remember all their names?" He walked over, pointed at the person with a scar on his and said, "From now on, you will be the old." Next, pointed at the two people in orange and blue. "You are the second, third, and fourth." Hearing how he named them, everyone there felt exasperated and silently judged, compared to his naming stand. Suddenly the door was forcefully opened by someone. Person quickly strode over to Desu, who was confused and exclaimed, "Second brother." Nam Kung Jo smirked and said, "Little brother, I accept." Diso still did not understand and asked, "Didn't you declare war on me yesterday? In 2 years, I will probably be defeated by you." He was still in shock, not understanding what his second brother was saying. Nam Kung Jo recounted, "I was very surprised yesterday. It was the first time you showed me your true self." Du gritted his teeth in frustration, directing his gaze at the two who had just told stories to him. Nam Kung Jo firmly patted his shoulder, insisting it was very interesting. "That is what it means to be a descendant of Nam Kung." Then his gaze suddenly changed, coming cold. "I only thought of you as a lovely child. 2 years is really a long time, but I said I would participate directly in the fight, so we will definitely wait." DxO's face turned pale upon hearing that. Nam Kung Jo turned and walked away, reminding me to wait for him another 2 years, and not to let him down. And then the door slammed shut. Once he stepped in, the atmosphere immediately came live. Everyone excitedly discussed, "This is how it should be. It is more interesting." Who said 2 years? 1 year is enough. Only D seemed to be holding back emotion, suddenly shouting, "Who dares to say 2 years?" From the crowd, Bat Tun laughed loudly and raised his hand. Realizing who caused the trouble, he exploded. "So it is you." I will smash your head. Bat Tun looked at him unafraid, instead cheering with excitement. His eyes were already full of determination. Good, very fighting spirit. Man Kang watched the two with a judgmental gaze, thinking to himself, fighting spirit, that is killing intent. He restrained his anger, waved his hand, and said, enough, I do not have time. Let us go train. At the same time, he thought of Nam Kung John. If it were that crazy guy, I would have beaten him to relieve my anger. I miss him too much. Diso looked at Bat Tun and asked, where do we start? Bat Tun thought for a moment and replied, first, let us have a match 1 by 1 with the brothers from 1 to 50. After hearing this, everyone cracked their knuckles in preparation, making Du tremble with fear. Please, wait, court. No one would hold back. A loud shout rang out, and the old man lifted up. After that, the entire hall echoed with his mournful cry, shocking anyone passing by. In a corner, Lihan threw a book down on the table and asked, is this your first time studying medicine? Sung Hung Han picked up the book and opened it. The skilled healer continued, I understand. When do you have the chance to read this kind of book? Now, take your time to study. She replied without hesitation. Healer, I already know all of this. He was very surprised. When did you start studying? Flipped through the book casually and said, how is that possible? This herbal medicine book takes at least a year to learn. Lihan randomly opened a page and challenged her. Tell me about astragalus. As expected, she answered fluent. Astragalus grows in mountainous areas or rocky crevices. Its flowers are characterized by soft, white hairs. The main effects of astragalus lie in its root, helping to detoxify, slow aging, boost the immune system, and is good for osteoporosis. The answer was so perfect, healer was left speechless. Exactly. How does a maid know this well? What did you do before becoming a maid? Sung Han honestly replied, I helped my father at a small pharmacy called Xian Hui Pharmacy. Hearing this name, he was astonished. Chi Hui Pharmacy. Although it was just a small, unnoticed pharmacy, it was famous for its exceptional skills. He tried to recall. He heard it had disappeared for some reason. Aside from me, place with the best medical skills in Central Plain is Qin Hui Pharmacy. After that, he teared up and held Sung Nan's hand. You have worked hard over the years. She replied softly, ever since I met you, I have been very happy. She expressed her longing while he was somewhere getting beaten to it. The sound of someone's footsteps stomped loudly on the floor. It was Nam Kung Lam. He opened the door to Nam Kung John's room and asked, are you determined to fight alongside the young master? The path ahead of him was full of sharp thorns. What do you mean? Nam Kung Diam put down his pen and replied, but would not it be more interesting? Respectfully, he looked at him with a confident expression. Walking a smooth path was not the disciple. Only those who overcome sharp thorns know what lies beyond. His eyes were filled with determination. The disciple believed in the young master. The strategist, witnessing that resolve, also softened. It seems you understand what you want, Nam Kung John added. Besides, the disciple wants to introduce some. He asked, do you want to recommend another strategist for the young master? The disciple eagerly replied, it is the assistant to the deputy strategist. To lighten my workload, I will now have more time to be by the young master's side, won't I? Hearing this, the strategist frowned and snorted cold. The disciple peeked outside and cheered when he saw Lao Nian arriving. You are here. Let me introduce you to the master. This is the maid of the young master and the Ed Young when she was 10, just like me, but due to family circumstance, she could not continue. She respectfully bowed her head to greet. Nam Kung John continued, no longer a maid, but will become a disciple in the. We are talking about hierarchy. I have to call the master the two words ancestor. Nam Kung Lam looked at Lianian from head to toe, his voice trembling as he asked, what is your name? Politely bowed her head and replied, I am Lianian, the eldest daughter of Lithian Min. I humbly pay my respects to the ancestor. Upon hearing the name Lithian Min, the strategist was taken aback, and Long Tran was filled with emotion. No way. The daughter of Lithian Min. He was lost in memory. Lithian Min was once the smartest person, but after the king ascended the throne, the entire family was beheaded, and the descendants either died or became slaves. There were rumors that his daughter was the smartest in Trung New Gai. Who would have thought I would meet her today? The strategist sighed. Truly the heavens have eyes. He burst out laughing. Today is truly a beautiful day. We must drink. Turning to Nam Kung Dainan, the strategist said, I will borrow this child for a bit. Nam Kung's face turned gray. Lemon, master, the disciple is the one who needs. The strategist patted Lianin on the shoulder and shouted, from now on, do not call me old uncle anymore. Just call me master and let you stay by that brat. Nam Kung Dain ran after the two, crying out in despair. Who takes the disciple from the disciple? Master, I am the one who discovered. At Hokum Cat. Quiet morning was void of shouting. Nam Kung, the master of Hoi Kim Cat, sat in a chair, his tone cold. He is asked, but can you endure life? In front of him was Ho Na. She glanced at Jiang Man, thinking to herself that she could talk to old Jiang Man without hesitation. Then she observed Nam Kung Vin and assessed. You can decide the fate of everyone at Hoi Kim Cat. You must be the master of this. Ho No told herself. Everyone in the Nam Kung family has to watch out for his gaze. But I am She confidently asserts that I am not someone who needs to worry. Hona places her hand on her chest, speaking with pride, unaware that I might be the one to conquer. She remembers Diso's figure, thinking to herself that I have a home to return to. Nam Kung Vin observed, smiling. You brought back an interesting child. Jiang Man glances at Hona and says, just stay here for 2 years. The old man squinted, his tone full of meaning. If you can endure 2 years, who knows what you might change? Hona proudly replied, I am very confident. 6 months later, at Diso's palace, the sounds of clashes in the competition ring out. Diso is overwhelming his opponent, shouting. He strikes his opponent's head with a wooden sword, sending the person flying several meters away. Dis laughs loudly in delight. That is right. Feels great. He arrogantly teases. This is how you fight. The defeated opponent trembles and asks, when did you become so strong? Diso raises his sword, confidently challenging. Who's next? Hurry up. Man Kang steps forward and says, looks like now you can fight us. He lays out the rule. I will use the hub sword. The opponent said, alright, come on. He charges forward like the wind, leaving everyone astonished. The XA knot sword technique, a secret of the Lime Thong school. If perfect, can split the sun in half. In Diso's mind, he calculated the terrifying aspect of the HUD sword. Low, caught in the whirlpool. I will struggle to death. He is determined. I must take the initiative when facing the HUD sword. Man Kang praises. Very good. He stands still, swinging his sword to block Diso's attack. Desi's result had to retreat. Des looked down. His legs were caught in the deep internal flow of Men Kang's power. What is this? He thought to himself. Men Kang smiled triumph. Just a small movement, and he was already drawn in. He glanced at Gia, his voice full of error. The outcome was clear. He must be ready to give up. Right. Desin refused to back. He remembered the days of hard training, being knocked down countless times, facing adversities but still fighting fierce. Without hesitation, he unleashed the Yun Song Fai technique and charged straight at Men Kang. Men Kang was surprised to recognize Des's martial art, the skills of a beggar set in the blink of an eye. Des had closed in, causing him to step back in shock. Men Kang quickly thrust his sword at, but Des jumped up just in time to evade the blow. The first swallow was just an illusion. The second was real. He smiled and said, then suddenly attacked from behind. The brothers around cheered him on. Caught a hit, now retreating. But Men Kang just scoffed. From a martial sect to a beggar sect. He never expected to meet someone skilled in both the major clan and the nines. Immediately, he turned and struck straight at Des. He could not react in time. Thought flashed in his mind. The duality of martial art. After the match, Desing bitterly admitted, damn it, the champion wanderer is from Wuding. It is no surprise that he knows the Laltra Tini Chem Kong. He realizes Wei Yang schools are just a smoke, and the Hub Kim is not the end yet. Refusing to back down, continues to attack with his sweeping kicks and returning punches, but all are easily dodged by Men Kang. Des tells himself, do not disrupt the flow. I need to harness the current toward. Men Kang stands still, using one hand to block all his. It is useless, but just after that, Diso thrusts his sword at, forcing Men Kang to lean back to dodge the blow. He is shocked to recognize the exile sword technique. Seeing the opening, Desing Xu delivers a hike. Men Kang quickly raises both hands to defend his chest, wondering, is this the sweeping kick? It is the returning. The strong kick sends him staggering back. Before he can regain his composure, Men Kang faces a flurry of relentless attacks from Dex, forcing him to use a wooden sword for Dex much. Judging by the old man's reaction, it seems to have some effect. Men Kang stands bewildered, asks, when did that hidden weapon appear? Without wasting time, Zuko rushes in to create a diversion, making it impossible for Men Kang to see any. He scoffed. Didn't he? The old man say it is disgrace. Winning is all that matters. Is he getting angry now? Men Kang fumed, his face turning red. That little brat. He advances quick, winging his sword down towards Desai's head. But Desai's flash with determination. Good. Every step of the old man has been made hasty by me. He rushes forward, extending two fingers, telling himself, this is the chance. Suddenly, Men Kang speaks up. 100 years is still a long way off. Are you surprised? Yeah. At that moment, a surge of internal energy bursts forth, overwhelming him with surprise. Brother, try to hold your breath. What is this? I have never encountered this kind of martial art. Looking at Men Kang swinging his sword high, he still could not read his attack. Without hesitation, Men Kang struck down fiercely, resulting in Des taking the hit direct, his eyes spinning, a large bump forming on his head before he passed out. Still mumbling about the head. Seemed that the other man was also exhausted after taking him down. He sighed in relief, looking at the sword in his hand, and thought, I did not expect to have to use this Than Hud sword so soon. Seeing him lying unconscious on the floor, he did not hesitate to praise. In just 6 months, such progress, truly impressive. He wondered if Li Yan heard the compliment from Men Kang, but indeed, he was a difficult mastermind to grasp. It is hard to imagine what he will become in 2 years. Meanwhile, in other places, Diso's maidens were fully dedicated to their work. Honun was busy analyzing the Sun Hung Han was focused on learning the art of potion making, while Lo Nian was researching to assist Nam Kung Jan. Wei, on the other hand, was still diligently training, no matter how harsh the weather was. In a magnificent castle, a voice rang out. Finally, 2 years have passed. I have waited so long for this confrontation. It was Nam Kung Jan's voice. The door swung open. He bowed respectfully to a person sitting in front. The second young master cautiously said, I have come to request a match. In front of you is Nam Kung Han. He rested his chin on his hand and replied, I remember giving permission a long time ago. Nam Kung Jan then reiterated, I heard that today my little brother has finished seclusion training. Just then, footsteps echoed from outside. Nam Kung Han continued, that is, you should act. Before he could finish, someone burst in and called out loud, Father. Nam Kung Jan called out upon seeing, I knew you would. My brother turns out to be Nam Kung's. He replied, what a surprise. I did not expect you to come looking for me. Nam Kung Jan continued, I intended to come, but wanted to wait a bit. Why did not you come to see me, and instead came? Nam Kung Sun smiled cheerfully. Clearly nothing could hide from you. Nam Kung Sun placed a hand on his shoulder, squeezing tightly, and spoke sarcastically, looking at your relaxed demeanor. It seems the time in seclusion has brought significant results. Nam Kung Sun awkwardly replied, that is only natural. Nam Kung Jan leaned in closer and provocatively said, but I see you have become more aggressive, sharp, and heavier than before. It seems you have taken up a blade instead of a sword. The statement hit home, leaving Nam Kung Sun stiff and stammering. Could you? Nam Kung Jan did not stop, continued, isn't it a brother's duty to understand his little brother's achievement? Despite being mocked, Nam Kung Sun remained calm. He was about to draw his sword, calmly said, this time, I will have to back down. It seems like you arrived first. Nam Kung Jo smiled cheerfully. Thank you, little brother, he added. Please allow me to watch the match between you and my younger brother. Okay. Nam Kung Ja nodded in agreement. The more people who come to watch, the better. Suddenly, a hand was raised, and Nam Kung Hun spoke up. I want to join too. The statement startled both. Nam Kung Jan thought to himself, is this for my younger brother? But he did not object. That is the, let us invite the members of the noble families to join. Everyone will surely enjoy it. Aren't we from the Nam Kung family fond of a tish? Thought to himself, I will let many people see who really has the upper hand in the battle between the young masters. Then he imagined the scene of him defeating Death. Nam Kung Sun reminded, don't underestimate my younger brother. Nam Kung Sun immediately responded with a sharp look like a venomous snake. You say I underestimate my younger brother. Then he turned and walked away, not forgetting to throw back a comment. You do not know anything. Nam Kung Sun silently watched him go, feeling quite uncomfortable inside. He told himself, if it were a saber instead of a sword. Then at the gate, a voice echoed. Clearly this Sun Hung Han stood there looking at the palace and could not help but marvel. Has it become so magnificent in such a short time? Girl approached, reported the old man Jiang Mun had built it with the money he donated. Sun Hung Han turned her head and realized Luo Nine was standing there. She smiled and greeted. Lalone, you are here too. Luo Niven happily waved back, doesn't know in hand. It has been a while since we last met. Are you here for a meal too? Hona comes too. That would be great. Zhuang Yina gently said, I have heard that because of a pact, she left the Nam Kong family. I wonder when she will come back. Just as she finished speaking, a young man opened the door from inside, inviting the two girls in. You two are here. Come on in. Inside, the two witnessed everyone practicing martial arts. Song Han and Lianin could not help but marvel, still practicing diligently like before. Recognizing the two, he exclaimed joyfully, Sister, long time no see. The two girls happily responded. While the young master is greeting, one person with a stick took the chance while he was distracted and rushed. If you lose focus during a fight, you will get hit on the head. Do not you remember? But he quickly crouched down, dodging the blow, leaving his opponent astonished. What? The other two stepped forward, determined to test their skill. Today, we have to hit you at least once. He swiftly jumped up, escaping the encirclement, and while putting on his shirt, he cheerfully asked, Are you sisters hungry? Come in and eat. The manager has prepared everything. The two girls eagerly walked to the dining table, where delicious dishes awaited. The manager smiled and said, Just in time for Lianin and Song Han's arrival. Even though it has been a while, I still remember those memories. Both girls enjoyed the food, continuously praising it. No wonder he is the manager. I also remember those times. The moments we ate together were really joyful. The manager continued to invite, Eat up, there is plenty more. Dio was lost in thought. Should not they be eating beef these days? Song Han called out to this young master. He snapped back to reality and responded. She looked at him, happily noticing his maturity. After 2 years apart, he looked so different. I am proud to say, of course, after 2 years of fighting like, it would be strange if it were any different. Song Han smiled in agreement. That is right. Suddenly someone rushes into an out. Young master, you need to come outside right away. Young master Nam Kung Jan, the second son, is looking for you. Hearing that name, his eyes lit up. Really? Your face looks like a demon. Laughing loud, this is just the right moment. His attitude made the two sisters think to themselves, just how much has the young master been beat? Outside, Namkung-jeon was still patiently waiting, thinking to himself, I thought 2 years was a short time for the young brother to achieve something. Who would have thought they were just errand runners? Looking at the people in front of, quietly assessed them. I thought this contest would end boring. That is the— Then Du stepped out and asked, what are you thinking about? Namkung-jeon trembled a little upon seeing that Du had grown taller. I am here now. Just thinking a bit. Desi Extra grabbed his arm. It seems like you have something to say, but let us talk somewhere else. Namkung-jeon's face changed, and in his mind, pondering, without hesitation, he held onto my hand. Yeah, you are exuding a killing intent, like you are ready for a fight. I just reached out my hand, and you wanted to draw your sword. But contrary to his thought, Du brightly said, you know that place. You invited me to many delicious dishes there. Namkung-jeon replied in surprise, you mean that place? D did not hesitate, pulling his hand along, shouting loud, let us hurt. My stomach is growling. D puffed his cheek, happily saying, indeed, when humans eat, there must be meat on the table. Namkung-jeon looked at, thinking to himself, so he is just big in size and not at all more vigilant. What if there is poison in the food? Clasped his hands under his chin, called for his younger brother. The fiend jumped and replied. Namkung-jeon anxiously advised, in life, do not trust people too much, even those in your family. Our family is not an ordinary one. We are the #1 family in the world. Namkung-jeon frowned slightly, his voice full of doubt. Aren't you afraid I would poison your food? Du still looked confused, his mouth full of food. But a moment later, he smiled widely, his eyes squinting. You are my brother. After all, anyone could harm me, but you definitely won't. You have never treated me bad. You even give me delicious food. His words made Namkung-jeon shyly blush. Nevertheless, he still tried to remind him, don't he be too careless like that. Desiak chuckled, haha, it is. I have you by my side. Namkung-jeon continued eating. Serious. You should eat quick. I came here to discuss the timing of the match. Z immediately asked, when do you think we should organize? Namkung-jeon squinted and replied, tomorrow. Desiak was started. Covering his mouth too late, Namkung-jeon continued, not limiting the number of participants, determining the outcome based on one side conceding, so no one would be dissatisfied. The Q curiously asked, he would not participate directly. Namkung-jeon nodded, of course not. He smiled, his expression profound. Isn't the match between you and me a contest for the minor family head? D-Fiend looked puzzled. Is that— Namkung-jeon set a condition. If I win tomorrow, I have a favor to ask. He was excited. I heard your maidens are very talented. If you lose, one of the 3 of them must follow me. Desi startled and slammed his hand on the table, his shout echoing throughout the room. Desi opened the door with a bang. The elders looked. Toon smirked. We were just having a pleasant discussion. Menkang raised his hand to signal. Let us have a game. Inkstev quickly asked, where are the sisters? Menkang replied, after eating, they got tired and went back to their rooms to rest. Let me call them. Dad interrupt. The match is set to happen tomorrow afternoon. The 2 elders jumped in surprise. Desi opened his eyes wide, determined. We need to prepare right away. We absolutely cannot lose. Placed the pieces on the table, reciting the rules that there was no limit on participants as long as one side admitted the match will end. That guy will definitely let the Ziyin Kim Woon take the field. Ziyin Koan. If we face them, can we win? Tuan stroked his chin and thought, if it were 2 years ago, there is a 100% chance we would lose. Then he clenched his brows furrowed deep. But in the past 2 years, we have trained hard, so we definitely won't lose easily. The key is to listen. Menkang raised an eyebrow and said, Namkung is the elder of the Ziyin Kim Loon. If we can't stop him tomorrow, we will lose in confusion. He made his powerless judgment. The 2 elders were lost in thought. Suddenly, Zoe jumped out from behind Tan, his voice full of provocation. Are you scared? Are you afraid of getting hit? Seeing him flush and grit his teeth, Des continued. Looks like you are really scared. They said they would fight for their family, but it turns out it is just nonsense. Bat Tan is angry, throwing punches back, shouting, do you want me to hit? Du leans to dodge with a disdainful smile. I did. Old man, do you think I am easy to bully like before? Menkang says serious. Not all flowers are the same. One has put in a lot of effort, failed and succeeded repeated. Reaching the flower stage. Person who reaches the flower stage without facing any diff or adversity is like walking on a solid path. Everyone sees both as masters of the flower, but the first is more exhausted than the second. The first, as soon as he reaches the flower stage, will immediately feel the limits and want to stop. The second has not faced any diff so far, so he uses that power to climb even higher. Namkung is indeed a genius, just like the second. And not only that, he was born with something called divine power that no one else. Diso raises an eyebrow. Smirk, is that— you are provoking me, meaning you old men are scared now. The 2 suddenly burst into laugh. Menkang is joking around. Are you rushing to conclusion? He says to conclude that in a one-on-one fight, he is at risk. He confidently points at himself, saying he is 60% higher than this old man. Hearing that, Dio puts his hands on the table. Just like that, the next afternoon, around the main fighting arena, crowd gathered, bustling and lively. The audience was buzzing with chatter. Everyone was excited to witness the duel between the 2 young lords of Namkung. Suddenly, someone standing nearby gasped and pointed into the distance, shouting, look! All eyes turned towards that direction, and they were astonished to see the strategist appear. The strategist's presence was reassuring, making everyone feel safe and believe that the martial world would be protected. And there is the deputy strategist. Though young, his extraordinary talent left everyone in admiration. Suddenly, footsteps echoed, cutting through the noise. The audience in the stands gasped when they recognized the newcomer. It was the martial god, the greatest in the world, the master of the greatest family. He stepped up and took his seat. The crowd cheered in astonishment at his appearance. The presence of the martial god made the atmosphere tense. Everyone could feel an indescribable pressure. Another person stepped onto the stage, calling out, ladies and gentlemen, the match between the 4th young master and the 3rd young master is about to begin. The surrounding audience roared with excitement, cheering enthusiastically. Jiang Men was thrilled. The match was finally starting. Honan anxiously clasped her hands, silently praying for her young master. The door swung open, and a tall figure, making the crowd even more excited. That was the Great Sword Brigade, the strongest army of the Namkung family. Everyone rushed to throw gold into the box, betting on this team. One person from the brigade approached Jiang Meng and asked, who will you bet on? Jiang Meng pulled out a bag full of silver and said, I am betting it all on the 4th young master. You look shocked. Jiang Meng scoffed. Who else besides me would dare to bet on the 4th young master? He stepped in, looking at the crowd that was mocking. One person in the crowd said, is that the Namkung army? This is more boring than I thought. He ignored it and walked straight up to face Namkung-jeon. You start the conversation, but before we begin, I want to say something. Namkung-jeon frowned. Hung Dis added, you have 53 people on your side, but I have more. If it is one-on-one, the match will take a long time. Namkung-jeon asked back, so what? He suggested we just do a team battle. Great Sword Brigade and the Heavenly Dragon Brigade. Simple and effective. Namkung-jeon scoffed. Of course, if you are scared, just refuse. The taunt made Namkung-jeon's face dark. Veins popped. Crowd in front of him was ready to draw their sword. The EXO feigned in a standing upright as if wondering, this seems a bit much, huh? As if he had never laughed before. Namkung-cheng stood up and said loud, the suggestion from the young master master is I would also like to make a suggestion. He asked suspicious. What is it? Nam Kung Cheng arrogantly smiled. Let us fight in team. Both sides choose an interesting team leader. Shall we? Not only do we have to worry about the map, but we also have to protect the cap while trying to take down the opposing. The audience in the stands agree. Many nodding. Sounds interesting. That is good. Desine looked thinking to himself, forming teams as planned is fine, but I did not expect this proposal. Elder Nam Kung Chun may seem simple and foolish, but he is actually one of that poisonous second brothers. I have to find out what their intentions are. If we refuse this proposal, collective battle proposal will be off the table. Whatever. Let us give it a try. Desine turned to gauge Bia Tun's opinion and said aloud, I understand now. I accept. And one more. Both sides will choose the captain of the opposing team. Sounds more interesting. Right. Nam Kung Chine grinned slyly. Wait, the captain we designate is dead. Pointed at him. Z was taken aback, thinking to himself, if I become the cap, all they have to do is take me down, and the match will be easy. In the stand, Nam Kung Dian scoffed. You have fallen into the second young master's plan. If you run away, the outcome of today's match haunt you for life. Come on, show them how the little young master will handle the trap set by the second young master. He stood tall, dramatically sweeping his robe aside. That is then the captain we designate. That newcomer is a great choice, though I am worried. He might be quite strong. Desun pointed at his brother, person much smaller than the other. He turned to his teammate. Do you all still remember what we prepared since yesterday? Of course, is not that what we do every day? Every day. It is just familiar. That is all. The teammates responded with enthusiasm. The match began, and the referee's whistle echoed. Nam Kung Chun smiled slyly, his deep gaze charging forward. The opponents immediately rushed toward Destiny. Fierce momentum. He could not react in time, fear making him retreat. What the hell is that? A hand slammed hard against his back. A burst of golden light radiating out. That is Santa. Surprise. Are not you? This is the feeling of fear when facing Nam Kung. Destiny turned to look at the old man. The teammates laughed loud. Is that all you have got? The first time meeting, you were so scared you almost wet yourself. While we were just chilling, with jokes flying, the atmosphere became chaotic. D was furious. Get a grip. Can you guys get stronger with such filthy minds? Just then, the enemies charged again. Hurry and give order. If we keep this up, we will be wiped out. Dessa raised his hand and shouted loud. The enemies looked stunned. What is going on? From behind, Destiny's people suddenly appeared, surrounding the everyone present was shocked. What? Isn't that Nahan Jin from Shaolin? Sahanan is at the Nam Kung family. Wait a minute. Looking closely, that person is Master Batan, the abbot of Shaolin. It is said that his movements are unpredictable. Never expected to see him at the Nam Kung family. A master sits on the stage with his hands clasped. Amitabh. The 8 lords are still alive. Nam Kung Chun maintains his detestable expression. So that is how it is. The Daeon sword splits into 3, also creating a central position to combine with the formation. The arrangement is quite nice. Dis confidently smiles. Nam Kung, if you think this can stop, you are very mistaken. He fiercely raises his sword towards death, putting all his strength into a downward swing, but misses. His attack 5-element sword formation of Wudang is still the same old trick. He scoffs, continuing to strike but fails again. This time, the 7 stars sword formation leaves him dumbfounded. This is indeed the Tai Chi sword formation. Wei X stands there smiling. You won't easily break through this. This is a special gift I have prepared for the elder. He shows no fear at all. You dare to stall again. That is an interesting idea. He channels his energy into the sword, emitting a purple light, his face darkening with danger. Don't underestimate. Do not think that without Great Yuan sword group will be like a headless snake. Man Kang chuckled. Didn't the master say to never let your guard down when facing that monster? The southern archer fiercely raises his sword in front of him. Then I have no choice but to trust him. The 2 teams charge at each other, refusing to back down. Des directs from afar. 9 people in front, 9 behind. The Great Yuan sword group receives the order and immediately changes their formation to encircle. They are coming. Block. Des yells loudly. Everyone rushes in. They immediately dive back into the ongoing battle. He continuously changes the formation with 15 people in front and 3 behind. That is right, 18 people in the back. The deputy captain is worried. This drags on. We won't be able to hold out. The constantly changing formations leave the deputy captain flustered. Dio clenches his fist, confidently giving order. Charge forward. We need to push them back. Chaotic formation turns into a mess. Nam Kung Hung saw that things were not looking good, saying, Deputy leader, the situation is very dangerous. Hyun looked at Nam Kung Hung in panic and asked, Leader, is not it going to be very dangerous if we charge in? He reassured her not to be scared. The commander trusts Nam Kung Jo sat at a distance, seriously observing everything that was happening. Nam Kung Hung took a stance but instructed, from now on, do your best to protect Hun. Everyone around was happy. Leader, do you have a plan? Focused his energy, calmly explaining, this method is quite explosive, but right now it seems to be the best option. He raised the sword in front of a golden light enveloping his entire body. Everyone in the team was stunned and shouted. The Biat Tun leader looked at Nam Kung Hung in fear. Was he going to sacrifice himself? The rage was unusual. Nam Kung Hung entered a fighting, his eyes glowing bright, the rage surging around his body. He shouted loudly, I am not an elder, nor a council elder. This is just the state of a leader. But Tun turned back, his voice full of determination. Don't be afraid even a little. Everyone replied in unison. Understood. However, another wave of rage suddenly surged from behind, startling Nam Kung Hung and making him turn around. A shout rang out. Leader, can you be so calm? Nam Kung Hung was taken aback. The elder. The rage surrounded Nam Kung Chan. He clenched his fist, laughing loud. Or we are the Nam Kung family. His confidence spread like a wave of strength, making everyone feel invigorated. Nam Kung Chan shouted, are you just going to stand there? Show them what it means to be from Nam Kung. Nam Kung Hung laughed triumph. Truly a patriarch. He roared. From now on no one is allowed to stand behind. The whole team shouted the order in unison. Nam Kung Hung charged. Everyone followed, their momentum rising as if they wanted to tear the sky up. Commanded, and the whole team surged forward, their overwhelming spirit causing the enemy to panic, unable to react before being pushed back. Nam Kung Hung thought excited, this rate, they surely can't resist. Desine tried hard to lead, using every means to stop the enemy. If it breaks, all plans will go up in smoke. He held the sword pointing forward. Bat Tun and the older men aged 30 to 40 advanced. Everyone quickly followed Bat, running in the direction he pointed. Seeing the chaos, Deck shouted, how much longer can we hold out? Men Kang braced himself to take the hit, grimacing as he replied, 2 more rounds. I can't take it anymore. Destinex shouted, do you want to die? Men Kang angrily turned back and yelled, you little jerk. Destinex pondered, we must win in 2 more rounds. He raised his hand to signal the first formation. The team quickly dispersed in various directions, catching the deputy captain off guard. He panicked. What is happening? Nam Kung Hung was alarmed. What is going on? He attacked the young master. Seeing Desifex standing alone, no one to protect, the enemy rushed forward to capture the young master. DX's face was sweating. He thought to himself, the moment I have been waiting for. As Desiex aimed his sword at the enemy and shouted, all 13 remaining, except for the 5 older men, aim for the back. The ordered ones immediately jumped up, brandishing their weapons to attack. One person executed a move, the Lucking Guide sword technique, and Guide AT, while another continuously struck thin, and the rest swung their sword. Strike DPL, delivering 3 strikes that sent the opponents flying, causing them to panic and flee. We are being attacked from behind. The deputy shouted, don't look back. Moving forward, they advanced with sword, aiming at. The onlookers laughed with delight. It is, if he had matured more, he might have been able to block that attack. However, every strike from them was deftly dodged by death, leaving them in a state of panic. What is this? When they all stabbed together in one spot, the Yanks quickly jumped high. A group rushed at him, determined not to let him escape. Desnextu's body was elusive, dodging all attacks. They were caught off guard. Could they really dodge every? One person raised their sword, gritting their teeth. They had to catch him, but before the move could be executed, the Yanks knocked him away. Z's face turned pale. Blood trickled from his mouth as he mumbled, damn it, my internal energy is depleted. The deputy saw the opportunity and charged at him with his sword aim. His face was filled with murderous intent as he growled, even if you belong to the main branch, I did not expect you to dodge all my moves. Des's body is heavy, remaining motionless. The vice captain is confident, but I will end everything easily with this move. He steps forward, swinging his sword down, his gaze thinking to himself, I have what? Namkung-jo steps into the arena confident, a victorious smile on his face. It is, he declared, and the crowd watching the battle suddenly erupts in cheer, going wild. Is that really possible? That statement leaves Namkung-jo. He turns back to look. Itua is still standing there unharmed. Namkung-jo can't believe it, wondering, did he really dodge the attack of a top master like the vice cap? Namkung discontentedly turns to the vice cap. What are you doing? Vice, hurry up and attack. The deputy leader froze for a moment, then grabbed his sword and rushed towards death, his voice filled with anger. Even though I do not know how you survived that last attack, this will truly end now. Seeing the tip of the sword about to stab, Wei Yangchu was so scared that his hair stood on end. B-Tun appeared just in time, powerful arms swinging down to block the deputy leader's sword strike. He exclaimed, Adion, you are holding up well. Batun-kun clenched a massive energy enveloping his arm, and delivered a punch straight into the deputy leader's stomach, sending him flying. Zio clutched his shoulder, complaining, you should have come fast, I almost died. Batun looked at him helpless. I saved damn guy. Suddenly, a loud explosion rang out, going everywhere. Lu Menkang appeared in front of Vu, shouting, this is too much. Namkung-chun stomped his foot, his eyes full of determination. Yank looked at the scene before, exclaiming, it is like one mountain after another. Namkung-chun stepped out from the smoke, his large hand gripping the head of one team member. Not bad, young master, he sneered, then threw the person away with force. The one thrown lands hard on the ground right in front of E. Namkung-chun said calmly, the agility of the Liu Van school, the enchanting techniques of the Jia Cat family, flying steps of the Than school, from the Shi Van sect to the Tai Chai swordplay of Voda. You can freely demonstrate the martial arts of various schools like that. It is truly remarkable. He rubbed his chin, smirked. Now even if your meridians get disrupted and your internal energy explode, it would not be surprising if you lost your life. Namkung-chun stepped in front of his X2 and asked, how is a monster created? Men Kang pointed his sword at, teasingly saying, Core, it was born this way. Namkung-chun shouted excited, really? Will the young master become a little monster? Men Kang laughed along. Yeah, he is still just a kid. The two of them seemed to be in sync, as if they had planned it. Desif heard this and bristled. Really? Why do you keep calling him a kid like that? It is so annoying. Namkung-chun waved his hand, commanding, you all step back. Everyone obeyed clearly. Asu looked at everyone stepping back, still confused, wondering, what? Why are we letting the team members step back? Wait, is not this an opportunity? He stepped closer to Men Kang and pointed ahead. He is all alone, so if we rush together, won't we easily win? Men Kang turned to look at him, angrily shouting, you better step back. Wait, puzzled. He stepped back, wondering, what is going on? Why is he suddenly angry? Bi and Kun looked aside. You have never seen a duel between masters, have you? He looked toward Men Kang, thinking to himself, it seems he wants to show the young master something. Bi-tun turned to Daju and said, young master, from now on, watch their every move closely. Ground beneath Men Kang gradually became soft, and suddenly both of them sank down, the tiles also cracking wide. Everything you witness right now will become valuable experience for E, greatly aiding in his martial arts training later. Namkung-chun smirks cunningly. Stop the useless showboating. You still have time to ask for help. With me as your opponent, you can attack me together without worrying about humiliation. Men Kang is not weak, responding, Amitabha Buddha, I want to test my strength against you one. Namkung-chun does not hesitate to throw a punch at Men Kang, yelling, once I beat you, it will be that monk's turn. His strike is immediately blocked by Men Kang with his sword. Every blow from Namkung-chun is accurately countered by Men of Kang. He turns to Des and instructs, young master, watch close. Although he does not fully understand the intention, Du still pays close attention to the two. Men Kang begins to demonstrate, explaining them to, these are the most basic skills of the Wuding martial art, and also the most important. Manhwa. Namkung-chun continuously launches fierce attacks, shouting while he strikes. It is quite ridiculous. He channels his rage like a volcano erupting into his punches. I try to break this move. Men Kang grips his sword tight, his gaze serious and focused. He closes his eye, feeling each drop of water fall around him. Violent whirlwinds of energy swirl. Dessa watches in alarm. He is trying to break through all those nonsensical attacks. The battle suddenly quieted down. Man Kang sneered, indeed, you are skilled. I am really envious. So strong thanks to a talent others do not have. Namkung-chun was so angry that the veins on his forehead bulged. He bit his lower lip. So you mean I was born with stronger divine power, like some sort of physical advantage? Man Kang laughed. That is right. You were born with physical advantage. You mentioned is not wrong either. You have admitted it. No need for more words. Namkung-chun gritted his teeth in aim. Jiso was both angry and panicked, pushing the old 8 lords and shouting, this old man has gone crazy. Why provoke someone to reveal their true strength? 8 lords explained, young man, do not you understand? He did it on purpose so that you could see their true power. In the arena, Namkung-chun's aura erupted violently, but Man Kang still stood there calmly. Jiso asked, see what? Old 8 lords stared at the two, as when they fought at full strength, they would achieve the unimaginable. Look close. That is the kind of appearance the young master should aspire to. Namkung-chun stood in the arena, his aura enveloped, overwhelming everyone around. He gritted his teeth. The weak always find excuses to justify their failure. Pressure from him frightened Man Kang. He was angry. You only see the present, but not the effort I have put in. He opened his eyes wide, declaring with authority, the more people like, the less I pay attention. Today, I will use this power to crush. He lunged at mankind, shaking the entire arena. I'm coming. Looking at the powerful punch before him, Man Kang grimaced in fear. The old man's sword blocked the attack, but his body lost balance and slid back. He quickly thrust his sword upward, redirecting the punch behind him. However, the rage energy clung tightly to the sword, the tremendous force making it hard for him to withstand. Desi panicked. What was that big-nosed old man being attacked by? I can't see Elder Namkung at all. Men Kang stood firm. Lightning bolts from the rage energy, continuously overwhelming. Bitunghun reminded him to use his 5 senses. For see, that moment, he could detect the slightest movement of his opponent. Z extended his hand, awkwardly trying to use his five. Yeah. He closed his eyes to sense the air currents around. Suddenly, he opened his eyes wide and shouted, "I have seen him." Namkung appeared, leaping up and launching an attack towards Men Kang. Powerful strike came crashing down, and Men Kang decisively swung his sword up. The collision created a blinding light. Z Vinku panicked. He struck. Namkung spun and threw another. Men Kang continuously swung his sword to block each blow. Between the two, light flashed, but his eyes remained tightly shut. Ziku was startled, eyes closed. How could that old man know when to attack? Every movement of Namkung was completely perceived by him. Every step was under his control, from the smallest detail. Each punch was blocked by Namkung was knocked far away, but he showed no signs of fall, continuing to advance. With a high jump, he chose to attack from above. The water round swirls violently, making the opponent think the pressure is so intense the rage is invisible. Man Kang calmly recalls what Deso once asked. Old man with the big nose. What if you can't rid the opponent's rage? He stands before you, patiently teaching, saying that all you need to do is create a new flow of internal energy, while blocking each of his attacks. Man Kang thinks to himself, Taichi Wisdom Sword is a technique aimed at the opponent's rage. Namkung Chin is still unaware and continues to confidently target mankind. Bolts of lightning striking the arena. Des is startled. That was a bolt of lightning from the sky. How could he know? Man Kang turns to him and smiles. We had not met this kid. I might not have been able to escape. He senses the waves around him, realizing it is not just about following the internal energy. He swings his sword, and that is the sword technique, creates new internal energy. The sharp sword strikes appear in his mind. Type of free swordsmanship unbound by rule, worthy of its name. Nam. With a fierce expression, charges down. Man Kang opens his eye, calmly swings his sword, and the blade slices through Nam Kung Chin. He thinks to himself, this sword technique is unbeatable. Though Nam Kung Chin is attacked to the point his wrist lightly burned, he remains excited, having never seen such martial art before. Truly astonishing. Man Kang breathes heavily on the stage. The old man smiled. You too. The thunder energy you used really opened my eye. I have a title I want to give you. Thunder Emperor. He scratches his chin, laughing with delight. Thunder Emperor. That is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. He spread his legs wide, gathering rage in his palm. To show gratitude for that title, I have this move I want you to wit. Lightning surrounded his fist, radiating oppressive brilliance. The lightning turned, thickening in intensity. Men Kang looked, goosebumps rising, wanting to explode with rage. He taunted, it would be a shame not to witness. Nam Kung Chen laughed loud, shouting, I like you already. He unleashed his strongest, roaring cross strike. Men Kang was no less, channeling his rage into the sword, aiming at him. Seeing the strike approach, he immediately executed his move, endlessly relentless, holding back the middle strike, endlessly resist. The two strikes collided, creating a huge explosion, smoke billowing across the yard. Desi struggled to open his eyes toward the screams of those around echoed. Who's it? Who won? He opened his eyes wide. Panic, the shadow flickering in the thick smoke made him anxious. Could it be that the hazy smoke cleared, and there stood Nam Chan, his team cheering? How could our elder lose? Desi and the others muttering, this is tough. Nam Kung Chan's body fell heavily, leaving him confused. His body crashed hard onto the training ground. Men Kang appeared, sighing in relief, thinking this life might not be saved after all. Everyone saw him joyfully cheering. It should be right. The big-nosed old man is undefeated. Nam Kung Jo stood aside, muttering, no way. His team was also shocked. Could elder Nam Kung Chan really have lost? No way. Get out. Exu runs quickly over to Man Kang and whistles at awesome. What is the final move? The old man is teaching me. He grimaces. Stop talking. I am so tired I could pass out right now. Looking at the group over there with a murderous glare, he muttered, they seem to want to fight until the last one falls. Des giggles at this. Just wait. I have a way to end this match. Des next calmly steps in front of everyone, his gaze cold, full of calm. Ladies and gentlemen of the great sword team, I have a special proposal to present. His voice clearly rings out, catching everyone's attention. The vice team leader's face turns red with anger as he points his sword at Des, growling, do you think we will just give up? Des does not respond. Instead, he gently approaches Jian, whispering in his ear, sincerely saying, the team leader wants to end this match like the elder does. Right. His words are like a veiled threat, making Nam Kung Kung go pale. Glances around the training ground, filled with signs of battle, calmly continued. If you have ever witnessed high-level duel, you must feel the itch to fight. But if you want to fight, you should seek out that old one-armed man, not a little brat like me. Batun hears this and immediately raises his head, his sharp gaze following Des. Destink chuckles soft, his eyes filled with malice directed at Nam Kung and Mum. If you agree to stop, I will take responsibility and arrange a satisfying duel for the two of you. Whenever you want, just call on me. Then he turned to Men Kang's team, friendly smile on his face. But if you refuse, there won't be any match worth watching like you hope. You will only team up and end everything in a bland way. Faced with the dilemma, Nam Kung Hung Pun finally stepped forward to Nam Kung Jo, bowing respective. I will take responsibility for this. Nam Kung Jo was confused, not understanding what was happening. What? Nam Kung En did not say more. Coming down from the stage, the host immediately announced, Nam Kung Eng is eliminated. Zing smiled smugly. For the warriors of the Nam Kung family, victory was not the ultimate goal, but rather enhancing their strength through matches worthy opponent. He looked around and asked, you all think so too, right? Everyone's eyes showed clear hesitation. Desi kept provoking, I will help you find worthy opponents, so let us stop. The team fell silent, their swords gradually placed down on the arena. They turned back respectfully and said, Nam Kung young master, please forgive it. Nam Kung John watched the scene, gritting his teeth in anger, silently cursing a bunch of fools. The host announced again, in this match, Yi Ku win. We jumped up joyfully, celebrating with everyone. We won. We defeated the Nam Kung family. The cheers echoed everywhere. Thanlong team, champions of the tournament, did great. Baton and Men Kang both looked proud. The entire audience erupted. See you, see you long, see you long. Desesum grumbled, turning away, muttering, it is just me who can hear any. Suddenly, a voice called out, wait, he cheerfully turned around. What? Who is calling me? On the second floor hallway, Nam Kung waved a flag, his face full of excitement, shouting, fourth young master, over here, over here. Zia, embarrassed, turned away, being teased by someone, pointing, that guy is calling the fourth young master. He shook his head, I do not know him. Saxon joined hand, oh no, and Loa Niven anxiously ran over. Young master Do smiled, sister, inside. He thought to himself, good thing I can keep those sisters. They approached, ruffled his hair and pinched his cheek, continuously scolding, what is wrong? Your face is so pale, even your skin looks wrinkled. Suddenly, a strange hand appeared in Desta's line of sight. He looked up to see Nam Kung Jung friendly extending his hand toward. You really surprised? I really lost. Destanex awkwardly scratched his head, shaking his hand. Just luck we fought again. I would not be able to win against you. Nam Kung Jojo, you are pretending again. He calmly turned away but created space for the winner. Nam Kung Jo suddenly realized something. He turned his head back and his eyes immediately met Exong Anan's gaze. She gently bowed her head to greet. Des stood beside. Long was surprised, thinking to himself, why does the atmosphere between them feel so strange? Just then, a large bag of money flew toward. He caught it from a distance. assist. Old giant man approached, holding a chest full of silk, smiling as he said, thanks to you, I have made quite a bit. Aku burst out laugh, so you bet on me. The two of us are so in sync that even our smiles look alike. Oh nuts. Seeing this scene, could not help but marvel at how much the two were becoming alike. Namkung Dian walked over, looking cheerful. Young master, on such a beautiful day, how can we let it pass by useless? Zifeng boldly pointed to the sky and declared, alright, I will today. Everyone turned to suddenly cheering, and Jiamun's to add, don't worry about drink, food, or wine. I have prepared everything. Desiak smiled proud. Money is no problem. If we save today, it is like being stingy. Crowd cheered. Long live the old man. You angrily shouted. I am the one paying. Meanwhile, a group of elders sat silent, looking deep in thought. One of them frowned and muttered, this is not a normal situation. He looked at the team leader. His expression strained as continued. The elders of the Namkung family have failed. Even the Ziai and sword team, one of the key units, has to admit, for the martial arts world, Namkung is like an insurmountable sky. He clenched his fist, his voice low. Yet today, because of them, that sky has cracked. Another person crossed his arms and coldly remarked, the monsters have returned to the world, led by the fourth young man. Desiak led the group, while the others quietly followed. A calm guy said, now we can be sure Des will be the heir of the Namkung family. News of Than Long's victory over the Yain team spread throughout the martial arts community. Those who came to watch the match were still buzzing with excitement as they left, never expecting to witness such an impressive battle. They walked down the road, continually praising, catching the attention of a beggar. The beggar exclaimed in panic, is that Trungalong? She you too. The beggar hurriedly packed his things and ran to an abandoned house. Breathlessly he called out, boss, there is big news. Pushed the door open and shouted, big news, boss, wake up already. The boss, lying on a torn mat, groaned in annoyance and sat up mumbling, is it time for food already? The image of an old man appeared in the beggar's mind, and he declared, the master is at Namkung family. The other guy asked in confusion, what? The shout was heard from the gate of Virizine. Senior brother, one person exclaimed, still alive, goes by the name Menkang, and defeated the elder of Namkung. The other replied, that is right, the master is at Namkung family. Panic, shouldn't we immediately go to Namkung family? Bring the master back. He frowned and said, that is because you do not know how treacherous the Namkung family is. If he does not leave there on his own, there is nothing we can do. For now, we should wait for the right moment and assess the situation. At Shaolin Temple, Minchi angrily rushed off holding a staff. Minthien followed behind and advised, Abba, please calm down a bit. He turned around and shouted, can you expect me to just stand still? When we heard the master was sleeping soundly in Nam while no one was taking care of Shaolin, Minthien hesitated, his eyes showing confusion. Everything is still intact. Is not this a good omen for the martial world? Batin was still alive. Hearing that, he gradually softened his tone. Minchi turned to ask, how old is the child the master chose this year? Minthien replied, about 13 years old. Upon hearing this, he burst out laughing. Then we definitely have to meet. Besides the master, there must be many other kid that the master personally chose. I am really curious about. Meanwhile, their master was still happily smiling, pouring more wine for La. Desai looked at the scene before, pulling his hair in panic. What is this? His eyes darted around, noticing people from the military strategist on one side, people from the medical hall on the other. He became even more frightened when he saw someone from the Kim Set-ed era was also present. Loa 9 walked by, laughing and patting his shoulder. Today is a joyful day. Should not everyone enjoy it together? Plus, the young master is treating us. Ziyu clenched his, grinding his teeth, thinking, I did not intend to treat all of. He stood up and shouted, fine, let us just say they are related to the sister. Then he pointed to another table. But why are both second brother and the Ziyin sword team? Namkung Jo provocatively laughed at, I heard the team leader Namkung Pil said you invited us. Did not? He laughed loudly at Xko's displeased face. My little brother will host a big event. As the senior brother, how can I just sit? Desi thought to himself. Anyone looking could tell he was venting his anger on the loser. Namkung John approached slightly to and said, so what? If it were me, I would be brought all the fighters here already. As descendants of the Namkung clan, you should be a bit more tolerant. Desi's face dark, fists clenched, and he growled, are you trying to add fuel to the fire? He continued, for me, this atmosphere is not too bad. Desi's fist froze. Looking around, everywhere was live, with people embracing BIC, as if nothing had happened. Everyone was gathered together, noisy and bustling. Namkung Chun and Men Kang acted as if nothing happened, still inviting each other to drink. Just a few hours ago, they were eager to point swords at each other, wishing they could kill their opponent. Now, they were laughing and joking like families gathering on a holiday. Desi looked on and agreed, thinking it was only natural. He turned to Namkung John and asked, how much money did I make today? Namkung John calculated quietly and said, let us, since you bet 200, you won 200,000. Hearing this, Desi smiled and said loud, alright, with that much winning, let them eat and drink to their heart's content. Everyone cheered. Drink until we are drunk. Namkung added, this is great. They shouted and got drunk together. Drink, while others jumped on the table to dance a bit. Can't help but dance in such a joyous place. Everyone applauded for him. Looking great, Namkung, red-faced from drink, patted Bita Tun on the shoulder and pointed at himself. Batin Tun, let us have a match. Namkung pulled him from behind. Elder, please wait your turn. Even if you are an elder, you can't cut in. Namkung John calmly continued drink, ignoring the noise. Master, you are drunk. Three maids gathered together, laughing and chatting. Hey sis, did you see the young master flying up and dodging the attack? Hona shouted. He flew nimbly like a squirrel. Suddenly, there was the sound of footsteps, and Namkung Him pushed the door open, surprising everyone. Seeing him, Desi immediately spat out his stammering, father, why are you here? Namkung, who was drunk, paused for a moment when he saw him. He could not tell up from down, speaking rudely while pointing at him. Oh my, who's this? Isn't he at the head of our family? Everyone looked at him angrily. Think, shut up, you jerk. He boldly patted Namkung Han on the shoulder, laughed. Why is it suddenly so quiet? I still want to play. Everyone silently begged him to stop. Xiao panicked, muttered that if this continued, they would all be dead and needed to find a way out. Namkung Lum stood up amidst someone's whisper. Right, what good is the elder Namkung anyway? He raised his hand calmly and said, suddenly, I am not feeling well, so I have to leave. You all enjoy yourself. Namkung Chun was stunned, standing frozen as he watched him leave. Old Jiang Men also quickly made I have an important matter tomorrow, so I need to leave early. Everyone started to stand up and say their goodbye. One said, oh no, forgot to take care of the patient. Another said, I am going to sleep. I forgot there is an elder meeting tomorrow. The vice captain turned to Jiang Nuhuyu and asked, Master, did not you say we would practice for the match? He nodded. That is right. Desnextra watched the scene, his eyes reddening with anger, thinking how these lowly people only cared for themselves. Namkung John forward and said, Father, I feel like I have hit the jack. If it is my second brother, who would be thought he would just bow his head and say, see you later. Diso was surprised. Is that okay? Most people had left. Only old man Kang was lying drunk on the ground. Namkung him a bottle of wine and calmly said, this wine is good. Then he used his inner energy to lift the untouched bottle and turned to order, follow me. Diso silently cried inside, why do you want me to follow you? I do not want to go. Even so, he still stammered the command. Father and son climbed onto the roof to sip wine. Dio sighed, I did not expect to be able able to stand on the roof of the master's house, looking into the distance. He wondered, over there, could it be that the group of people who ran away earlier has come back together, as if nothing happened? Diso yelled, a bunch of wicked, leaving me all alone. Lihan looked far away and his tongue. Look, because of you, innocent people are caught in the cross. Namkung took a sip of wine and sighed heavily. Dio looked at his father, long day, and thought it was strange. No matter how he looked, it was still his father he saw every day. He wondered why today he felt his father was a bit lonely. Could that be why he came here? DC remembered the rumor. Sometimes his father resembled an ordinary person. He stepped forward to pour wine for Namkung Han. To Lihan's surprise, he spoke. I heard people say. Dio smiled at his father. To learn how to drink wine, you definitely have to ask your father. He looked full cup of wine, silent and saying nothing. The heavy atmosphere made Deke so angry. Did I say something silly? Why is he so deep in thought? Just smile. He awkwardly scratched his head, making it obvious. Then he sat down, closed in on himself, and beamed a bright smile. His father seemed a bit lonely, so I thought if he smiled, it would help. Your sunny smile left him stunned. Namkung seemed to remember his late wife, wondering, why did she look at me and smile back then? She simply covered her mouth, giggling. He asked, was I really that funny back? His wife gently replied, how could it be? When I saw you, I felt sad and regret. I wanted to fill your vacant gaze with a smile. He found it hard to understand. His wife sincerely answered, because I want you to be happy, even without me by your side. I hope our child will smile for you. The smile on Diso's face was forced. He looked into his glass of wine and smiled deceitfully. He sipped his wine and said, who says a father must teach his son to drink? It is fun. Do not think otherwise. D was surprised. He had just seen his father, who always had a cold expression, smile. Lihan panicked. What? I could not keep up. D continued pouring wine, laughing and saying. He smiled cheerfully, thinking to himself, I never expected to live to see this. After a night of indulgent party, everyone lay scattered in the yard, deep in sleep. Desi held his head lying on the bed. The heck? How much did I drink yesterday? Someone brought him a bowl of hangover soup and gently said, wake up. Drinking this soup will help you feel better. Z felt like he met a savior and eagerly took the bowl of soup. After finishing his drink, he turned and smiled bright. I am back to life. Thanks a lot, bald old man. But when he looked close, he was surprised to realize that the person was actually his third senior brother. Feeling flustered, quickly put on his jacket and asked, when did you come in? Namkung-sun replied seriously, the rumor that you are throwing a victory celebration after the match has spread throughout the noble. Yesterday, while watching your match, I made a decision. Diko asked in confusion. What decision? Namkung-sun said serious. I have decided to go into seclusion here for the Four Kings tournament, as you will also be participating. Then he looked directly at Daso and declared, I will win this Four Kings tournament and become the outstanding successor. Desin repeated Four Kings tournament in confusion. Namkung-sun turned to leave and said, I have said everything I needed to say. Now I'm off. Take care of yourself. Before leaving, he turned back and smiled at Du. I was very pleased yesterday. The expression of defeat on second senior brother's face was extremely interesting. Desiangsu suddenly realized, muttering, Four Kings tournament. Four Kings tournament. Then he slapped his forehead, laughing loud. That is right. Four Kings tournament. Why did not I think of that? Images of the prestigious competition flashed in his mind, where fighters under 20 from various martial arts schools. The Four Kings tournament will select a little king in 4 categories: Little Sword King, Little Fist, Little Blade, and Little Shadow. Note, the 4 final winners will face each other, and the last one standing will be honored as the true dragon of the era, becoming the outstanding successor. Diso remembers his past life when his older brother also participated in the Four Kings battle and wanted to challenge their father. His second brother had also won before and demanded secret information related to the martial arts community. He suddenly felt excited, jumped out of bed and yelled, I never thought I would participate in the Four Kings battle, but now it is different. He raised his hand and slapped his bicep, telling himself, I am stronger than before. There are 2 years until the Four Kings battle, and I must prepare thoroughly. Diso was deep in thought. He won that battle. All he wanted was to give up his direct lineage from the Namkung family and confidently step out of the family's shadow. Determined, Diso rushed to the door, flung it open, and shouted, wake everyone up. From today, special training for the Four Kings battle will begin. Everyone was still groggy, and Diso continued to shout, everyone wake up. We must defeat the third brother in the Four Kings battle. While the others were still not fully awake, he stood in front of gesture. Everyone needed to come together to plan how to become stronger in the next 2 years. One person raised his hand hesitantly and asked. He was holding his stomach, looking pale. When will the hangover cure be ready? My stomach. Diso angrily shouted. Go get it yourself. At that moment, Bat Tun hurriedly advising. I understand why you are in such a hurry. Is it because your progress is too slow? His words struck a chord with Diso. Master Tun cheerfully patted him on the back, saying there is nothing to worry about. Every fighter, whether fast or slow, will eventually face their own wall. Everyone around also chimed in, saying that to break through that wall, no one else but yourself has to realize it. Another person added, that is right. We have done everything we can. Now it is time for you to figure it out on your own. Diso frowned, grinding his teeth in frustration. So in the end, I have to do everything myself. Can't rely on anyone else. Everyone around frowned and murmured, this is ridiculous. Man Kang pointed straight at him, calmly saying, that is, why do not you try practicing the martial arts you have learned again? Du looked surprised. He clutched his head in panic. I have trained so hard that my head feels like it is being hammered. Now you want me to start learning from the beginning. Man Kang gently advised, please listen to me. When learning martial art first time, you need to understand its purpose. From long-range techniques to close combat and assassination, he explained, this martial art's strengths and weaknesses, whether it benefits the individual or the group, should it be a frontal attack or an assassination. But the young master took a different approach. Man Kang sighed, you should use your mind to understand first, practicing with your body. But you have done it the other way around. He gently added, though it takes time, this is the standard and most effective method. Desi Xku slammed his hand down. So that is how it is. Man Kang asked, how many techniques have you practiced so far? Diz looked up, thought for a moment, and then began to count. Sword technique 33, saber technique 10, fist technique 25, technique 10, assassination technique 6, poison technique 5, stealth technique 7, and movement technique 29. In addition, there are 18 basic weapons, each with 15 techniques, totaling about 104 techniques. Man Kang was in shock, sighing, that is a bit much. We start from scratch with all these techniques. It will take at least 10 years. Desin trembled and stammered. 10 years. Man Kang tried to comfort, but he was sure of one thing. In 10 years, the young master would become the most formidable warrior in the martial world. Desis, he shouted, I said I want to win the tournament in 2 years. Everyone around looked at him with admiration. His determination to win was truly strong. DX was terrified, thinking of Vince Egon being defeated by the 3 brothers. Otherwise, he would be stabbed in the stomach. Bitinkon stroked his chin, thinking that there must be a way. DX jumped up. What did you say? Batun stopped, making him feel disappointed. I think this method is completely unfeasible. Pointed behind him. If you do not say anything, I will order the manager never to meet you again. He turned to the woman and called, manager. Batun grabbed him. How can you use personal matters for public affairs? D did not. Continuing continuing to walk despite the old man pulling on his clothes. I know, I will say it, I can say it right. Batun was breath clutching his chest. Ask, do you know about the Wanderer? Desexto look you, Wanderer. Are they the fighters who roam around? They are warriors who always wander and drift everywhere. Batun continued. That is right. They can't access martial arts in a conventional way because they do not have a master to guide. They have to fight in real situations, not just through training to learn techniques and gain enlightenment. Young master, you should engage in real battle, the wandering knight, to train your skill. Experiencing real combat is essential. Until we practice with the old master and the people from Nam Kung. Batun waved his hand, saying, you should fight opponents who share your ambition, not old folks like us. Besides, since you are the nominal heir of Nam Kung, we can teach challenge. Diso stood there, his eyes filled with sadness as he watched everyone leave in different directions. A deep sense of regret rising with he was bewildered, thinking this situation had grown too hated. Looking at the free-flying birds in the sky, he wondered, in this peaceful era, where do I go to find worthy opponent? Am I really going to have to give up the Four Kings tournament? I originally intended to use this tournament heat for the title of minor family. He lowered his gaze to his hand, his voice filled with frustration. If that is the case, then so be it. Memories of winning alongside everyone in the battle with the second senior brother flooded back. Dessin clenched his fist, his eyes becoming resolute. He turned to Beitan and said with determination, "T give up on the Four Kings tournament." Batun smiled and nodded. Diso continues decisive tone. I have to find a way. For now, I will train diligently. He wandered aimlessly in the training yard, nervously biting his nail. One victory has passed, but my strength has not improved at all. Panic rose in his heart. Third brother has locked himself away to train. I wonder how strong he is now. How long do I have to wait? Remembering the words of master by scolding, he sighed. Those old guys keep telling me to go get some fresh air, so here I am. But what should I do now? Suddenly he realized something. Turning back, he saw the strategist behind him. Deku murmured, wandering around, and I have already reached the strategist's chamber. Now that I am here, I might as well visit Sister Hona. He opened the door in and called Sis, but all he saw was Nam Kung John with his head down asleep on the table, drooling. Di-Yane frowned, wondering if this guy was really the assistant strategist. Nam Kung John suddenly woke up, and upon seeing Desic's he was immediately alert. Young master, what wind brings you here? Desin calmly replied, I just came out for a stroll. He looked at Nam Kung John, noticing something on his mouth. What do you have on your mouth? Nam Kung John unexpectedly peeled the paper off. I am organizing the records of those formed well in the Four Kings tournament. Period. The stack of papers to take a look. You see. Suddenly his eyes lit up. This was the moment he was overjoyed, as if he had struck gold. He immediately dashed out of the room. Nam Kung Dian hurriedly followed and asked, Young master, where are you going? Adu turned back and shouted, I am going to see second brother. Nam Kung Dian smiled bright. What are you planning to do? I will go with you. Destiak shouted, not all. I am happy to shout out. We have found a way. In Nam Kung Jo's residence, he was sitting enjoying tea. Looking at Quan asked, what did you just say? Lin excitedly replied, I want to ask you to find the secret book of Shaolin. Come on. Is nodded if you win the duel. You will fulfill my request. Nam Kung Jo nodded. You want to find it? It is not impossible, but I have something to ask. Z eagerly said, you can ask. Nam Kung Jo stared at his voice full of questioning. What are you planning to do at the Four Kings tournament? The oppressive atmosphere made Lai X sweat cold, thinking to himself, indeed he knows I will participate in the Four Kings tournament. I should not deceive, just tell I am determined. I want to win the championship. Nam Kung Jo sneered. You want to defeat your third brother? Yex nodded, his eyes full of determination. That is right. Nam Kung Jo slammed the table, pointing at Dip excitedly saying, great, I will fulfill your request. Nam Kung followed Dip, holding a full bag, clapped to signal everyone. Everyone gathered. I will go to Shaolin Temple. First three. Nam Kung raised his hand in joy. Ate, Desif and Grimmett, curling one finger and then two. Batun asked in surprise, Adion, what wind brought you to Shaolin? Zine firmly replied, I will go to experience it first. Tan looked at him and nodded. Shaolin Temple should be good. Men Kang closed his eyes in agreement. Of course, but Shaolin Temple is not easy to enter. They won't accept a young master. Z looked pile of books he brought back, laughing with delight. That is why we have just throw them a bait and escape from. Men Kang was excited. With something fun like this, how could we not follow? Batan sighed heavily. This matter involves Shaolin Temple. Then we can't avoid it. Des seemed pleased. We will set off right away. Everything is ready. Let us gather here. Nam Kung Dian called him anxious. Young master, has the head of the family agreed to let you go? Mentioning my father. Desi X2 suddenly remembered, mumbling, right. Stepping out of the main hall, seeing everyone happy, X2 breathed a sigh of relief. Turns out it is simpler than I thought. He suddenly recalled his father's advice. When you come back, remember to buy good wine. Des X2 chuckled to himself, sending a wine lover to buy wine. Looking at the two old men carrying large bags, he wondered, what is all this luggage? Are you two moving? Men Kang laughed loud. It has been a while since I have been on the road, so I need to prepare a bit more. Full smell hit his nose, and Deskex curiously sniffed. What is that smell? He looked at Nam Kung John, who was tightly hugging the luggage, a treasure, asking in a panic, what are you carrying? Why so many types of her? Nam Kung Dian shouted, these are all my tonic. Do not touch, just let me see a bit. No way. Nam Kung John warned, I am going alone. In the distance, horse-drawn carts loaded with goods were lined up coming in. Nam Kung Dian joyfully exclaimed, young master, look over there. Just in time for the caravan to arrive in He-Nam. What do you think about hitching a ride? Desiak Shu shook his head. We should keep our identity as the Nam Kung family as he pointed to the map. This is the fastest route from Anhai to He-Nam. Nam Kung John was surprised. Is there really such a strange road? Dextuosmon. There is not. I will create one. Nam Kung John was still confused, hugging the luggage tightly and shouting as they were climbing up the cliff. Man Kang reminded, don't look down. If you fall, you won't even find your bone. The four continued their journey across the hill. Nam Kung Dian could not keep up with the other three, only able to shout, wait a minute. He got stuck in the river. Man Kang urged, hurry up or you will be left behind. Bat Tun chuckled. While Diso could only sigh. Nam Kung Dian was both angry and crying. I am not a fighter like, why does life push me into this mess? Finally, he managed to get to the shore, panting heavily. Looking at the crowded market, Nam Kung Dian wondered, is this a Nam? Why are there so many fighters? He exclaimed, prepare to hop fight with the Nam Kung family. This place really is a martial arts hub. Man Kang smiled at, you bump into the people here, it will be trouble. Do agree. That is right. Nam Kung Dian sat down on the ground. I am not going anymore. He was out of breath. Young master, I am too tired. I can take another step. Bat Ton advised, you should train harder. Desin pointed to himself and joked, I was planning to stop by an inn to eat. Lean up right. Hearing about a break, Nam Kung Dian immediately jumped up, excited. I know a really good inn. The two old men saw this and angrily tapped his head. Are your legs still normal? Nam Kung Dian fell silent, lost in thought. He sighed, never expecting to step into this rundown inn. Des laughed loudly. You think you are so tough? Remembering the scene of being kicked out by the ink, he said, do you think this is a place where a low-level fighter like you can just walk in? Nam Kung John clenched his and gritted his teeth. I used the identity token of a low-level warrior to hide my identity, but I could not even take a look at the inn before being thrown out. When I return to my family, I will definitely make changes so that low-level fighters can comfortably enter branches nationwide. Des gently placed the stack of books on the table, smiled bright, and suggested, now that we have rested, let us get back to the main topic. Looking at his pile of books, Men Kang could not help but exclaim. It turns out he had these things in his bag. But Tun had a face as dark as coal, frowning. Too many things belong to the Nam Kung family. Then he ordered, you need to investigate the financial situation and the maximum amount that Shaolin Temple can borrow from surrounding. Nam Kung smugly asked back, you want to uncover secrets without revealing your identity, right? The Ku nodded in confirmation. That is right. Nam Kung Jun smiled cunning, adding, the beggars can gather information very quick, but they belong to the 5 factions like Shaolin, so there is a risk of our information being leaked. Zhu curiously asked, so what? Remember the other sect is full of prophecy. Nam Kung continued, we are left with the lower rank, but it will take a lot of money to persuade. Desim reaches into his shirt, smiling smug, I do not need to worry about money. He holds out a gold token and says, because Jiang Men lend us the merchant's token. Nam Kung Jong calls out, old Jiang Men is really generous. Diso starts assigning tasks, asking them to find information about the black market on the way to Ha Enga Mun. That is where all the martial arts goods are traded. Nam Kung receives the command. He looks at the other two for their assignment. The old big-nosed man should stay nearby to assist Nam Kung John when needed. The old bald man should find out what is happening at Shaolin. The two from Dong then respond, got it. Batun is curious, what exactly are you planning to do at Shaolin Temple? Du wonder, what are you going to do? After thinking for a moment, grins mischievous, raises his hand to signal with a coin wing. I am going to rob the Shaolin Temple's warehouse. In the training yard of Shaolin Temple, powerful shouts echo. Countless disciples are vigorously training under the supervision of the abbot. Abbot Minchi stepped forward, observing that everyone was practicing hard. Seeing this, Minthian turned and clasped his hand. Greeting, senior brother. Minchi nodded in response. You have worked hard. Are you preparing well for the upcoming championship match? Minthian smiled and replied, as you can see, there are a few standout kids among the third-generation disciples. He looked towards a standout disciple in the line, who threw a powerful punch so fiercely that it startled those nearby. Minthian introduced third-generation disciple Lai Kuang. After winning the title of Little Champion in this championship, we will reclaim the long fortress that was stolen by Nen. The young man was still focused on practicing his part. Minchi seemed very pleased. That is right. If it is Lai Kuang, I have nothing to worry about. Minthian continued. If he keeps practice, this kid will definitely surpass the previous abbot. After finishing his sentence, he realized he had misspoke. Turning to look, he saw Minchi's veins bulging on his shiny head, gripping his fists in anger. So you are still relying on that damn intuition. The difficulties our Shaolin has faced lately are nothing to you. Minthian hurriedly clasped his Amitabha Buddha. The disciple's thoughts are shallow. The abbot reminded him not to think nonsense anymore, and that he should focus on training the third-generation disciples instead. The future of Shaolin depends on those children. Minthian repeated, Amitabha Buddha. Suddenly, from outside, Mintam rushed in shouting an urgent report. The other two quickly asked what the commotion was about, while the young master was panting from exhaustion. Replied that the demon 7 unmatched warriored in the black market. This shocked the abbot, making him tremble with anger. His junior brother exclaimed in panic, isn't that the martial arts secret from the Shaolin 10 unmatched that were destroyed when the demons attacked? Are you sure? The disciple placed his hand on his chest, asserting that he had seen it with his own eyes. The abbot immediately shouted loud, summoning the council of elders. This moment, thought to himself, the world says the power of the 10 unmatched is as strong as the martial art ordered in the 72 ult, and it can only be passed on to the true disciple. When the demon cult invaded, all those who knew about it had already died, and it had been lost. However, that is just a rumor. There must still be a few survivors passing it down. He is determined to find it before it falls into the wrong hand. Countless monks are rushing at full speed, unaware that the old man is watching them. He hurried back to inform everyone. 4 great kings have emerged from the mountain. He laughed loud. Fish has taken the bait. He turned to ask the deputy strategist, and it turns out he was the one behind it. They got the secret through the black market at Hei Engamen, as the young master said. Each costs 50,000 taels of silver, and as we agreed, all keys. The black market 20,000 taels. We get 20,000 taels, and Engamen gets 10,000 taels. Then he slammed 2 20,000 tael checks down on the table. They are ours? His greedy face began to show as he held it in his hands. So adorable. The 2 old men looked bored, as if this scene was all too familiar. He really is a money grubber. What about our plan? The deputy strategist asked with a serious, everyone can rest assured. It will surely succeed. Everything is going according to plan. The Shaolin Temple's abbot trembled as he held the secret manual in his hand. Isn't he this the great power of the 3 unique? One of the 10 uniques of Shaolin. The others were also delighted. Thanks to the abbot's money, quickly bought 2 books for 100,000 taels of silver. What luck. Just then, a disciple ran in to report. The master had a cheerful expression. Minchi interrupted. That guy, I know, is not he already in my hand? But the disciple said, that is not the issue. The disciple discovered the remaining 8 volumes of Shaolin's 10 absolute secrets scattered all over them. Hearing this news, Minchi was so shocked that his eyes seemed to shrink, smaller than the earrings he was wearing. Min Thin, coming to his senses, spoke up to intervene, sensing that something very strange was happening. A coincidence can happen once, but it can't repeat itself a second or third time. Min Thin agreed and added, point. That is right. Clearly someone is quietly planning. Minchi nodded solemnly. I think so too. Seeing the consensus, they proposed. If that is the case then, but Min Chi interrupt. However, no matter whose plan it is, this still makes no sense. The return of the Shaolin's 10 absolute secrets to their original position is extremely important. He frowned, his voice contemplative. This action does not harm Shaolin at all. If I detect even a hint of malice or hostility, then even if the Shaolin's 10 absolute secrets are the original, we won't care. We can't overlook the remaining volume. Their value can't be compared to Shaolin's 10 absolute secrets. Minchi turned to ask, how much do we have left? Minthian reported, we have just spent 100,000 taels of silver, and now only have 200,000 left. Buy all 8 volumes. We need another 400,000 taels of silver. If we gather the lay disciples in Hanan, it might be enough. Minchia waved his hand and commanded, collect all the Shaolin 10 extremes and bring them here. Min Tam and the other disciple immediately rushed off the wind. Dong then responded, understood. Minthian stood watching, feeling that something was off, as if someone knew the maximum budget Shaolin could spend and had taken advantage of it. But he decided to accept. He reassured himself, maybe I am overthinking. Knowing the circumstances of Shaolin, understanding the situation of the lay disciple, could an outsider execute such a perfect plan? Back at the inn, Batun looked pale and mumbled, I do not know if what I am doing is right. Zian held a conical hat in his hand and asked with a smile, are you feeling it out? Isn't this a win-win situation? I have the money, and Shaolin can find the scriptures they desire. desire. Namkung Dian also eagerly called out, now let us take action. We have set the trap where the fish gather. Desiv meant the Shaolin disciples were tired from gathering the secret of their set. Then he held a bag in his hand and scoffed. Now it is time to bait for the big fish. Min Chia reached out, his voice trembling. Finally, the Shaolin 10 extremes turned to Shaolin. He received the scripture from Min Tong, who was panting. Min Chi prayed, the disciples have worked hard, and from now on, we will be very busy selecting a new Shaolin 10 extreme. We heard in 2 years at the Four Kings battle, where the martial arts world gathered. The world will witness the Shaolin 10 extreme. The disciples cheered in unison. Understood. Suddenly, a person with a hat covering their face appeared. Panting heavily, he patted his curved back and said, I guess I need to move a bit. Getting here has made my back too much. Person next to him teased. Didn't I say I would help? If you two are arguing, do I need your help? This lively atmosphere surprised Mun Chi. A disciple stepped forward to lead the way. Amitabha, this is the path leading to the hair. Please allow the pilgrims to enter through the side gate. He gently lifted the brim of his hat and replied, looks like I am on the right path. I want to consult the abbot of Shaolin. Min Chai reluctantly stepped forward. I am the abbot of Shaolin Temple. May I ask what you wish to see me about? Wells began to unwrap a layer of fabric from his hand. I came here to give you a treasure. Min Chi was startled, frowned, and widened his eye, exclaiming, could it be that in Dixo's hands right now is a tattered secret manual, the supreme divine skill of Shaolin? Upon hearing this, Min Chi was so shocked he dropped all the books he was holding. Min Chi sighed to himself. The ultimate martial arts of Shaolin Temple along with the Yi Jin Jing and the Tai Tu Jing were indeed rare skills of the first true disciple of Master Dama. DxO smiled triumph. Fish has taken the bait. On the other side, the disciples whispered to each other, Master, please remain calm. Could that be possible? So far, many copies of the supreme divine skill have appeared, but all of them are fake. The genuine one is being kept in the southern house of the family. Min Chi was not easily swayed. He said loud, you really know how to joke. According to the rule, anyone who dares to insult Shaolin will be punished with a staff. But today I feel happy, so I will let it go. Without hesitation, directly swung his hand through the secret manual towards the bewildered abbot. You said, I will show this to Master Fuang. This is a copy of the first half. Please read it. If after reading you still want to punish, then go ahead. Min Thien immediately opened the book to look, not forgetting to threaten. If you dare to deceive, do not even think about leaving here in one piece. However, the disciples behind still looked disheartened. Brother seems to still not realize, even if we find the new that tie. In the meantime, Min Chi's hands holding the secret book are shaking non-stop, focused on each word and exclaimed, this is real. The two disciples exclaimed, calmly said, now we can talk again. Pointed at the secret, confidently suggest 500,000 silver tael. Do you want to buy it? Min Thien asked suspiciously. Who are you? This moment, Namkung Dian took off his hat to greet. Master, are you well? Min Chai recognized him and suddenly said, you. He lowered his voice as if he understood everything. So that is how it is. All of this was part of the deputy military master's plan. Namkung just chuckled and then suddenly became crazy. This is the first for me to conquer the world. First, I will start with Shaolin. Seeing his subordinate suddenly acting strange, Du immediately slapped. What is this crazy guy talking about? Min Chi turned pale and guessed. You can hit the back of the deputy military master. He must be someone of high status in the Namkung family. Desiax only took off his hat at this moment, muttering, it seems I can lure Shaolin with money. So I suggest let me fight all the third generation disciples of Shaolin Temple. I will use this book to exchange. Compared to 500 taels of silver, is not this condition much better? You ended with a bright smile. Min Chia was stunned. Turned out this was the young master from the rumors. I understand now why you know the situation at Shaolin so well. It is all because of that old man being so nosy. B Tun was observing from a distance and was startled to hear. Es did not care about continued on. Does the master agree or not? It seems you are no longer interested in the great monk Phiam, then Bian Nun CTM, King. Before finishing his word, you turn to leave. Then I guess I have to go to the nearby Ho Sen sect. Seeing this, Feng Trung Yu Min Chusa shouted. Then he thought to himself, indeed we have fallen into this kid's trap. To revive Shaolin, I sacrificed the assets of the Shaolin Temple and the disciple. Greed clouded my judgment. Min Chishu became despondent, reflecting on himself and then made a resolution. He grabbed the pendant around his neck and tore it off. This action left everyone speechless in shock. Batun shouted from afar, but before he could do anything, Men Kang rushed over to stop. Wait, we can reveal ourselves right now. The heard the commotion behind and felt agitated. What are those old men doing? You turned back to look person in front of you, thinking everything would go smooth, but unexpectedly it was so troublesome. Cancel the position of Ong Try gain yourself. From now on, no one will be tempted by the great monk Favam then Bine Si Tagamaj Kwang again. Min Chi stood facing his opponent, exuding a majestic aura and ready to fight. Min Tam's group awkwardly shouted, this is not a decision we all made. Why should you take on this responsibility? Senior brother. Min Thian also agreed, persuading, that is right. Senior brother, you should step back. But Mun Chi raised his hand to stop both. He declared firmly, from now on, I am just an ordinary martial artist, no longer the abbot of Shaolin. Right. Min Chi sneered, don't you all want to negotiate? Desiax quietly remarked, the atmosphere has changed. Then asked direct, what do you mean? Min Chi pointed at the disciple, saying, I will negotiate with Shaolin for you. I will listen to what you want. Desiax was taken aback. Is that? He nervously analyzed the situation, realizing that the tables had turned sim because of the abbot's decision. Turned out that the one backed into a corner was him. At this moment, Min Chi was like a giant statue, suppressing Decimex Guzari. They say a frog sitting at the bottom of a well is not wrong, but now he should regain his composure and speak. Alright, I agree. Min Chi gleefully waved his hand to open the door, welcoming them to Shaolin. The Yangstu glanced to the left, muttering, I said to do it, not just talk. Glancing to the right, he saw Batud and a Min Cha argue. Old B Tun shouted loud, look at him. He is the master of the original. Min Chia refused to back down and questioned back. Then why did you leave Shaolin? A monk stood there help, not knowing what to do to stop. How did I end up like? He tightened his grip, wondering, should I take it down now? That is when he noticed Fuang Truong. He chuckled soft, clapping his hands to grab everyone's attention. Alright, let us clarify this. Even though the previous Fuang Truong allowed and the third generation disciples to spar with each other, he also wanted to fight that old bald man. Right, Min Chia, that is right. Just one punch is all we need to let it out. Continued, but the old bald man did not want to fight. Bata nodded. Exact. He triumphantly raised a finger. Then it is easy. I will exchange the Grand Monk's heavenly mind technique with the third generation disciple of Shaolin. As for your matter, you two handle it yourself. You no longer have anything to do with Shaolin. The two looked confused. What? Min Thian frowned. The what? Min Chai had regained his composure and casually asked, after we spar with the third generation disciple, you will have to hand that old man over. Just give me one day. He cheerfully replied, alright, let us decide on that. Old Bat Tongue cried out in despair. Who gave you the right to decide on your own? Outside, the Shaolin disciple practicing their forms. A disciple suddenly stopped, looking off into the distance. Min Tam glanced in the direction the disciple pointed. point. The three Dikshu, Minchi, and Batun were approaching them. People around discussing. Fuang Truong is still over there. Isn't the person next to Fuang Truong Batun? And that stranger must be the young master of the Nam Kung family mentioned in the rumors. You are facing Min. I want to train right now. Is that okay? Mas, the head of the martial arts school, responsible for the third generation disciple, stroked his chin happily and replied, sure. The opportunity to fight someone from the Nam Kung family is not something easily come by. I hope you can teach my disciple. Clasped his hands into fists. So I can do whatever I want, right? The head nodded. That is right. No one can interfere. No matter what happens. He stood before a Shaolin disciple who was a head taller than him and asked, is the master good at fighting? He smirked, thinking to himself, let us see who teaches whom. The disciple calmly looked, before we fight, I have something to ask. I heard the abbot broke the rule because of you. Is that true? He stroked his chin, thinking, then replied, you could say that. The veins on the disciple's forehead bulged. Clearly he was getting angry. He was about to throw a punch at you. The other disciples outside laughed and said, he is done. How can he avoid that distance? But he moved so fast that the naked eye could not buck, leaving his opponent stunned and unable to react. He did not hesitate, hitting him squarely on the head, resulting in him smashing his face ground. Taken down in an instant, he laughed joyfully. What a thrill. Those who witnessed this scene could not help but be shocked. Another person stepped forward to challenge. Rushing in, he held a wooden stick. And even if you are the young master of Nam Kung, do not underestimate this Shaolin temple. He did not offer any taunt. Just chuck. Is it now your turn? Bit bung. He swung the stick furious, but the guy easily dodged. The footwork earlier was not bad, he said, but I am not easily fooled. The guy just smiled and charged. Master, which footwork have I used before? The ultimate skill of the High Nam school. 4 C's flying wind. Pulled back the stick and attacked relentless, but the guy still managed to evade. Where? Let us see if you can dodge this. The stick was about to hit him, but he put his right hand on the ground and used his left foot to block the attack. Hi, Tin. He was stunned. You can block my iron stat move. The guy maintained his position and launched himself into the air. Itovineta Natsan Trungli. Itovineta Natsan Trungli. Gia Trungli P please send Trung. The stick broke in two. He could not believe his eye. Can't be. He struck his head again, taking him down instant. Someone shouted. He won again. All the Shaolin disciples rushed in to attack him. This time it is my turn. Next, the terror of Shaolin was just beginning. He laughed loud. It is really fun to be at Shaolin. Soon, all the Shaolin disciples defeated. Not a single piece of armor left. One disciple spoke. How could he master the diamond heaven? He frowned and thought more of. His skill is even more refined than mine. He gritted his teeth and leaped high, attacking with his legs, saying about his fists and I will not lose. As he was about to strike, all the disciples cheered him on, but the guy dodged it. Watch and learn. He was panicked, unable to believe that he over one more time. Kicked straight into his chin from above. The diamond illusion collapsed. The intent of the feat. The three linked heavy. He was sent flying far away, his eyes rolling back. Everyone at Shaolin is worried. Lam is holding his head in anxiety. We have already defeated. How will the reputation of the third generation disciples of Shaolin hold up? Suddenly, someone speaks up. Don't he worry. A strong and robust master is about here. Followed by Lo Kuan showing off his skill. That should be enough. His eyes are filled with confidence. Min Chi pondered. I thought it was just a legend, but I can't believe I am seeing the heavenly martial body in person. Desiak stands among the defeated disciples, playfully holding a weapon. Should I use a sword now? Unaware that someone is watching, the master evaluates you. Perfect body for martial arts training. He smiles slyly, but remembering Lo Kuan radiating golden light, it is still too early. Front that kid. At least in about 2 years can they compete. He raises his hand. The match begins now. Lo Kuan kneels down, saying hollowly. Third generation disciple Lo Kuan requests the master to continue the tish. He looks dumbfounded. Think this kid has never asked for anything before. Does he really want to fight that young man? Looking at Lo Kuan still kneeling, he does not know what to do. Nam Kung Dine suddenly appeared, his cheerful voice ringing out. Aren't you all curious? The heavenly martial body versus the diamond body. Who will be the winner? I really want to see this match. Min Chechi glances at Mind Tem and nods in agreement. Nam Kung Jon continues enthusiastic. Let us consider this the last match of the day. There is still plenty of time. Don't you all want to watch? Why so? Min Tinam respond. Alright, I allow the two of you to. Nam Kung cheers how. Lucky me. Men Kang is also joining the bet. I bet on the young man. But Tun stood silent, looking angry. Lo Kuan stood tall, hands clapped, and asked, are you ready? Lo Kuan replied calmly. Court frown. Why are you being so vague? Lo Kuan remained indifferent. I am 70. You are helpful. Being vague is fine. He muttered. A wave of pressure emanated from Lao Kuan, pushing him back. What is this? Why do I keep getting pushed back? Lo Kuan said emotionally. If you are not going to charge in, then let me. You move, closing in face to. He swung his sword to attack, but was taken aback by your speed. Too fast. The stick hit Lo Kuan square in the. He smiled. Alright, bring it on. Looks like I was a bit careless. Lo Kuan clenched his me. Do not be tense. As the fist got close, he gently parried the blow with the wooden sword. It is just one. The wooden sword broke in half. He widened his eye. What? The wooden sword not only broke, but also exploded into pieces. He tilted his head to avoid the debris. The wooden sword made of black bamboo that fragile. Lo Kuan advised, you should choose a different wooden sword. He thought irritable. This was supposed to be a great opportunity, yet you did not charge in. You are looking down on me. Throw away half the sword. Kuan said, pick up the sword. You do not have one. I will lend you mine. He replied, pick up the sword. If you do not have one, I will lend you mine. He smiled, extending his hand. I do not need it. I am good at martial art. I can handle it. He moved quickly and methodically, adapting to the situation. He poked at Li Kuan's face with 2 fingers, then quickly redirected his calf. Li Kuan remained still, calf swollen and red. He was astonished. What? Li Kuan's body was as solid as iron. Li Kuan explained, that is why I said you should use a sword. He jumped high, swinging his fist while chanting, Amitabha. End it. He knew he could not avoid it, thinking to himself, can I dodge? Nah, I will definitely be done. He decided to take the risk, clenching his fist. In that case, he would dig his feet firmly into the ground. Gather your energy. If you are confident in your diamond-like strength, watch this. 100 steps divine fist. The 2 fists collided with a loud bang, and he hugged his painfully swollen arm. It hurt a lot. Min Chai exclaimed, unable to believe it. The man from the DZ Nam app. He explained, facing the 100 steps divine fist and his diamond-like body without being knocked down. Li Kuan was worried. How is that possible? He shouted angrily. Dante touched you monster. He was excited and blushing. For the first time, someone did not fall after I used all my strength. Min Chi commented, seems the Shaolin temple has nothing left to teach that kid. If it were decent, there might still be hope. Call for the medicine. Nam Kung Dian painfully handed the money he lost in the bet to Men Kang. Min Chi watched while Lo Kuan chased after Zhu, making him furious. Why are you following me around? The doctor from the Royal Medical Center gently took Dai's hand, smiled softly, and said, what a pity. The hit had been a bit stronger. Your bones would have shattered. This way is better. He then asked, does it hurt a lot? So much that you want to die and come back to life? Right. If it hurt, just scream to make it feel better. Then he wondered if this was normal, or if you, being a martial artist, were trying to endure the pain. The Yang grimaced in discomfort. His eyes filled with annoyance as he looked. Doctor La Lo Kuan, standing next to him, knew what to say and added, at least your bones bones did not break. You will be healthy again soon. Zien sat silent, head down, his face gloomy, unable to take it anymore. He stood up and shouted directly at Luo Quine. Why have you been babbling next to me this whole time? Luo Quine calmly replied, I am just worried about you. Des did not care, saying if it was normal, then just leave. Luo Quine still smiled, his eyes full of enthusiasm. I will stay with you until you recover to continue fighting. It was furious. Are you crazy? My bones are nearly shattered. Luo Quine clasped his hand, looking endearing. Your bones are fine. This is the first time I have fought someone who still looks this intense. Des was furious but did not say anything, only cursing in his heart at this monster. In Des's eye, Luo Quine was the towering wall that he could not overcome at the moment. The closer I get, clearer I see that wall was not built overnight. It is the result of talent and hard training, likened to diamond-like detail. Touching the wound on my hand, I think to myself, it takes a long time to build a solid foundation like that. But that is not what we need right now. His gaze stopped on Luo Quine's body, completely wrapped in diamond-like skin. Desing suddenly realized he was missing something. What we need is a body like that. If I had a body similar to Luo Quine, could I control it at will? Would the speed be faster? The strength greater? Just like that, could overcome that wall. Without thinking further, Li X stood up abruptly. Maybe the time spent at Shaolin will be longer than I thought. Luo Quine was pleased to hear that. Great, you can stay here as long as you want. Manhwa, an old man, was climbing down the mountain when he suddenly stopped upon seeing a strange sight. From the foot of the mountain, Des next was carrying a large rock. Taking slow steps up the mountain, the old man exclaimed in surprise, what a turtle. But Xiangska paid no attention, continuing to climb persistently. He recalled the stances for martial arts training. When practicing the lower body, one must first train the horse stance. Then comes the gradual method. So the perfect combination of those two is bending the knee. He practiced moving forward while relieving pressure on his legs. The endless mountain range stretched on, but he did not hesitate, continuing to train. Even walking on the ground was difficult, let alone climbing Song Mountain, the most dangerous mountain in Central Plains. The old man rubbed his eye, thinking he must be seen. Before he could collect himself, he saw a group of Shaolin disciples carrying stones, climbing the mountain vigorously. They were shouting loudly as they went. Namkung Fam Du heard the call, turned his head to look, but when he turned back, he was truly stunned. Luo Quine was leading a bunch of Shaolin disciples who were following him to train. Du helplessly asked, what are you guys following me for? Luo Quine cheerfully replied, we thought we would try training, and it is great for the lower body. Then he smoothly glided past him. I will go ahead. As he walked, Luo Quine turned back and said, you are going too slow. I have been yawning all day. I will go ahead. You follow behind. Okay. Du was so angry that he just wanted to beat him up, but he could not fight back. He could only mumble, I will remember your name. Luo Quine, seeing his spirit like that, complimented him. Good posture. The other disciples saw the two had left them far behind and did not know what to do. Getting further away, what should they do? Should they chase after them? Well, they will just go at their own pace then. From a distance, two masters stood on the cliff observing the scene. Minthian smiled, feeling comforted seeing the disciples actively training. Minchi laughed. We have really slacked off on our training late. When he remembered something, he said, right, junior brother, how's the selection of the 10 extremes going? Minthian looked group and said, the master is thinking about selecting 10 disciples from the third generation disciple, and I think this idea from junior brother is not bad. So that is it. Just go with your idea. Seeing there was nothing more to say, he immediately retorted, did you clean the front yard this morning? Then he continued in a pointed tone, you should go sweep. The number of visitors lighting incense has increased significantly late, so we need to clean a lot. His face turned pale, unable to hide his dissatisfaction. I really have to go. Yeah. Last year I was still the abbot of Shaolin. He gave a half-pity, half-teasing smile. But now you are not the abbot anymore. That is why I told you to go back. He unwillingly turned around to go sweep the yard, mumbling to himself, where's the broom? He dropped the stone on the ground, stood there wiping the sweat, and thought to himself 3 months had passed before he knew it. He tried standing in a stand, feeling the muscles in his lower body as firm as he thought, moving so quickly that those masters could not buck. Even if his body improved further, he still could not catch up to Luo Quine. Thinking of this, he felt angry and asked himself, but why was the distance to that guy still not closing? Then he realized it was not about speed, but rather that guy was deliberately maintaining the distance. He picked up the wooden sword and continued practicing, mumbling, if it stays like this, I won't be able to catch up to Luo Quine. He swung the sword back and forth, then closed his eyes to focus. Indeed, when practicing the 3 talents sword technique, the mood is still the best. Feel my body full of vitality. Then he suddenly thought, wait a minute, this is me stroking my chin and thought, we do not need to separate martial art, do we? What if we could apply the 3 talents sword technique in everyday life? Although this is completely different from focusing on internal energy cultivation, we can both train and recover. I might finally find the key point. It is definitely worth a try. The reason I practice the 3 talents sword technique is that if I can open up heavenly wisdom, earthly wisdom, and human wisdom, I can integrate heaven and humanity and resonate with the life force of nature. Thus, the more I practice the 3 talents sword technique, the more my energy will increase. The human body is like the universe. If viewed that way, heavenly wisdom does not necessarily mean sky. Humans are the universe. Then the head represents heavenly wisdom, and the chest represents human wisdom. The lower body represents earthly wisdom. I use a real sword for practice, and the medium that connects these 3 types of wisdom, the sword. The important thing here is find a way to combine these 3 types of wisdom at the same time without a sword. He scratched his head and thought, what method should I use? He sighed deep, just exhale and then inhale through the mouth. He stood there for quite a while, his face lit up, showing that he had found the right method. Breathe in. Bat Tun was startled and pointed in one direction. Look over there. Old man. When Man Kang heard him call, he glanced in the direction the old man pointed. You do not look. That is fine. But now that you have, you are scared. What? The whole body of Du is enveloped in a flow of spiritual energy, rising slowly from beneath the ground, and when breathing, the breath merges with the world of fire. Not just from underground, but the energy from the trees was also lured by him. Bat Tun Nu understood the situation and explained, that child is at an important stage. To achieve the 5 weapons of the original type, and the 3 flowers gathering, he must definitely overcome the heavenly regulation. He cannot withstand the heavenly regulation. He will never reach the highest realm. Then the 2 immediately sat in meditation. The 2 old men exuded a powerful aura, enveloping all 3 of them. Kept his eyes closed, focusing on sensing the spiritual energy around, letting out a hum. One of the old men sternly reminded, you must focus complete. Who knows, this might be your only chance in life. Just then, from afar, Nam Kung rushed towards, shouting loud, young master, you just said to 2 old men shouted in unison. That crazy guy. He is still happily running over, completely unaware of the danger alert. I have found a way to receive Shaolin in the shortest time possible. Before he could get close, he hit an invisible wall. Surprise! He exclaimed, what is this? At that moment, a stone came flying from somewhere, striking him on the head. Nam Kung Kang Dine cried out in agony. Man Kang, one of the old men angrily shouted. Did you throw a stone? We almost had a big incident because of that crazy kid. He fell to the ground. His head throbbed, eyes sparkled. The old man turned to look. Seeing he had not broken meditation yet, he breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily the heavenly regulation has not been destroyed. You were awakened by the noise. He opened his eyes, looked around, and murmured, what the hell are these old guys doing? Seeing the two of them seriously guarding, thought to himself, what is the heavenly law? I am just resting after practicing the 3 talents sword technique. Why is it so noisy? A hint of pity suddenly welled up in his heart. Namkung-John is really unfortunate, always getting beaten up. To help you? I have decided that starting tomorrow, I will make him train. He was still lying unconscious on the ground, unaware that the days ahead would be nothing short of hell. On the way to Shaolin, pilgrims looked down from the foot of the mountain, laughing and talking. We have arrived. No wonder it is Shaolin. It is a tough place to train every day. Li Qian led the group of disciples carrying stones up the step. He looked at Li Qian in front, and was determined. Today, I must close the gap. Seeing those two role models, the disciples were more enthusiastic. I have got to push myself to catch up too. Namkung-Ryeon, who was behind, had already been left behind by everyone. He was out of breath, sweat trickling down, murmuring, why is it so fast? Looking up at the steep step, he felt a pang of sadness. Just taking one step is exhausting, and they expect me to climb to the top. Remembering his brother's warning, he dared not ignore it. If you do not climb to the top, you know the consequence. He shed tears, feeling sorry for himself. Why is my vice strategist life so hard? The two pilgrims saw him lagging behind and teased. That turtle seems to have gained weight. Too slow. Did you just take a break? You have not even taken 3 steps. It seems like he is just overreacting on purpose. We should head to where Captain Turtle is. That is right, you know. Being humiliated makes me so angry, but I can't do anything about it. All I can do is bite my lip and think to myself, I will definitely overturn this world. Up ahead, he walked as fast as he could, but he also started to feel exhausted. He was panicking, grinding his teeth, and his breath was getting heavier. A few days ago, I could not have maintained this speed. Just think about how I breathed yesterday. He took a deep breath, and the spiritual energy gradually emerged, spreading from the plants around and gathering in his body. He opened his eyes wide, excited. It was work. Feeling empowered, he rushed forward quick, silently thanking himself, continued to absorb the spiritual energy, and soon caught up. Li Qian saw him about to catch up and cheerfully said, you made it here. That is great. But then he put more effort into his legs and added, but winning and losing his speed suddenly surged, catching him by surprise. Even if you are a young man, I won't back down. Can't believe he is hiding his strength. Suspecting he was cheating, he shouted, hey you, are you secretly using your power? He honestly replied, is it because you can't keep up? I will slow down for you. Hearing this, he was so angry that his face twisted. What are you laughing at? If you let me win, you will regret it. Crazily chased after, and the guy even teased him, saying he was too slow, like a bug shivering on the ground. He also started to lose strength, mumbling about it. His vision is starting to blur. Everything around him is becoming hazy. It is hard to breathe. My heart feels like it is going to explode. His face is pale. He can't take it anymore. Closes his eyes, and a source of light appears in his conscience. The spiritual energy radiates from his feet. He silently praises our awareness. The spiritual energy grows strong. His legs feel reinvigorated. Aunt and I can feel it now. The energy is rising from every. This feeling is truly wonderful. He gradually wakes up, clearly sensing the firmness of the ground beneath his. This ground is really solid. If I step on it, my body weight will significantly. Realizing the key, quickly catches up to the boy. The boy is startled to see him right behind him. The boy raises his eyebrow, looking excited. Do you still have something to hide? He does not bother to answer and yell, putting all his strength into running ahead. I will definitely win. Neither of them is willing to back down, pushing each other as they both look in one direction. That is where the spiritual energy is emanating from a large rock. Whoever steps on that rock first will have a sure advantage. Without prior agreement, both jump towards it. He shouts loud, of course it is ours. The diamond-like body technique. Li Qian can just stand by and watch him gain the advantage. Quickly chases after. It is useless. Both head towards the place where the spiritual energy rises, launching forward like arrows. The peak of the mountain has appeared right before their eyes. This is the final moment to determine the winner. I will go ahead. A moment later, he was lying flat on the ground, panting. Next to him, Li Qian was also exhausted for a long time, trembling. After all this hardship, why is there still no winner? Don't be so self-satisfied. You gently comforted. Congratulations, young master. You have just learned to be still. He looked confused. Seeing he did not understand, you explained. You have learned to be still. This will help you unlock the diamond. You do not know. He honestly replied. It is the first time I have heard of you. Smile, your eyes full of admiration. The young master is truly admirable. He asked what it was. You assumed a stand, explaining that being still is a position of standing still. Starting from the horse stand, you move in this position. What do you think? He awkwardly replied that he would no longer be still. You nodded. That is right. Movement and stillness are two opposing concepts, from which the diamond stillness technique arises. He stroked his chin and thought, until now, apart from the 3 talents sword technique, I just simply followed what I saw without really knowing. You seemed to understand his thoughts and reassured him. I know what you are worried about. Clasped your hand, your whole being radiating a glow like an enlightened person. The young master is doing the right, so there is no need to worry. Your glow was so bright that he found it blinding. You continued to lecture. Your efforts up to now had not been in vain. The young master can become even stronger. I am sure. He was taken aback, and seeing this, you were moved to tears. The young master's reaction shows that you have seen my true intention, and you were so happy that you stamped your feet in place. Now, let me explain further. To truly understand the meaning of stillness, you must feel the earth. Li Qian has praised you, but right now your legs are cramping in pain. Don't talk anymore. Just help me. Unfortunately, you did not hear his words explaining. You must feel the sound and breath of the earth. Then you will know exactly where to place your feet and how to move. That is called the first step. You stomped your foot on the ground as an example. Force was so strong it shook the earth. He was so angry he felt like he could spit blood. Silently cursed. Don't shake the ground anymore. Once you have mastered the first step, everything becomes easy, and the earth shakes even more. He was confused, not understanding what was happening. What is going on? He walked over, hit him hard on the back, and said, at that moment, the earth will automatically tell you. You could not control your strength, making him feel like his soul was about to leave his body. He let out a heartbreak and then fell flat on the ground, unconscious. You did not realize you were the one causing this. The doctor from the medicine clinic looked at you and said with a smile, this is the first time in my 60 years of treating patients that I have seen anyone with muscle. Li Qian stood beside, chest puffed out, proudly declaring, carried the young master here. His gaze lingered on your tired, and he thought, it is all because of you that I am in this situation. You pointed to the bed next to you and added, there is another patient. I saw him faint on the way here. Li Qian glanced over and saw Namkung-Jun lying unconscious on the bed. Suddenly remembering that he forced the kid to train with, he exclaimed, I forgot. He raised his hand to smell his own body. Grimace. This dirt smell is really unpleasant. I need to go wash up right away. Just as he was about to stand up, his whole body suddenly swayed and fell to the ground. What is happening? I can't move. Li Qian quickly explained. Of course. Young master just learned the first technique. Just like a child learning to walk. Diso frowned, sounding very dissatisfied. I am not a child just learning to walk. Like Quan patiently guided. You need to imagine the feeling when bending your knee. Only then can you execute the first technique. Diso followed along and immediately felt a strong stream of spiritual energy flowing into his body. His legs gradually regained sensation, causing him to exclaim in surprise. That is strange. This feeling is completely different from last. Suddenly, Diso's eyes widened. He saw streams of blue energy swirling around like Quan's body rhythmic. I have seen it. Depth, breath, muscle, all perfectly combined. Quan proudly showed off his bulging muscle. Right now, it may look like just swinging a sword, but later you will be able to wield a blade. The image that Li Quan wanted to convey was a strong body like his own. The young master will become like, so let me help you. I imagine my face on Li Quan's body. Felt strange, so I immediately declined. Forget it, but I have to admit his words are very useful. Clenched his fist. Determined. It seems I am on the right track. I will definitely become stronger. A year later, on the mountain of Shaolin Temple, Lo Quan and Zevin were still competing to carry stones as they ran. Lo Quan smirked. If we count yesterday's match, I have lost 45 out of 99 matches. If I win today, we will tie at 45-45. He shot off like an arrow, ignoring all obstacles. If this keeps up, he will win, so I will do it my way. Des walked gracefully, each step relying on the hardness of the ground. I have learned how to walk properly, so I will make use of everything I can. He stepped on the tree trunk in front of, bending it into an arc where it snapped back, launching him up high. Hearing a strange noise, Lo Quan turned his head back. What was that? Esk stepped on his head, sneering a little before continuing to jump higher. Lo Quan was still confused. What is it? Evine placed his hand on the stone tower. His voice deep. It is, I will leave Shaolin Temple. Lo Quan remained silent. Let us continue. But before we go, let us have a match. Lo Quan clasped his hand. His gaze finally. The day has come. I will use all my strength. Minthian spoke up to remind. Today everyone is. You all must be cautious. The disciples below were a bit surprised to hear him say, since today's sparring allowed the use of martial arts. With arms crossed and a confident smile, Minthian continued. Of course, using internal energy can be dangerous. The disciples here have worked 1,000 times harder than others. Minthian encouraged the disciples. You are all strong. Do not be afraid. Give it your all in the fight. The disciples listened intently to his words, their faces showing determination. Failure is just a stepping stone for further training. That is the spirit of Shaolin. Dessen silently marveled. Just a few words changed the atmosphere. He could not help Min Thine and Min Chi. He seemed more suited for the role of the abbot than the other guy. The referee signaled for the contestants to step onto the stage. The crowd enthusiastically cheered for the boy from Shaolin. Number 1 cut. Go. Do not lose. He was also excited to enter the match. I have changed a lot since the first day we met. He asked again. Really? Guy just shouted loudly and charged. Desi used only one hand, striking the left cheek, causing his opponent blood. He replied brief. Me too. Min Thin turned red with anger, shouting. Number 1 cut is an idiot. Next, the following opponent was defeated in the same way as number 1 said brief. Next, Min Thin called number 3, who was immediately defeated. He called number 4 up, but the result was no different. Then came number 5. This disciple no longer looked as excited as number 1. He was confused, waiting. Clearly we have become much stronger. Lo Quan smiled, put his hand on the shoulder of number 5 and said, sorry, brother, I hope you do not mind me interrupt, but you guys are no match for Zai. Des Fangchu was holding onto a Shaolin disciple's collar, but still smiled at Lo Quan for being late and loud. Lo Quan was excitedly channeling his energy. I will give it my all right from the start. Des Fangchu touched the hilt of his sword. Then you draw your sword, pointed at your opponent, and I suggest we will use swords from the beginning. Is that all right? Lo Quan agreed immediately. All right then. On one side, some disciples were listening to Nam Kung Jun's remarks. Such strong martial art definitely be worth watch from now on. It should be quite interesting. Right, he continued. But watching a match without betting is so boring. After scanning the area, Nam Kung Jun's gaze landed on Mun Chae, who had spotted the target. Nam Kung Jon immediately approached, starting to anticipate breaking the rule. Would you like to bet with Min Chi? Annoyed, said, not all. Nam Kung Jon hurriedly tried to persuade him. Come on now. He directly proposed that I bet on the young master winning 600,000 taels. 600,000 taels. Min Chi started to be tempted by Nam Kung Jon. He spoke, if you have 600,000 taels, you will regain your faith and the honor of the abbot. He immediately asked, then what will I bet? Nam Kung Dian grinned slyly, raising his hand to emphasize his words. 1 major Dan pill. I heard that the abbot of Shaolin holds 3 major Dan pill. Min Chia was stunned, thinking to himself, how does he know something only the abbot knows? Nam Kung Dian continued to lure him, pretended to leave while saying, if you do not like, I will go somewhere else. Min Chi spoke him back. Wait a minute. He raised one hand to negotiate with Nam Kung Jon. Although I am still the abbot, I cannot use the major Dan pill at will. Instead, I will bet 5 minor Dan pills. Nam Kung Jon smiled brightly in agreement. Alright, he thought to himself, because from the very beginning, my target is the minor Dan pill, not the major Dan. 1 major Dan pill is equivalent to 60 years of power, while a minor Dan pill is only worth 10 years of power each. Even having 5 is not a bad deal. Min Chi was unaware of Nam Kung Jon's scheme. On the contrary, he was secretly mocked. So foolish. Do you think my talented Li Quan can be easily defeated? I won't leave you a single penny. Hand over that 600,000 right now. They shook hands and signed the contract. Uko looked at Nam Kung Jon with a wary gaze, silently asked, what is he planning to do? Jin Lei signaled to start. As soon as he heard this, Desin jumped up from the ground and said, alright, quickly approach Lo Quan. Give it a try. Lo Quan immediately went on the defense. Desin's sword struck his. The disciples watching outside were astonished. Can you really block a sword with your hand? Lo Quan used his inner strength to envelop his body in an extraordinary, the martial arts that only you have mastered in Shaolin Temple. The diamond impervious skill. Desi lunged forward again, saying, 1 hit is not enough. He continued to swing while provoking Lo Quan. Let us see how long you can block this then. Desi executed another move. 3 talents mental technique. He visualized the attack, stepping into the most suitable position to strike. The tip of the sword pointed straight at the target, aiming for the least obstructed path of the air. Then he struck down at Lo Quan. Are you still holding that? Lo Quan exerted all his strength to block and scoffed. Simple. He gritted his teeth in disbelief. What? Lo Quan put all his force behind his punch towards saying, that is not it. The strength he put into the strike was not small as he glared at D2O, while continuing. That is not how you attack. Desi thought to himself, I need to avoid this oppressive feeling. Lo Quan seemed to read his thoughts and directly said, I did not avoid it at all. Des grimaced and cursed inward. Damn. Lo Quan put all his strength into a direct blow to Des's stomach. He was pushed back quite far, and the observing disciples were startled. Des shows no signs of backing down, instead bursting into laughter. You are getting angry. That is really what you want. Desi unleashes his power, loudly challenging them to try. Zifeng swings his sword, and a vibrant aura radiates from the blade. The Shaolin disciples were astonished. What is that? I have never seen anyone from Nam Kung do that before. Ba Tun asked Men Kang, do you know what that is? He replied, it is my first time time seeing it, but I can guess. Menkang continued. Isn't the sword energy derived from internal power? Bitun agreed. That is right. Menkang continued. But the young master has a different way of accumulating internal power. That energy cannot possibly merge into one body. He sighed. That is a special ability that only the young master possesses. All that energy combines to form sword energy. Lo Kuan excitedly rushed to it. That is amazing. So fresh. I want to smash it. But Lo Kuan suddenly froze. He let out a yelp and backed off a few meters before he could touch death. Then he spoke up. You startled me. I thought I was going to get cut. Minchasha suddenly exclaimed. Why did Lo Kuan retreat? Seeing Lo Kuan's action, the fiend chased after him. I won't let you get away. Desi Xju stomped on the ground, then gained momentum and jumped up. He thought to himself, I am going for the most solid surface. Desi attacked Ho Kuan's support leg. He assessed the situation. I have secured the surface I wanted. Lai Quan is preparing to throw. Dio continues to calculate, but he has also discovered the position we have chosen. Lai Quan's strike lands directly on Diso. Diso remains resilient in defense. While the crowd around begins to stir from the recent blow, Licken has been hit, but he stands firm, not backing down even an inch. Someone in the crowd exclaims, with an excited expression. Quan says, you managed to take that hit. Impressive. Your body is starting to change as you continue. But even though you are my good friend, I will still use all my strength to crush you. Feel it is not right. You should dodge. Lai Quan's arms gradually turn into diamond, a martial arts form he has practiced. Old Bat, standing beside, is astonished to realize the technique Lai Quan is using. Posture is impossible, he exclaimed. Lai Quan's upper body completely transformed into diamond, and Batun named the technique Diamond Unbreakable Divine Skill. Diamond Double. Minchi, you stood aside, laughing triumphantly as you witnessed this scene. That is not something a newborn could achieve, he said. To master the Diamond Unbreakable Divine Skill, the body must be shattered into hundreds of pieces and then reassembled. Without effort and strong belief, success is impossible. His gaze softened as he looked quiet. He is a gentle child, but also the one with the strongest will at Shaolin. He will shorten the path to success for Shaolin and could become a once-in-a-century saint. Nam Kung John beside him chuckled soft. A saint after a century. Excuse me. Can't help but laugh, he said, laughter ringing out. Minchi was immediately annoyed. What are you laughing at? Just that alone is called a once-in-a-century saint in this remote. I do not mean to look down on Shaolin, but talents like that are abundant in the Nam Kung family. At least more than 30. Nam Kung John's words immediately pressure on the Shaolin disciples. They could not believe that there could be as many as 30 people with such strength. Nam Kung John observed the situation with half an eye, thinking to himself that it seemed to be having some effect. Continued to calculate while looking at death. If we agree with that old man, who will support the young master? I have to stand by his side. Glanced at Desisu's opponent, Lalo Quan, and assessed that guy to be around 5 fingers, probably not even 3. A moment later, pointed towards the EX flaring. That young master over there is the second best in this martial world. Min Chi, not understanding. Second best. Then who is the first? Nam Kung Dine replied serious. Of course it is the god of war, right? Minhwa. Yangsu, his sword tight. Sigh. I am going crazy. He continued to observe Lo Quan, muttering, even if I train hard in the 3 talents sword technique, I still have not reached this level. Lo Quan charged forward, shouting, Diamond immovable body technique. You throw a strike, hovering in the air. You do not advance. Then let me do it. Wei Yangstu raised his sword to block the strike, haughtily responding, go ahead and charge. I can block it no matter what. But Lo Quan had already penetrated Zai Xgu's sword with a single finger, catching him completely off guard. Diamond finger quickly dodged, letting out a yelp as Lo Quan continued to apply pressure. Launching a diamond kick, Des swung his sword, his gaze sharp, clearly preparing to counterattack. When his sword touched Lo Quan's, the latter raised his hand to block. Desun was startled when his sword broke in half. This was Lo Quan taking a deep breath and exhaling. Zika was astonished. That stance was impressive. Lo Quan threw a punch while executing the 100-step iron fist technique. The Yang Xdu's feet slammed down hard into the ground as he defended against Lo Quan's celestial balance. He is using the same technique as Li Quan back divine power. Li Quan jumps high, dodging the opponent's attack, then quickly counters with the divine power technique. The direct strike heads straight for death. He is holding a solid defensive stance. After attack, Li Quan immediately retreats, gaining momentum for the next assault. Zhu's eyes widen, looking panic-stricken. Li Quan charges again, but Disextrev manages to block his full force strike, leaving the crowd in astonishment. What? He blocked the diamond. Desiv braces himself, his body shake, letting out a cry. In his mind, Li Quan now resembled a fierce bull, and he exclaimed, this is a beast, not an ordinary person. Still, Desiv reminded himself to relax a bit, or his body would explode. He spoke up while still bracing himself. My arms can't take it anymore. And Li Quan quickly seized the opportunity to catch his opponent off guard. Confused, closed his eyes, thoughts racing in his mind. I am done. The image of his older brother Nam Kung's son appeared along with the whisper of giving up War King's battle. A strange transformation suddenly appeared on his body. Even Light was astonished. This is Tai Chai right now. He immediately assumed this, determined to make the most of this new power. Alright, anyway, my body will shatter. X near, his limbs starting to move. I will try everything so I won't regret it. Li Quan continues to charge his head. The Shaolin disciples around cover their faces from the strong wind, unable to hide their amazement. What? How can this be? Mankang also exclaimed in disbelief as 4 yin-yang figures appeared. The technique being used by Dio is the 4 ounces 8,000 pounds, using a small force to overcome a large force by borrowing the opponent's strength. La Bat Tun added that not only that but even more so. Li Quan shouted, determined not to back down. I will not lose. Then you shift to another, the indestructible diamond god. This time Des is the one caught off guard. Could it be that I am maturing? Just a moment. He commented, but Li Quan's body looks terrifying. Des's eyes widen, determination in his heart. It is now. I can still do it. He begins to wield his weapon. First is his right hand, with the Tude Kim in his right hand, then his left hand, the Ven and Kim in his left. Diso envisions clearly positive energy of Tude Kim and the negative energy of Vien, 2 sources of power that seemed impossible to combine, concentrating in one. 2 old men observing are astonished, wondering how he can do that when I have never taught him to use the Vien Kim. Li Quan understands one. If I can break this move, victory will be in my hand. He observes Des, noting that he is much stronger. If I keep enduring, I will be in danger. Des releases a surge of power around him, shouting to declare his presence. Li Quan, confused, exclaimed, this is not good. Instantly, he is blown away. The Shaolin disciples around are also affected by this massive force. When everything settled, only a cloud of smoke remained, and Li Quan lies motionless on the ground. Old Minchi shouts, Quan Hai, give the order immediately. Take Quan Nai to the medical center. Hurry. Des breathes a sigh of relief. Phew, it seems I can test my strength. 4 kings match now. Man Kang and Nam Kung Dine approach. Young Master Wan Su cheerfully suggests we should go and have a little heart-to-heart. Today I am treating everyone. XQ replies, you know, that is really rare. Do not regret it. After those 2 went ahead, head. Wee Fang's turned to look at Bia-san. He spoke, the old bald man. His words unexpectedly startled Pun. Yangstu continued. The old man is worried. He should go check it out. Ba Twin asked out. Really? Yanks, why not? The old man has returned to his old home, so he can rest calm. Batun left not forgetting to express his gratitude. Thank, I will repay you later. Yangsko smiled contentedly. However, Min Thian suddenly stopped, asking him to halt. He continued. Hunhai will be taken care of by Thu Alam. Outsiders should not interfere. Batun explained. I understand, but I just want to confirm that he is okay. Suddenly, Min Chi launched a surprise attack on Batian. He angrily shouted. Min Chi coldly said, you were once called Bitacha, respected more than anyone in Thigolem on that day. Even though you were defeated by Nam Kung Han, who is more than half your age and lost an arm, we never gave up hope that you would rise again. He angrily asked, but what about now? Haven't you abandoned us and left on your own? Tun stammered. About that, Min Chi continued. You know how hard we tried to protect Thu Alam, right? His gaze coldly locked on a bite. You are no longer one. Go back or you will be beaten and down. Being Hun gritted his teeth, readying himself. Foolish disciple. Fine, I understand. Come on. Min Chi signaled, and immediately the disciples of Thigu Lam moved. He declared the Lahan formation, and the disciples formed the battle line. Jinli commanded. Second Arhat formation. Prepare to attack. The Shaolin elders shouted in. Third Arhat formation. Get into position. Fourth Arhat formation. 5D. Sixth Arhat formation. Prepare to attack. Redirect. The 8 lords struggled to hold their ground, observing and discussing. Now we only have 6 final formations left. Min Chi agreed, noting that previously only Thean Ma had endured to the 6th Arhat formation. He had a serious expression. But if we had more time, the one who defeated Thean Ma would not have been Nam Kong but us. Shirlin. The disciples urged the 8 lords as they continued to attack. Master, that is enough. Please stop. The 8 lords gritted their teeth and remarked, that is quite strong. He sneered, and the 8 lords jumped high. Using the hand style technique, the Shaolin elders pointed and commanded, quick, catch him. Do not let him escape. The 8 lords concentrated their power in their hand, countering. He unleashed a palm strike, knocking away many disciples. The great power of the diamond palm, they exclaimed as the 8 lords unleashed their hand, then used that technique to strike another target. The 1-point meditation. Min Chi instructs the group behind to withdraw their inner strength and minimize their attack. Front. He will keep attack. Be ready. One person beside him observes Batun's move, commenting that it turns out his martial art been used like that. Min Chi asked, what? This guy continued. That is the Kuaila Sahung for you. So that is why when you unleash your energy, the hang is so weak. Min Chi shout, what are you saying at a time like this? Batun replied, you all are getting so angry. Then let me, just do not expect me to spare you later. He commands Mun Then, Jin X Ka, Jin Mu, and Min Tem to surround Ba. Min Chi loudly declared, I want to go easy on you anymore. Batun muttered, finally showing up. Min Chi gathers his energy. I will end this myself. You do not need to be afraid. They all rush forward to attack Batun. He is pushed back, letting out a cry, while another person attacks from above. Batun dodges gracefully as another strikes from his left side. Twin gathers energy and delivers a powerful blow, noting that you have not been training hard lately. Batun's, you got hit by that, and you are already breaking bones. Min Chi showed his frustration. The old man is still rambling. Seems like nothing serious is happening. Batun laughed loud. Ha, you see, old age changes one's stamina. Min Chi became even more irritated. Bluntly suggests, we have said our hello. Now let us get started. Hope you won't embarrass the dignity of a former elder of Shaolin. Immediately, everyone began to gather their energy. First technique used was the twin dragons striking the tail. The second person used the white crane spreading wing, while the others took turns using the white snake's earth sign. Golden leopard steady body. Fierce tiger descending the mountain. Batun observed them and remarked, you all have made a lot of progress. He looked, acknowledging that they had worked hard over time. Min Chi suddenly stopped. Batun, while executing his technique, said, I have made mistakes in the past. I do not ask for your forgiveness. Batun's body was enveloped in its source of power, stronger than before. At this moment, I will leave everything I have to you. The others were astonished. That was the first level of the Yi Jin Jing, the microcosmic orbit. The other person was immediately sent flying. He jumped up, using the second technique, star plucking and turning the universe, and the third, digging the 9-bowl tail. Then he changed direction to attack the next person. For the fourth technique, he unleashed the claw strike. He used his hand to send another person flying. For the fifth technique, the 9 ghosts slicing horse blade. By the time he reached the sixth, a sphere of power had formed. The sixth technique, 3 roots falling light. The seventh technique, Azure Dragon 3. The monks observed without taking their eyes off. The eighth technique, drawing the tiger to its true. The ninth technique, striking the bow stand. Batun closed his eyes to final technique. That old man is so intimidated. When he finishes, no one dares to move. Min Chi trembles as he's reciting the 18 Buddha palms of Master Damo. He sheds tears. So Min Chi continued. Our Shaolin has received the great monk Fum Thin Binancy Si Tamem Kung and the 18 Buddha palms of Damo. Tan said, over the year, we have accumulated many debts. The other person replied, all right, let us go now. Min Chi presents a string of prayer. Batun wondered, aren't these your prayer beads? Min Chi speaks on behalf of Shaolin. Can you forgive the ignorance about the hardships you have endured? Whenever you want, feel free to visit Shaolin. And smile. Puts the prayer beads around his neck and reply, Amitabha. Thank you. Min Chi waves goodbye to them. Lo Kuan laughed. Next time we meet, I will be even stronger. He thinks to himself, just wait. Meanwhile, Desi Xko and everyone else have started to head back. They discuss among themselves. The old man wasted too much time. Ha, excuse me. Zio excitedly exclaimed. The next goal is to win the 4 Kings match. Des and everyone are on the carriage heading back. Nam Kung Dine smiles with delight. He joyfully exclaimed, I have been waiting for this day for a long time. On him is a box of pills given by the abbot. He turns to observe the other, mumbling, I guess everyone is asleep, right? Nam Kung Dine picks one up to his mouth. Then let me see. Before he can put it in his mouth, Batintan and Men Kang quickly snatch them away. They put it in their mouth, even commenting in front of Nam Kung John, who was furious about the theft just now. The taste is pretty good, right? What kind of elixir? It is a minor pill. It has been a while since I got to taste one of it. It is really good for the body. They took the last pill from you. There is still this one left. And then tossed the empty box onto the ground under the astonished gaze of Nam John. Desain chewed while comment, Nam Kung John really knows how to find these things. The wooden box fell to the ground and shattered. Nam Kung John shouted angrily, what are you all doing? You bunch of idiots. Men Kang and Bai Tan immediately threatened him with their strength. They took turns saying, what is with that look? Wipe that look off your face. You know what is going to happen, right? You will lose your life. Nam Kung Dine cried silent, cursing them. Ho ha. Even if you are thief, you should not be this cruel. Dest chuck. His tone relaxed. Sorry man. I have a habit of eating all kinds of elixirs without. His words made Nam Kung Jun suspicious, thinking to himself, can he really come up with such an continued? His tone excited. But it is really good. Do you have more? His words made Nam Kung Dun even more furious, muttering to himself, damn it. One day I will get my revenge. They arrived in a Hui Prop. When all 4 of them switched to walk, they could not help but exclaim, this place is really crowded. They must all be here to see the upcoming tournament. One person hurriedly squeezed through the crowd, loudly loudly saying, "The path is narrow already. Do not block. Move aside." Another person got angry when Desi accidentally bumped into not. Third person spoke up, "Who just stepped on my foot?" Desi fumbled to find a way, repeatedly apologizing as he bumped into others. "Excuse me." The young man he just bumped into smiled in response. It happened. Desi excitedly pointed at the sword this person was carrying and asked, "With that sword you are carrying, you must be a martial artist, right?" The man laughed and replied, "Haha, you guessed right. I came early to participate in the tournament, but it is too crowded here." Then he began to introduce himself. "I am T-Unit from Nam." Desi thought to himself, "Is not Nam quite far away? Is it one of the places I once wanted to escape to?" He said, "I am also here to participate in the tournament. Currently on my way back." T-Unit nodded, showing understanding. "I see. So we have both had a tough time." T-Unit turned to ask Nam Kung John, "Is this person also here for the tournament?" Nam Kung Dian was surprised. Then he smiled and introduced himself. "I am a strategist in charge of a small..." Desi impatiently reminded, "Stop bragging." T-Unit asked again, "Are you two here as bodyguard?" Batun replied, "Well, that is true." T-Unit remarked, "Just by look, I can tell everyone here is a top-notch expert. Having people like that as your subordinate is really impressive. I just hope that in the competition, we do not run into each other too early." Meanwhile, Batun transmitted a message to Va. "Young master, do you see them?" Desi responded through the transmission, "I see them." He looked 5 small rats on the roof. Men Kang added, "And there are 3 over there. They are exchanging information. About 10 people are guarding that guy. He looks innocent, but he definitely is not an ordinary character. Are they from the Nam and Duzadar Palace, where they say they have power equal to the 9 great sects? On the other hand, there are soldiers moving. I can sense a strong aura from afar." They became alert as the aura drew closer. "It is too powerful." They gathered and knelt before Death, requesting to meet the young master. The one in front said, "The clan leader sent me here to escort." People around were surprised by the blood army's presence. They looked over at Li Vang, who was now blushing from embarrassment. "Young master, this young man is the reason I wanted to hide my identity." 2 people pointed at him and spoke up. "No bull, the young master of the Loach." They excitedly recounted memories of that time still lingering in my mind. The way he dodged was as easy as a Loach slipping through fingers. The more Deso listened, the angrier he got. But Nam Kung Jun added fuel to the fire. "Ah, the Loach fit." Desi angrily punched the top of Nam Kung John's head. "He is the one who really fits that name." Nam Kung John cried out in pain. Des turned to speak to Tu-Un. "We have only just met, but it is a pleasure to know you. Then you left, your voice soft. Now I must take my leave." Tu-Din glanced over, a brief smile appearing. He turned to the person beside him and asked, "What do you think about this?" The other person, hidden in the shadow, spoke up. "Those 2 old men." Then he continued recounting the reason. "They have discovered our presence." Fat Tun immediately warned, "Don't cause any trouble, or prepare to say goodbye to your tea." Man Kang added, curious, "Interesting. Is that the secret to hiding one's presence? It is a bit different from what we have seen in the central plane. You noted that their strength is certainly on par with our, maybe even strong." Tu-Din smiled and replied, "You are the master of the South and Beast's Den, one of the top 5, and saying that is quite interesting." He continued, "What about that young master?" The guy replied, "It is a pity we did not meet Nam Kwang-sun, who has the highest chance of winning. Instead, we encountered the young master known as the Cat, but he is also from the Tianvo lineage. Just meeting him once would surely be useful later." He turned and asked, "Young master, what do you think?" Tu-Dun replied, "First glance, he seems to be a strong martial artist." He likened it to a tree planted in a garden that can't compare to one that grows wild. Then he remarked that perhaps because he grew up in luxury, we can't sense any sharpness from him. Tu-Dun chuckled softly and continued, "It seemed he did not realize the talented fighters around. I see that young master is stuck at this level." The guy looked at him, gaze shift, and asked directly, "If you had to face him in this competition, do you think you could win?" Tu-Dun's expression turned serious, pressure rising so much that even those standing far away could feel it. He chuckled lightly and replied, "Ha, you are worrying too much. Do you really think I would lose to someone like..." The soldier leading Diso to the clan leader said, "Clan leader is waiting for you inside. Please come in." Even standing outside, Diso could feel the pressure from inside. The other spoke up, "Leave Dio alone. Then we will be on our way." He turned and scolded, "Cowardly bunch. Fine, just go. Get out of here quick." Man Kang replied, "Even if you do not chase us away, we were going to leave anyway." Deso stepped inside, and those inside saw him and immediately asked, "Did you bring me some good wine?" He was startled, memories flooding back. "Remember to bring me some good wine when you come back." He broke out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, "I am done for now. Damn it." Diso scratched his head and laughed loud, but his face was more tense than ever. He laughed to the point of tears. "Yeah, just keep laughing. My father will probably hold off on punishing me if he sees me smile." Nam Kung Han replied, "Well, I can already guess." Then he ordered the guards to bring tea up here. They immediately moved under Diso's astonished gaze. He observed him, thinking to himself, he can completely sense the stealth technique of the hidden guards. The training period at Shaolin was not wasted. Nam Kung Han asked, "Go ahead. What did you see at Shaolin?" Du replied honestly, "The Shaolin I saw had a white tiger that has protected the mountain for many years, and another guardian who has also watched over that mountain. Although he is still young, I saw a person with a diamond physique. In the future, person's martial arts will reach an unparalleled level." Nam Kung Han continued, How does it compare to Nam Desiak? If only a branch of Nam Kung went, the outcome would be mutual destruction. It would take at least 2 large armies to completely subdue Shaolin." Nam Kung Han thought to himself, the boy's assessment was spot on. He moved to the tea table that had been set up and said, "Let us drink tea and talk." Nam Kung Han poured the tea, the steam rising. Desnaf grimaced, thinking to himself as he held the cup, "Ouch, it is too hot. Why is it so hot? What are you doing? Why are not you drink?" Desnexjo had no choice but to take a sip of the scalding tea. Desnexu suddenly realized, the tea is really hot. Nam Kung Han then asked, "Do you really want to participate in the 4 Kings competition?" Desexco replied straightforward. Yep. Nam Kung Han said serious, "This rate, it will be hard for you to beat Tam Na." Destu was surprised, while Nam Kung Han continued, "Many people might think the boy had been in closed-door training to win this martial art competition, but he knew the real reason." Desi suddenly remembered the look in Nam Kung Sen's eye. The way he looked, he spoke up, "I know, it is because of me." Right, from that day on, he only targeted. Desi tightened his, "But that does not mean I will give up. I am determined to declare that in this competition, I will definitely defeat Tam." Nam Kung Han stood up to ask, "So you have learned something at Shaolin, have not you? If you are that confident, then it must be true." "Good," he suggested, "since you are so confident." Convinced, Desi did not hesitate, up his sword and replied, "I will show you, father." He excitedly drew his sword and continued, "I have always wanted to experience why everyone is so afraid of." Nam Kung Ha remarked, "You have got great spirit, then come here." As soon as he finished speaking, Diso lunged to attack. He shouted loudly while moving. First step aimed at the ground where Nam Kung Han was standing, causing his opponent to lose balance. He successfully made him move, targeting the weak point on the ground. "I have understood what it means to be as steady as a rock." D laughed, "There are no gaps. Then create a gap. Even a father can't stand firm on the floor like that." Nam Kung Han stomped his foot down hard, catching Des off guard. Is he breaking the floor on the other side to maintain balance? He said. 20 taels. That is the price to repair the floor you just damaged. 20 taels of gold. Des became even more bewildered. In an instant, Namkung Han had closed the distance to Des. What? He snapped his finger, and the sword in Des's hand flew away, embedding itself in the ceiling. He continued. Another 10 taels of gold. He was incredulous, exclaiming, my pink. His sword loosened and fell, smashing a vase below. Namkung Han continued. What a shame. His words left DX stunned. There are so many things, yet you broke it. Porcelain vase is worth 500 taels. Des next was in complete shock, sweat pouring down his, only thinking of how to get out. Run fast. Get out of the Namkung family immediately. Namkung Han got close and flicked Des to his forehead. He flew away. It is hard to believe. Thodziku. Namkung Han commented. I used enough force to knock him out, but he is pretty tough. Desi Morley noticed a vase in front of him and got scared. He shouted, no way. Vase is worth at least 100 taels. Focusing his energy to avoid hitting it. I am betting everything on this move. Des successfully changed direction and landed. Namkung Han spoke, impressed. I did not expect you could change your body's direction in mid-air like that, but that vase was just a fake. I deliberately threw you toward. You wasted your effort. Continued. Part of the floor you just broke is an additional 40 taels, totaling 570 taels now. Don't worry. I will definitely settle the debt. Men Kang spoke up when he saw Ba Tunkun place a bottle of wine on the table. So you finally decided to drink it. The old man replied. I worked hard to steal it from Shaylin. Then he continued teasing the woman. But drinking it with this lady here would be worth. Do you want a drink? She replied. You all go ahead. I will bring some food from the kitchen. Men Kang was startled when Namkung Han opened the door, carrying Des in his arms. He wondered, why are you here? Namkung Han did not respond. He was busy observing the wine bottle. The bottle I heard you brought back is right here. Batun quickly spoke up to stop. Wait, Men Kang warned. If you do not hand it over, we are both dead for sure. Batun hurriedly replied. Please wait a moment. There must be another way. Men Kang would not let him say more, forcefully handing over the wine jug. Ignoring Batun's cry, Namkung Han glanced at the wine jug in his hand, commenting soft, not bad, threw Dessing towards the steward, ordering Lehan to treat the boy. Then he added that just saying it was the chief's order would ensure no complaints. The steward received the debt, bowing his head to accept the order. I understand. She bowed respectfully as Namkung Han left. Please come in, my lord. Men Kang spoke up. Now that Namkung Han is out of sight, we should go inside. Yep. Madam. Batun glared at the wine jug, while the steward agreed with Men Kang. Yep. Please take your time to rest. She glanced at Zia, exclaiming, it has only been a year and I hardly recognize you. Feels like just yesterday you were still a toddler learning to walk. She smiled and continued. It seems the chief cares a lot about the minor lord. Atithian family. The message from the Nam Kung family about the Four Kings competition had been delivered. The one reading it was the leader of Tithian family. Where's the lone king? Amai. The content of the competitioning. First, Four Kings competition will be held at Nam Kung family. Second, the date remains the same as usual. Third, there is no limit on the number of participants. Fourth, the age of the contestants must be between 18 and 20 years old. Fifth, the contestants who reached the final round last year, on Friday, only 2 people from the Nam family participate. Those are Nam family son and Det. On Saturday, that is all. From the Divine Martial Arts Nam family Han. On Sunday, if there are any complaints, come confront me direct. Others worriedly spoke up. Agame angrily crumpled the notice. One person said, I do not know what his purpose, but this is a once-in-a-thousand-year opportunity. Another agreed. That is right. They continued. Historic, the Nam family always sent about 80 disciples, while other sects sent up to 100. They calculated. This letter says is true. Only 2 from the Nam family attending. It would be very easy to gather a lot of watch. If so, not only the 4 kings, perhaps we can also achieve the highest position in the contest we have aimed for a long time. Ayamitrifi contemplated, but he asked back, have you ever seen the Divine Martial Arts directly intervene in the 4 Kings competition? The group nervously replied, not yet. He exuded an oppressive aura as he continued. That guy called the Divine Martial Arts seems unusually interested in this 4 Kings right scheme. Those 2 were ruthlessly tramped right in front of the Divine Martial Art. Imagining the ugly expression on Nam family hand, quite a sight. Hold. Eomevix slammed the table. Alright, I will personally participate in this 4 Kings contest. Then he ordered to inform the disciple and prepare everything. The subordinates hurriedly obeyed the orders. Similar situations have occurred throughout the martial world. They are all surprised. But why just 2? Some sects have even planned to co-opt. Their scheme is quite obvious. Let us overthrow the Nam Kung clan, while others are stepping up their training. But one thing is very clear. With this letter, Nam Kung's son and Des have become the common enemy of everyone in the 4 Kings contest. Desing cradled his head, lamenting. Oh no. What does my father think? He spoke up clearly. We will be isolated. What did my third brother say? Nam Kung John replied. The third young master. He repeated Nam Kung son's word. He said it is quite Desing cried. Of course, he would say something like that. He dashed off while continuing. Well then, this is not the time to lounge around like Desing commanded. Gather everyone immediately. He was determined. From this moment on, we will start intensive training for the next 5 months. Alright everyone. If you are not tired to the point of collapse, do not even think about resting. 5 months later, the participants gathered here for the contest. Elderly Dung Hu of the Point Merchant sect expressed his displeasure as he spoke up. They are just checking the identities of the participants. So why make others wait so long? Even if it is the Nam Kung clan, they should not show such disrespect. The people of Nam Kung casually stepped forward, slowly saying, it is confirmed. You go inside. We will take you to your accommodation. Hu retorted with annoyance. Do you know who I am? You have made us wait like this. At least treat us with respect. A different voice rang out from behind. What are you doing here? Hu was startled when he saw the flag behind the person. What is that? Royal order. This person is probably a member of the royal family. Conversing with someone from the Nam Kong. Looks like the Nam Kong family is quite busy. I did not expect you to be doing this menial work. The other person replied, when important guests come, even more than a bunch of thieves like, at least you should treat them a bit more formally. Hu thought to himself, a bunch of thieves. Hu continued, we have prepared another place for you. Please come inside. Hu politely asked, ma'am, esteemed sir, do you have a nick? The other person replied, looks like you have not heard my introduction yet. Hu wondered why a doorkeeper would. Suddenly, his expression changed, as if he remembered something. Wait, do not tell me. Last year, the one behind the incident known as the stain of the trading set. The other person chuckled softly. So you still remember? Quan Kim Nam Kong shrugged. Hu was astonished. The elder of the Nam Kong family is pointed in another direction. So everyone here is right. An unknown person loudly addressed the elder of the Nam Kong family. Do you know who I am to treat me like this? A mere doorkeeper dared. The other person angrily grabbed the heck. You think you are the heavenly demon king or something? He overwhelmed him, making a fuss over something so trivial. Hu realized one thing. They were all elders of the Nam Kong family. Paled in shock. Who would have thought the Nam Kong family would send elders to guard the gate? Then, worriedly thinking to himself, what will happen in this battle of the 4 king. People from Namkung are sprawled on the ground, while Des is still diligently practicing. The chief steward approached. Young master, it is time to participate in the qualifying round of the Battle of the Four. He opened his eyes and replied, I know. Then he stood up, releasing his power one last time. A strong wind swept through, and he smiled with satisfaction. Everything is ready. Desing continued. I am off. Chief steward. She smiled kindly. Safe travel. V observed the condition of the other, reminding to give a little gift to make for these old fools, and let them rest. The chief steward acknowledged. I understand. He asked again, by the way, chief steward, do you have any silver? The chief steward looked puzzled. What about your money? Desing grinned mischievous. It is because I want to make a big profit. As Desi entered, all eyes turned to him, and he sighed. It seems many people have gathered here. They all share the same thought. That guy is that little brat. To them, he is the embodiment of the snow eel. The young master Desi has nothing left to say. A voice wrote, I will crush all of. Other participants were astonished. As that person contestant named Lalo Quine and the Shaolin disciple spoke, you all are here too. They replied, it has been a while. Young master. Another person said, that is right. So the rumors are true. They say the young master has taken over Shaolin for the greater good of the martial world. Someone else added, look, the young master is standing next to the Shaolin people and guarding them close. Desi frowned. What rumor? Who would spread such nonsense? He was furious when he heard the rumor. I thought that white-haired guy was just good at talk, but turns out it is true. Do thought that damn guy is really annoying. Lo Quine asked irritably, should we crush him right now? Desi quickly stopped. Please do not say that anymore. Another person spoke up. Everyone quiet. Then that person continued to announce qualifiers were about to start. He explained the rule. This competition has 20 areas, each with 50 participants competing. Out of the only one will advance to the second round. Once 20 winners are chosen, they will face each other, and only 2 will make finals. Des looked around and thought to himself, it is clear everyone is nervous. He continued, now, when I call your name, you will take your position. Desi thought silently about who would be called first. As soon as he finished, Desi moved. Desi from Namkung stepped out to fighting area number 1. The crowd remarked in surprise. Flexes indeed. The moment he finished, Kid's feet were already moving. Du arrogantly thought to himself, I already know the order of this round. I secretly got the list for the qualifier. Desing glanced at Namkung John. But if that Namkung John dares to show up, he is definitely going to die. The referee continued, you can fight however you want, except for intentionally causing injury or manslaughter. He signaled, and the first qualifier match began. Countless names rushed in to surround Des. They want the council to show us what the Namkung catfish can do, contrary to the fearful appearance before. Des is now brimming with confidence as he welcomes them. He used his overwhelming strength to take down a girl, without mercy in an instant, even if she is the most beautiful woman in Hubei. Jiasingong. Very quick, everyone who rushed into attack could not do any. This big guy can handle it all. In a moment, the arena was clear, leaving only him standing firm. Lo Quine clenched his fists and lunged straight at Des. He declared, I will crush you. He threw a power, but very quickly Desing dodged it. The person next to him took that. Undeterred, he remained confident. I won't let you get away. I can clearly see your next move. He swung another punch, and once again Des dodged. Another unfortunate guy took the brunt of the flying punch. He yelled, you crazy fireball. 2 guys on the ground looked horrified. If you want to fight him, then aim carefully. Do not drag us into. While Lien X was running away, the 2 guys who were just nagging took 2 punches from Lo Quine, grimaced and chased after. I will defeat you. Li Xu turned back and asked, so you have not had an easy time these past months. A golden light radiated from the monk. It seems that the diamond-like divine power has almost merged into your body. He accelerated to catch up and shouted, so do not avoid it anymore. Fight, young master. Des turned back, sweating as he saw that thunderous fist right behind his neck, but this time he was still a spectator watching someone else become the victim in his place. That guy spun in midair while Des continued to dodge and run away. He dodged again, attacked, and those around him were caught in the crossfire, some getting hit in the out. Someone got hit from behind and stopped, while another was knocked up into the air, taking the hits. Desing still smiled bright. If it comes to agility, I am confident that no one can catch up to me. Do you know how long I have trained my martial art? All this chaotic scene is captured in the gaze of the brown-haired guy. Truly a bunch of fools. The Tui found it incredibly boring. One guy was using all his strength to dodge, while the other was using all his strength to attack. If they keep this up, they will run out of energy quickly. His eyes lit up. While he had always hidden among the weaker contestants to conserve his strength, Tui drew his sword, and there were only 3 people left. He just needed to take down one of those 2 to advance to the main competition. The monk stomped his foot down hard. Huff, this is really frustrating. He then focused his strength into his left hand, unleashed the BHBA divine fist technique. Des grimaced, sighing, there is no way I can avoid this now. While he was still focused on Lo Quine, figure with a sword rushed in shouting, give up. He instinctively drew his sword. You are aiming for me. Now, right. Lo Quine suddenly realized the dangerous situation before him. Hesitate. If he charged in between them now, he would definitely get sliced in half. At that moment, Tui unexpectedly launched a fierce attack towards Des. Des drew his sword to block the attack while he slid to the side, saying soft, you are just luck, but the real battle has just begun. Tui immediately used his shadow technique to disappear from everyone's sight. The audience around gasped in shock, some exclaiming, that guy disappeared. Another person added, where did he go? As Tino ran, proudly thought to himself, my shadow technique not only conceals my form but also my aura. He jumped up, swinging his sword aimed directly at Deska's head, shouting, got you. The young master was slippery like an eel. Desk sensed a situation of energy around him and immediately raised his sword to block. Tino was extremely surprised. How is that possible? Did you know I would attack from there? Desk calmly replied, what is so surprising? So I blocked. Tuzi, unwilling to back down, continued to use the shadow technique, gritting out, don't be foolish, can't see through my shadow. Desk chuckled light, swinging his sword to execute the blue wind point technique, moving gracefully. Seems you still do not understand. Streams of white energy intertwined and rushed straight toward Tu-in. He raised his hand to observe, his face shocked. What is this? Am I no longer invisible? Desk calmly said, I have thought a lot here for Tam. You see, I have mastered quite a few martial arts. Tuzi, filled with anger after hearing that, roared and swung his sword to launch a fierce attack. Why should I care? Then he quickly unleashed the Lam Feng technique, using it to block Tu-in's attack. Tu-in was screaming in pain. Desk did not hesitate and used the whirlwind technique to end the fight. Tu-in was swept into the air. The sword slipped from his hand and was caught in the swirling wind. His face screaming miserably. In the end, fell off the stage in a headstand position. The referee declared Taiyu Kaider from Nam and the Du Kung out of the competition. Then this person announced the two who advanced to the next round. The ones moving on to the official round are Zyudra and Lo Quine. This result made Lo Quine clench his fist. Frustration. I have not even had a proper fight yet. Meanwhile, Des remained silent, half-closed eyes wondering if this was enough. In another arena, a brother from from Namkung had just finished his match, still gripping his sword tight. The opponent lay unconscious on the floor. The referee's voice rang out. The match was over. Around him, those who had been defeated lay scattered. The one making the announcement, the only one from the Namkung family advancing to the next, is the second young master. At the medicine hall, Jisietekzong is lying in bed, trembling all over, mumbling indistinct sounds. She dreamed of the scene where Desfek rushed in aggressive, her eyes tightly shut, sweating profusely. Suddenly, she jolted awake, gripping the blanket tight, shouting, my head, my head. She quickly brought her hands to her head, calming herself. It is just a dream, but she did not want to remember it at all. Just then, a stranger with a menacing expression appeared before her, coldly saying, so it is you, the woman our young master has chosen. Person continued, monotonous. He has brought back countless strange, but this is the first time for this. Jisietekzong sat on the bed, hands clasped together, stammering. This person is grinning wicked. First take off all your clothes. Jisietek's face turned pale, asking, why is it so sudden? Master Nan's cold eyes were intimidating. When you arrived here, your body was full of injury and needed care. You sat there trembling as you heard her warning. If we find out you are a spy, we won't hesitate to take your life. If you hide any weapons or poison on you, we will burn you alive immediately. And if you use wealth or fame to approach us, prepare your mind to drown in poison. Jisietekzong could only feel regret at this moment, tears streaming down. Oh no, I should not have come here. Uncle. She recalled her uncle's angry face when he sternly reminded, I told you not to get involved with the Namkung family. Suddenly, a scream echoed from outside the door. What is happening? The door was kicked open, and Hono appeared with a loud voice. So you are the vixen who has seduced our dear young master. Both pointed directly at her. You. Jisietekzong could no longer remain calm. She hurriedly got off the bed and asked in a panic. Really? Honon continued to question. Do you owe money? She immediately replied. Lo and Niven quickly pressed on. You have studied the 4-5 class in Confucian analect, as well as being knowledgeable in politics, military affair, and royal protocol. Right. She nodded sincerely. That is right. The two girls happily declared. You pass. Exung Han turned around and said gently, all right, let us go home. Without giving her a chance to react, Honoff tightly grasped her wrist, pulled her away. She hesitantly asked, is the haunted house you are talking about in Hubei? They immediately replied, what are you talking about? Court. It is about Lamlong Street in the Southern family. Hearing that, she panicked. Why do I have to go there? All three girls turned around and smiled in response. Because from now on, she is family. But she still had many doubts. What? Why do they keep explaining? Didn't he, the young master, give her the nickname Big Head Number 1? She admitted it, but was still confused. That did happen. But what does that have to do with anything? Honana smiled bright. As long as that reason was enough. Seeing her still hesitate, they changed their tone, their eyes and attitude threat, making her tremble once again. You are going with right. Even though she was still shaking, she gathered all her courage to say, well, if I do not go to Hubei and stay, she clenched her fists in front of her chest, trying to think if she could learn martial arts. She remembered the objections from her relatives in the past. Who was she to demand to learn martial arts? You just need to wait to marry into family. She closed her eyes in anticipation. But Loho Anin's response snapped her back to reality, reassuring her that whatever she wanted to do, she would not have to worry. The young master is a very nice person. As long as it is something she wants to achieve, he would definitely help. Jisietekzong imagined Des happily teaching her martial art. Her eyes sparkled, thinking to herself, uncle. The group set off for the southern family, and she reassured herself, I have found a reason to stay a little longer at the southern family. Meanwhile, Diso just finished a match, clutching his empty stomach, complaining, I am so hungry. Portion of chip wild vegetables is not enough. Suddenly, a voice called out, catching Vahan's attention. He turned back in amaze. Who's this? That is right, Duongan. You are also participating in this Four Kings contest. Duongan shyly scratched his head and replied, yeah, I do not know how it ended up like this. Diso recalled the person standing in front of Duongan, the disciple of the Hoashan sect, and also his only friend from his previous life. Memories flooded back from when his mother was still pregnant, praying at the temple, to when he was young. Duongan often came to visit. Duongan's father used to pat his head, smiling gently, saying he had grown up too much. Diso smiled at the memory. He was once a very lively and energetic child, and another memory rushed back. I thought he would become a Taoist master, but when Duongan's master became the head, he also inherited that role. Of course, the other disciples of the Hoashan sect would not agree so easily. However, that discontent gradually faded when they witnessed Ding and swordsmanship. But soon after, things started to take a different turn. On the ground, Dingan's opponent was trembling, clutching his bloodied hand and screaming in pain. Dihongan had injured his opponent in a martial arts match. From that point on, he gradually distanced himself from martial arts, choosing a life of solitude. Back to the present, the two walked side by side. So you have participated in 2 elimination rounds. How did it go? Dingan smiled lightly and humbly replied, I was lucky to make it to the next round. Looking at it, Long felt a bit less worried. It seems he did not just win by luck. Even in seclusion, he did not forget to practice his sword skills. Ahead, 3 disciples of the Hosen sect approached, their voices dripping with mockery as they looked, asking why someone who should be hiding out in the countryside was here. Ding Echifi continued to sneer, surprised that a useless person could not even hold a sword had friend. Dingan just bowed his head, not responding, but Desing could not hide his frustration. Are they looking for trouble? Dingan quickly stopped his arm that was ready to strike. It is, brother. They are all my younger brother. That guy is provoked, and you still talk without any shame. You are about to be expelled from the sect, and still do not know your place. Diso could not hold back his anger, brawling. What did you just say? Duongan was taken aback, beating expelled. Duonghuk sneered, his tone full of threat. If you do not achieve good results in this 4 Kings competition, the master will resign in front of the elder, and I will be the next successor. Understand? Those words were like a cold bucket of water dumped straight onto Duongan. The position of master belongs to my master. Duonghuk continued to threaten. You should hope not to meet me in the next round. Even though you were once the successor of Ho-san, if you lose too miserably in front of everyone, would not that make us lose face too? Dio turned to Duongan, his voice lowering. I understand now. Duongan will be quickly defeated in the main round, and the master will also resign. Not long after, Duongan's master fell ill and passed away. The death of the master was the last straw, turning Duongan into a completely person. The nickname called him at that. They said that whenever he drew his sword, blood would surely be shed. He was called the Ho-sun demon, and back then, could only watch. His gaze was resolute, but now it is different. This time I won't let Duongan go astray anymore. Dio stepped closer and asked, where's the old Taoist now? Duongan turned back, surprised. Do you mean my master? You explained. He might be at the Ho-sun sect's courtyard. I am not with my master, so I do not know the exact location. Du nodded. Okay, I understand. Then I will go ahead. Duongan quickly called out to Du Hein. You intertwined your finger, worriedly saying, can you visit the master for me? Check if he is okay. Yank smiled and waved goodbye. I was just about to do that. See you later. Thought to himself, if this kid is so worried, why does not he go see the master himself? In Desi's mind, an image of a man stroking his beard appeared, speaking mysterious. Should we go chat with the old Taoist now? A loud shout rang out from the southern pavilion. Where on earth is he? Desno muttered in frustration, clutching a bundle in his hand. Serious, this Namkung estate is way too big, finding just one person whole day. Suddenly, a voice rang out. This is the residence of the Huashan. Why all the commotion? To his surprise, the person he had been searching for was standing right by the lotus pond. He exclaimed, Elder Doi, the man. Upon seeing the scene, wait a moment, it seems something is missing. And who might you be? Desno suddenly recalled a childhood memory and we used to meet once a year at the kindergarten. The old Daoist stroked his beard and laughed heartily. That is right. I never imagined that little boy would grow up so much. But why have you come here? Surely the young master of the Namkung family does not have that much free time, does he? Desto lifted the bundle in his hand and explained, it is precisely because of this. Fragrance wafting from the bundle made the old man remark thought, it smells like roasted duck. He shakes his head, reaches into his robe, and says, but you have missed one important thing. Des looks at that act, his voice filled with helpless. What do you mean? Immediately, he pulls out a bottle of wine with a cunning expression. If you have meat, should not you bring some wine? T look fine and shop. Biem spoke up. Even though everyone says the priest of the Hosen sect, inclusive as the sect leader, you should not be drinking. The old priest opened the wine jar, poured it straight into his mouth, and advised, listen here, you have started with the dirtiest thing. To become a true priest, you need to be able to drink. A vision of a beautiful woman and some silver coins appeared, along with the words about embracing women and managing money. He continued, I was just thinking how boring it is to drink without some snack. Hurry up and bring the meat over. Deck frowned, thinking to himself, what kind of strongest priest in Central Plains is this? Truly a doddering old fool. After finishing the roasted duck, he chatted with Desixkai. By the way, when Dieningen smiled, his dimples only show on one side of his cheek. Ignoring the drunk Desixao who was passed out, the old priest words Trech Vine and said to himself, so adorable. Then he turned back to see D sleeping and angrily said, did not you say you had something to talk about? If that kid is planning to sleep, he should go back to his own. D drowsily replied, just a little long. Suddenly clutched his chest, letting out a painful groan, his whole body trembling. D, with a flushed face from the wine, turned to look. Think, here it is, the reason why the old priest passed away. After a while, a voice asked in the hall, where has the sect leader gone? The old priest opened the door and walked. Are you looking for me? One of the two people turned to look at him and spoke up. This is a crucial moment. Where have you gone? He walked past two people explaining, I got caught up talking to an old friend and lost track of time. Then he asked again, but why are you all gathered in my room like this? The other person raised his voice. We need a proper answer from you. His next words made the man shudder. Devongan's performance did not meet expectation. He would strip him of his status as the hair disciple and agreed to let Dunning Hudry, my disciple, become the new hair disciple. Right. His voice grew deeper. That is right. The two turned to him and said, please make a wise decision. The sound of the door closing. The old Taoist remained standing in the middle of the room. Suddenly, clenched his hand, held his chest, and let out a pained groan. He tried to endure the pain, thinking, can't let them find out yet. Remembering the cunning expressions of the elder, he thought if they realized his condition bad, they would not leave him alone. He recalled Desringen's face when he held the sword, smiling lightly at, if he stepped down from the position of sect leader, he would not be able to protect Dongan anymore. His vision blurred. His hands trembled, reaching toward the door. I need to lock the door before they see me. Suddenly, the door burst open with a call. Sect leader, you look panicked. Lihan rushed in anxious. It is a good thing I arrived. Thought it would make some unreasonable demand again. The old Taoist fell before losing consciousness. He asked, who are you? Lihan quickly stepped forward to support, questioning, what did the Huashan sect do to put you in this state? Lihan checked a bit, included, this is serious. Those Hosun people want to let them. I will make them suffer great. Desi XTU stepped into the room, fists clenched, his voice resolute. Do you understand now? You must save. Lihan replied confident, just trust the Han family. He looked at Gwinting with a slight smile. There is no one in this world I can save. I walked outside, relieved. Thank God. That is one thing done. Suddenly, Namkung Dine ran over, calling out loudly, young master. The young master is back, curious about what is going on. What is happening? How did you know I was here? Namkung Dine panted, wiping sweat from his reply. I have been looking everywhere for you. He covered his face with a sly grin. But more important, why are you at the Hosun sect? Don't tell me you plan to take over Hosun this time, said Sharp, irritably added, hurry up and tell me. Why are you looking for me? Namkung Dian presented a carefully folded yellow paper announcing that your next opponent in the competition has been decided. Desi opened the paper, mumbling, let us, then he was stunned. Is this real? Namkung John noticed Desi's trembling hands and asked, what is wrong? Are you going to face an interesting opponent? Desi thought to himself, damn it, why does it have to be D Dongan? He then angrily clenched the paper in his hand, recalling Dongan's shy expression when he asked, Desi bro, how have you been late? Desi imagined Dongan holding a sword, bloodthirsty gaze, secretly worried that if he won, Dongan would be expelled from the sect and become a sword demon. But if I give up this fight, I will lose the chance to escape the Namkung family. Just imagine lying on the beach, thinking this is truly a wonderful place to relax. Finally, Desi clutched his head and shouted, what am I supposed to do? In the infirmary, a patient in bed was screaming in pain, making the nurses anxious as the wound continued to bleed. Sungstring Han turned and ordered, Jiasinghong, bring more healing medicine and clean cloth. Jiasextring ran off and replied, okay. Suddenly, patient widened his eyes, his lips pressed tight as if trying to hold something back. Finally unable to endure it, he sat up and vomited a yellow-brown liquid into the basin that Xtung and had prepared. Seeing her carrying the basin filled with that liquid, a nurse exclaimed in panic, oh my, how can someone as noble as you do our job? Another person chimed in, please hand it to me. Xtung Han wiped her hands and calmly said, when faced with a life in danger, does it matter if one is noble or lowly? The role of a nurse to anticipate and provide patient everything they need. Jia Segtexing admired Xtung Han as she earnestly instructed, you keep him still. I will apply the medicine and bandage the wound. The nurse replied, madam. Jia Segtexung thought to himself, now I understand why those treated by Xtung Han revere and admire her so much. This moment, Xtung Han was caring for the patient, saying things like that was enough. Jia Segtexongru saw two fairies appear behind Xiang Yan and praised, saying that if there were truly fairies in this world, then senior sister Xiang Yan must surely be one of. Jia Segtexongru recalled the moment when Xiang Yan raised her sharp hand toward him, could not help feel puzzled, though he still remembered the expression on her face at that time. Just then, Xiang Yan cheerfully spoke, cutting off her thought. Texiangru, we are done here. Let us go see Lian Ran. In the training yard, a voice rang out, everyone, listen up. Lian Ran stood before a neatly lined up, announcing, the official round of the Four Kings tournament is about to begin, and the entire martial world will be watching this con. Therefore, you must carry out your duty without allowing any mistake. She ordered, guard unit, inspect the arenas thoroughly. The entire group responded in unison, obeying her command. She continued to remember to examine the weapons of the contestants to ensure they. GSX Ongru's eyes sparkled with admiration as she exclaimed, how wonderful. She gazed at Lian Ran's dignified bearing whispering with deep reverence. With just a single word, senior sister Lian Ran could command hundreds. If there were a supreme position a woman could attain, it would surely be the very place where senior sister Lian Ran now stood. Noticing Jia Taixongru's arrival, Lian Ran's sexy anger. You have come. With that, she tossed a book into Jia Taixongru's, leaving her puzzled. Lalan, Nian explained. Earlier, I mentioned this, so I left it for you. If you do not understand any, just ask those idiots. Jia Taixong looked closely in her hand. Sister, this is the secret technique of the Jia Set family. Right. How did you get this? Suddenly, Loa Nin snatched the book back, leaving Jia Song stunned. She teased, if you do not need it, I will take it back. Jia Taixong quickly reached for the secret technique, saying, I need it, I really do. Loa Niven was delighted to see Jia Taixong's cute reaction. She clenched her fist, determined to start practicing right away. Just then, Hona's voice rang out. Jia Singho, where are you going? Jia Taixong replied, Sister Ho, I am heading back to Lamlong's. Hona raised her finger and smiled, saying, the official competition is about to start. Do you want to come with me? I was planning to go over there anyway. Jia Taixong nodded. Of course, I am going right now. Ho then asked for a favor. I need your help with something. Jia Taixong was curious. What is it? Hona covered her, winking and whispering. You are about to witness a scene with a lot of money changing hands. You probably won't see it again later. The scene shifted to the competition venue, where the stands were crowded with people and buzzing with chatter. Someone exclaimed, there are already so many. Another person added, it seems everyone is really excited about this royal competition. Person looked towards Minchi, Zhang Dangma, another famous figure, saying, not only have the masters and elders of the 9 major sects, 5 prominent families gathered in one, but there are also smaller sects who were lucky enough to pass the qualifier and want to prove their strength. Then, the image of Nam Kung Lam fanning himself while sitting high up. That person continued, we are also honored to have an audience, the strategy, the martial alliance, who has saved the martial world from the clutches of the demon. Elder Nam Kung Lam. Person looked at Nam Kung Han, who was sitting solemn, and continued, even the clan leader of the Nam Kung family, who has never participated in the 4 Kings competition or has shown up. It is understandable that the atmosphere here has become lively. Another person, noticing the crowd gathering and asked, but why are there so many people gathered over there? The one being mentioned was wearing a red banner with the words victory and shouted loud, ladies and gentlemen, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. None other than Jia Cat. She clapped her hands and explained, this is the collaboration between the Nam Kung family and the Heavenly Trading Associate, the safest betting place in the world. The first official round has officially opened. Betting. Place your bets on lamb or batch right now. Those were the sound of coins dropping into the bowl filled the air. The amount of silver bet on lamb. The amount of silver bet on bat. Quantity of gold bet on lamb. The amount of silver bet on lamb. Jia Kak Swang looked at the table with 2 bowls full of money and exclaimed, it has only been about a stick of incense, and so much silver has already been collected. Hona then coughed to signal, don't lose focus. Jia Kak Swang panicked and replied, right. Person approached the crowd with the loud shout of Jia Seta Tex not the last chance to get rich. Person said, little brother, let me my back too much. The other person asked back, what? Jiang stepped forward, holding a shiny yellow check that made everyone squint. The old man declared loud, I bet 10,000 taels of silver on bet. The surroundings fell silent. All eyes turned to the precious golden check. Whispers arose, saying that just this one check could buy an entire capital of a small nation. Who is this old man to have something meant only for Emperor? Hona, seeing Jiang, could not help but be startled. What are you doing? The old man raised the check high, firmly stating, promise, in his mind. The image of Des pointing at him flat. His words still left. He definitely has to work hard for me. Promise to share a portion of the profit he earned. Hona shook his head. Sighed. This young master really. Jiasekateksong stood up, holding the dazzling gold check high, shouting, ladies and gentlemen, the betting amount has just increased dramatically. Are you going to stand by and miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? As soon as he finished, crowd immediately became lively in response. Jiasekateksong continued to rally. Hurry up, place your bet. One guy pushed in and yelled, get out of the way. I was here first. Des looked up and saw Jai Setaksong standing on the stage. Puzzled. What is she doing up there? His gaze shifted to Dong, who was trembling as he stepped onto the stage. Des sighed helplessly. It looked even worse. Ding stood there, rubbing his hands together, his face tense. He told himself he had to win. Only then can I stay at Ho-sun with my master. But how can I confront D brother? The audience started to shout. What is wrong with that kid? Are you already shaking like a scared puppy? Or the fight has even started? Another person yelled loud, calm down. Do you know how much money I bet on you? Duongan held his head, frightened by the harsh words from the stand. You call yourself the inheritor of Ho-sun. Get lost. Those screams haunt, demanding my money back. Go away. You are a disgrace to Ho-sun. Duongan mumbled in fear. I can't. Just then, a familiar voice rang out. Duongan looked up, eyes wide when he saw his master sitting in the stands behind Diso. Duongan shouted, Master. The old Daoist smiled. My dear, do whatever you want. Closed his eyes, his face kind. No matter what you choose, I will be by your side. You and I are family. Duongan bit his lip, eyes filled with emotion. Master. Then he drew his sword, while Du smiled and looked back, thinking, he looks much better now. It seems the divine doctor has successfully treated. Duongan raised his sword and moved forward. Darling Du, brother Du, he continued, his voice full of determination. From now on, I will have to surpass you to move forward for my master and for Ho-sun. His red pupils wide, showing intense fighting spirit. The referee announced finals of the 4 Kings competition would begin. This is the battle between Det and Don. Jiasekatekzang jumped up to the stand, shouting, the young master will definitely win. Hono tried to pull her down, annoyed. What is wrong with Disa? Observed the opponent, feeling this time was completely different from the first encounter with Digang. He told himself, looks like he finally made up his mind. Diangan stood there, his sharp gaze fixed on the opponent. Desko changed his attitude, asserting, then let us see. He rushed to Dying and sighed. Let us exchange a few moves first. A strong swing of the sword came down, and Diangan quickly dodged, confidently pointed his sword straight at him. Diangan used his foot at the tip of the sword and pushed away with force. Des was a bit surprised. Nice dodge. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his sword up, preparing for another attack. Diangan suddenly noticed a gap. A flash of light rushed past his, and he was so scared his face turned pale. As Desin's sword swung high, Diangan quickly calculated his defense plan. The two forces collided violently, forcing him to put all his strength into blocking the attack. Cold sweat pouring down his body. Doubts arose in Diangan's heart. Was this really the Des he once knew? Since when did he become this strong? The image of Des cheerfully asking to borrow money flashed in his mind, leaving Diangan even more confused. In the past, he always avoided training and only cared about money. Yet now, his martial arts had reached such a high level. Desin was incredibly excited, shouting, you managed to block, then try to block this move. Saying that, continued to swing his sword in attack. Diangan performed X, making Leave extra laugh out loud. That is pretty good. Alright, let us add some drama. Said Zing. Immediately, he channeled his internal energy, creating a massive force. Duzunga quickly recognized it as thunder energy. Wizin focused all his strength into the the sword, speaking challengingly to see if he could withstand this blow. A delighted smile appeared on his face as he executed the Great Heaven Steel Sword technique. Dongan told himself he had to hold his ground. Des's sword swung down, quickly leaned back to dodge, then performed a beautiful somersault and landed soft. Des's T. In the end, the Hosen sect is not that special. In the stand, a man commented, "How can he use our Central South Great Heaven Steel Sword technique?" The man was Vila, the sect leader of the Central South sect. He observed and analyzed. Without a doubt, Kid was using the Great Heaven Steel Sword, but his internal energy was the Thunder King Divine Art. Watching the sword glow and move, he guessed the kid was using the most stable sword technique to control the extremely unstable thunder energy. Ving broke into a cold sweat, recalling the rumors about this young master being able to use various, but he never expected it to be to this extent. An unbelievable monster has appeared, he thought to himself, shouting, "I will crush everyone in this world." Hearing this, Ving felt suspicious. It seemed like the kid's mind was no longer normal. In the stand, I Min, the elder of the Hosen sect, began to comment. T-Stas, just as I guessed, a little rich kid who only knows how to eat all day. How could he understand the hardships of martial art? He looked at Duving and with a condescending tone, clearly showing that the kid does not deserve to be a disciple of the legacy. Then he turned to the young man beside him. Jiang Alozan, it would be great if you could beat him in the arena. What a pity. Jiang Long replied regret, his eyes filled with determination. He also regretted not being able to settle this grudge at that time. His voice grew angry, his face reddening, but as long as he could defeat the young master who had taken down Deningen, he would prove he deserved to be a disciple of Hosen sect. Imin nodded in encouragement. That is right. He would soon reclaim the position he deserved. A guest sitting above heard the entire conversation, gripping his clothes tight, trying to suppress his anger. His gaze was focused on Da, seemingly contemplating. Su shouted angrily, "How long are you going to keep taking hits? If you do not want to win, just stick your head out. I will smash it and free you." Dangan immediately countered with a sword strike. The audience was excited. This is the first time he successfully fought back. This is getting interesting. Dangan said apologetic, "But I can't lose." Desing had a fierce expression, attacking while shouting, "So do not just take hits anymore. Attack and defeat." The sword fight between the two fighters had the audience extremely excited. Everyone stood up cheering for the Hosen sect to win. "I have bet my entire fortune on you, little young master." Dangan delivered a straight to Desu's leg. The opponent quickly dodged. The two faced each other, eyes full of challenge. Zeke erupted in anger, thinking, "Is this kid trying to take my place? Fine, let me show you my true strength." Deso decided to use all his skill to finish off his opponent. He raised his sword, ready to deliver a fatal blow. Deongan immediately realized he had to gain the upper hand before the opponent concentrated his energy. Desi moved forward, a delighted smile on his face, decisively swinging his sword down. Just as the blade was about to touch Deongan's face, a strange image appeared, a giant yellow cocoon. Desi's eyes widened, feeling as if the cocoon was about to hatch. In an instant, Deningen dodged to the side, catching Des off guard. The tip of the sword only grazed Des's cheek, leaving a bright red mark. He thought to himself, in such a brief moment, coward like you is about to transform. Desing excitedly rushed, thinking the match had become more interesting, but he was surprised to see Dongan trembling, his face pale and unable to stand. Des recalled the image of Dung Kaikstruchi panicking at the sight of blood. He instinctively looked at the scratch on his own cheek, wondering, is it? The audience was confused, whispering among themselves, what is going on? Why is he acting like that? Has he been poisoned? Why is he trembling like that? Some people were impatient, urging, come on, ref, what are you waiting for? Tell them to continue. I Min, the referee, just stood silent without making a move. The audience's screams echoed throughout the arena. Get that guy out of here. He does not want to fight. Get off the stage now. The Diengan's face was pale, covering his mouth with his hand. In the crowd, Danjungan's master sighed quiet, blaming himself, thinking perhaps this was just my selfish desire. He recalled the past when Dangan tried to explain, "Master, I did not mean to," but he did not listen, coldly saying, "I do not want to hear your excuse." The person next to him fainted from injury and was quickly taken away. Before leaving, he scolded, "You pathetic fool," leaving Dungan standing there, helplessly looking at his bloodied hands. Now, the master regretted, "If I had looked at you more closely back then, would things have been different? We were both wrong from the very first time for letting you hold the sword." Back to the present, the audience angrily shouted, "Get out right now." The Dungan stuttered, "I can't do it. Can't take it anymore." V Kuher yelled, "What are you making all that noise for?" Everyone fell silent due to his anger. He glanced at the audience, gritting his teeth. "Those whispers are driving me crazy." Then he turned to Dongan and suggested, "Dying and fight me one more time." But Dungan shook his head. "Brother Dian, I can't continue fighting." The Yangstu firmly said, "From now on, I will use all my strength to defeat." Devingan was taken aback by that. "I will trample on any disciple of Hosen dares to stand in front of, especially that name I met last. I will crush him so he can never hold a sword again." Deongan trembled with anger, unable to articulate his words. How could such cruel words come from Liku's mouth? Z's face showed a smug expression, his lips curled up in provocation. "What is wrong? Are you angry? So what are you planning to do now? Run away again like before? Don't you feel guilty towards the boss? You accepted it?" Did not hearing this, Duangan was startled, his heart racing. Death continued, tone cold. All this time he had been fighting against the Huashan people with his sick body, just to protect, and now, just because you see a little blood, you want to give up. He raised his sword, gaze sharp. The sword is just a tool. Before, you used it to hurt others, and now you can use it to attack this level. We are no longer low-level disciples. If I were a successor like you, I would change Huashan to my like, becoming a stubborn old man. Des swung his sword, creating a strong gust of wind that astonished the onlook. Truly profound inner strength. Everyone exclaimed. He scoffed, "Are you ready to fight me now?" Then he concluded with a challenging remark, "Isn't this martial world ruled by the strong?" Duangan smiled faint. "Sigh, indeed. You are the brother." You regained your spirit and spoke firmly. "You know you are very strong, but are you strong enough to teach me like this?" Des felt excited inside. "Finally, you found your determination." He shouted provocative, "I am the young master of the greatest clan in the world, a small successor of Huashan. How could you defeat?" Duangan was angry, his strength bursting forth. "Small? Huashan is not a place you can call small." Someone in the audience was stunned. "No way. How can that punk's martial arts be so powerful?" Petals are starting to swirl around Des. He could not believe his eyes when he saw the image of a mighty dragon emerging from Dedron. And now we have seen it. Desi thought to himself, a spectacular transformation. The dragon roared, and Desi recognized the long sword of Hosen. Dangan lunged towards. Petals still lingered around. He decisively thrust his sword, but Desi quickly dodged. He thought to himself that if he had not dodged in time, that blow would have definitely. All the hesitation he felt when Didringen swung his sword completely vanished. Another sword strike arced high, and Desi swiftly ducked to avoid it. He smelled the fragrance and the scent of cherry blossoms stronger. He swung his sword back and attacked, but Dunningen quickly parried. Dieningen's face was devoid of any emotion. This annoying, mediocre smell smell. I will blow it all away. He swung his sword, creating a strong gust that blew away the cherry blossom. Desingen stood still, murking. The swordsmanship of Hosen is ever-changing. The cherry blossom scent only serves to distract brother. As soon as he finished speaking, the petals reappeared, slowly falling down. Desingen was taken aback. What? Since when has he mastered the 24 technique? The cherry blossom sword. The petals fell, blanketing the audience. Namkung-han sat silent, thinking the Hosen sect had enough time. Perhaps they would reach the claws of the Namkung family. Duangan shouted, "It is!" He swung his sword, creating a fierce wind, scattering petals everywhere, pushing back the person he was cursing. Damn it. He did not mean to make him this agitated. A loud explosion shook the ground, terrifying the people around. Oh my, that is terrible. Will the Hoeshan sect win this battle? Dejia Kaksung was worried. The young master suddenly pointed far away and shouted, "Look over there. He is chopping those petals down." Desi was using all his strength, swinging his sword continuous, determined not to be defeated. Red-eyed with anger, he wondered, am I really going to lose to such a trivial technique? Duangan stood there, a smug smile on his, making Deso even more irritated. Are you still daring to laugh? The sword techniques of Hoeshan were indeed unpredictable, leaving the extra stunned. Could there still be more tricks up his sleeve? Just then, from the sea of flowers, fierce dragon charged straight at Deso was stunned, with only one thought in his mind. Damn it. I should not have used so much internal energy like that. The scent of peach blossoms filled the arena, petals flying everywhere. So it was a trap to blind me from the start. Deso shouted, the dragon is restless. This is what should I do? In his eye, fierce dragon was Duangan charging at him with a sword. Desengsu immediately gathered all his strength. This technique was originally created to counter the Thang Kong Kong view, Hasor. Today I will let you witness. His gaze was filled with determination. Heimin was shocked, unable to believe his ear. What? Fighting against the Thang Kong Villa sword? Manhwa. Nam Kung-hen stood beside, his face full of curiosity and excitement watching the match. Counter of the Thang Kong V Ku Hasor. My power is even more terrifying. I assure you this whole sky will be split in two. He jumped up to face Dojing, preparing for the finishing blow. He lashed Thang Kong Zam pierced straight into the dragon. The dragon struggled to resist. A dazzling light erupted around, but its majesty was cut down, and a surreal scene unfolded as if the sky had split. Everyone watching was stunned. The sky was cut in half. Dandragon stood frozen in disbelief. No way. This can't be happening. Before he could gather his thought, Defar appeared right beside it. Wait a second. But Diwen paid no mind, boldly saying, we do not have time for Hunheimen. A sword struck hard on Dongan's head. He screamed in pain, his head swelling up into a large lump. Diwek withdrew the sword and held the sheath, preparing to continue. Just grit your teeth and bear it. This is just the beginning. The relentless blows kept raining down on Di Yangan's head. The spectators felt pain and fear at this brutality. Di Yangan's head was now swollen with nearly a dozen lumps. He could no longer stand and fell down again. After finishing, Defing looked exhilarated. Now I feel a little more at ease. He was surprised the surrounding space was so quiet. What is going on? Why is it so silent? He gently tapped Dongan on the head, worriedly asked, did I go too far? I only hit you once. Are you still alive? Aimin stepped forward to pray. You have shown everyone the weakness of the Tharung Kong V Ku Naha sword. This old man is truly surprised. It has been a long time since I felt this excited. It is hard to understand. Yeah, Aimin continued, by showing us how to counter the Thang Kong V Chu Na sword. You want to prove that Nam Kong is not perfect either. You struck the disciples of Ho Sen like this to let them know that if they are too arrogant, they will end up like Desa was even more shocked hearing that. Aimin continued to taunt. The others from Ho Sen watching must be thinking the same thing. Now they were extremely angry, their eyes full of rage staring at Hai Min. He dared to speak of trampling us in broad daylight, truly not respecting Ho Sen. Who would have thought that one day I would be challenged like this? Des was still confused, not understanding what was happening. If this situation continued, he definitely would not be able to sleep tonight. Meanwhile, on the other side, a man confidently declared, tonight, I will come to settle the score with who nervously stammered. Suddenly, Hao Min took his hand and raised it to announce to everyone, you have won the first match, and it is Desev from the Nam Kong family. In the stand, Des's supporters cheered in celebration. Des is the best. That match was truly satisfying, even though we won. Datu is still quietly crying, wondering if he should be happy or not. Meanwhile, no one noticed that Dongan had woken up, quietly left and he is feeling down, unable to say a word. I have lost. I have no face to show my master, and I can't face my seniors and juniors in the school. I have to leave here. Suddenly, familiar voice startled him. Then this, I will go with you. Dizungan looked up, tears welling in his eyes when he saw the person in front of the master. Divingan's master was standing there with a kind smile. He gently said, I am very sorry for what you had to go through. I made you carry too great a responsibility. Dizingan asked in surprise, what do you plan to do? What about Hosen? The master laughed heartily and calmly replied, I have left it all behind. Dizingan was taken aback. Really? But those people are looking for you. Hurry up. I'm sure they have not left yet. The master turned around, looking disheartened. Oh man, it seems they have already noticed. Dizungan was still, you. What are you talking about? The master threw him a small bag, his voice full of meaning. I have contributed to Hosen for so long, so I should take something with me when I leave. Right. Dizungan took it and asked curious, what is this? The master replied, it is the Enengai Enzyme. Just then, a group of people rushed over, shouting, wait, hold on, please stop. Dizungan quickly asked, Master, do you still have any Engai Enzyme left? The master showed him 3 more pills. Devingan shouted, give them all to me. Disciple, please forgive. I will return all the elixirs to everyone. He quickly bowed and presented all the elixirs. The man turned pale and asked, what is going on? Why is the primordial dam? Duongan was taken aback. If you are not here for the lost primordial dam, then that man immediately, respectfully. Master Duongan quickly interrupted, please wait, elder. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Do not blame him. Suddenly, everyone bowed their heads and pleaded, Master, please lead us in Huoshan once again. The master coldly said, if you want, I will leave Huoshan. This statement frightened those behind him, causing them to sweat profusely. Great elder, how can you make such a decision? The master replied, the one you need to bow to is not. You are here for Duongan, not right. Is Duongan going from one surprise to another? The master calmly decided, I will let my disciple answer your question. Duongan immediately protested, Master, why are you giving me such an important responsibility? The master smiled gently, reassuring, don't be too surprised. It is just old matter. Place the sword in your hand because of my own greed. Whether you pick it up again is up. Duongan was stunned. He continued, you can choose however you want. You can even demand more than now. He stepped forward, placing a hand on Duongan's shoulder with sincere encouragement. Even if the result of this choice is failure, I will always be by your side. This time, let us share the burden together. Those words moved Duongan to tears. He looked at the master with eyes full of gratitude. People around could not hold back their emotion. They were choked up by the deep feeling between the two teachers. Student Duongan confidently told everyone, I really cherish Ho-san. Everyone was delighted to hear that from him. He reached out his hand. 2 flower petals swirled gently in his palm. Duongan promised, even though he was a bit clumsy this time, he would definitely make the peach blossom bloom. The peach blossoms will never wilt. His voice was mischievous, full of determination. Everyone burst into joy, running to hug Duongin. That is great. Very great. Thought it through so well. Someone asked, now may not be the best time, but can you tell us how you made the peach blossom bloom in the first match? Duongin honestly replied, it depends. From a distant figure had just left, and the master smiled happily. The one who had just left was Du. He breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, thank goodness, it seems everything is fine now. Even though Duongin lost, he showed everyone his potential and was recognized in the arena, allowing him to stay at Ho-Sun. This way, he won't become a wandering swordsman. He suddenly stopped when he saw Jiakaxuang smiling beautifully. I have been waiting for you. Du felt a bit flustered. Miss, are you waiting for me? Jikaxuang was also surprised, thinking to herself, what is this? Why is he addressing me so formally? It is strange, but if I follow the instruction, it will ease the atmosphere. She remembers the advice from the two other ladies. If she feels awkward, she just needs to put her head out. It is true that the young master liked with big head. Jiakaxuang squinted. With no other options left, after thinking, she bowed her head and said, just today. Do whatever you like today. She raised her hand in a gesture of surrender. Startling Des, he was confused, wondering what this meant. Where did this strange woman come? She felt very embarrassed, asking herself, is it really okay to do this? Suddenly, he reached out and gently patted her head. That action made Xiaxong blush. Desk felt a bit sorry for her. She was beautiful, but her mind was not quite right. When Xiaxong returned, the ladies were all in a frenzy. She is back. Loa Niven curiously asked, what happened? Poems continued. Have you made a decision? Are you going back to the Giaset family? Questions came in rapid succession, but Xiaxong remained still, her face blank like a soulless person. She recalled the image of the very handsome Diso and decided, plan to stay a little longer. The referee's voice sound announcing, now we will start the next match. The young ladies were excited. It is starting. The referee pointed to the muscular man, introducing the fan of the fan family from the north. Seeing that massive, someone exclaimed that he was as big as an ox. Person sitting next to me seems excited. He must be really strong. The referee turns towards the other person, a very handsome and quiet guy. Your opponent is Nam Kung Sun from the Nam Kung family. Fan K thinks to himself, it is really funny. This guy looks so weak, but he is the strongest contender in the tournament. With that weak state, he dares to participate in this competition. Really arrogant. Then he slowly draws his sword with a powerful swing. His sword strikes the arena floor, cracking it like a spider web. His face turns red with anger. His voice echoes throughout the space. I will defeat you and prove that the swordsmanship of the B fan family is the strongest in the central plane. But Nam Kung Sun remains calm, his indifferent gaze scanning around, making Fan Ki even more furious. What are you looking at? Do you think I am easy to bully? He roars. The referee standing nearby feels a surge of worry. I do not. Third young master will lose, but the kid from the fan family is no pushover either. The celestial power inherited from the Bai Ki fan family is unusually fluctuating from him. With such a level of celestial power, he must be one of the top 3 strongest in the family. Fan Ki grows more and more enraged, his eyes glaring at Nam Kung Sun. If you do not underestimate, then are you underestimating this sword? He shouts loud. Nam Kung Sun slowly responds with a cold gaze, showing no signs of wavering. It turns out that even though you have a good sword, you are still too weak. Only a strong body can bring power. He flexed his muscle, which bulged impressive, and continued, let me tell you, my sword weighs a ton. Nam Kung Sun smiled faint, slowly drawing his sword. A ton. He gently twirled the sword in his hand, his voice full of calm. I have never underestimated sword. Fan K looked at his opponent's small sword, unable to help but laugh in disdain. What is that little toothpick of a sword? Nam Kung Sun did not respond, just gently lowered the sword ground. A loud bang and the arena shook more than when Fan K attacked. He stood frozen, eyes wide in shock. Nam Kung Sun smiled, his voice sharp. I have never mentioned this, so few people know, but my sword weighs at least a ton. The audience around could not help but gasp. Just lowering the sword had shattered the arena. Could it be that he, so young, had already mastered internal strength? Fan Thivai, the head of the fan family, observed the scene with a thoughtful expression. That kid is definitely a monster, he murmured. External strength is divided into 2 types. External strength increases muscle size, while internal strength increases muscle density. External strength develops through training and rest, but internal strength is different. It does not allow you any time to rest. As the burden on the tissues gradually increases, muscles will tear, fibers will break piece by piece. That is why so many people have become disabled while training it. But if the practitioner can overcome it, a miracle will happen. The hidden energies deep within the body will begin to flow, reconnecting the torn muscles. The new muscles infused power of the energies will be twice as strong as normal muscle. Training the internal strength begins with knowing one's own inner power. Just a slight miscalculation during the process of breaking down and rebuilding the muscle causes unparalleled damage. With a high level of danger and a low success rate, everyone believes that internal strength gradually been forgotten in the martial world over the years. But if this is truly the internal strength we once knew, then perhaps the martial world is about to witness the emergence of another extraordinary figure. As soon as the words were spoken, the battle began. Fan K charged straight at Nam Kung Sun with a decisive strike. The two swords clashed, but strangely, Fan K was so shocked that his eyes widened. He could not believe that his opponent blocked his attack without moving an inch. Fan K stared at Nam Kung Sun with a doubtful gaze, and the indifferent expression of his opponent made him even more confused, as if his weapon had just hit an instant. The more he looked, the more frustrated, shouting, more importantly, where have you been looking all this time? Following Nam Kung Sun's gaze, Fan K realized that his opponent was focused on the audience. Done. Pointing at himself, he secretly wondered, are you looking at me? Nam Kung Sun smiled and said loud, found you. Fan K was so angry that he gritted his, so you plan to look down on me forever? I will smash your sword. With that, he charged forward while Nam Kung Sun was still looking at the familiar figure. I know you are pretending to be calm. You won't last long, Fan K said while launching a relentless attack. Nam Kung Sun turned around, his gaze cold and his face expressionless. He struck the first attack decisive and as quick as light, causing Fan K to hurriedly defend himself. Almost falling back, he worried inward. This is not good. My stance is losing balance. In front of Fan K, Nam Kung Sun appeared with fierce energy, determined to block this blow. Fan K successfully blocked Nam Kung Sun's relentless attack. Feeling delighted, I managed to hold it off. It is easier than I thought. However, Nam Kung Sun maintained a calm expression, continued to launch a new attack. Fan K watched the sword movements of his opponent, thinking to himself that he could see his attack coming. As long as I focus on, my mind will become clearer and I can assess the situation calmly, even though I am still at a disadvantage. Fan K's sword strike coming, attacking and then defending and then attack gradually. Even if just a little, he felt his strength increasing. While counterattack, calculated his strategy. Just let you show the slightest opening, and I will strike immediately. He envisioned defeating his opponent and grinned smug. The Southern Pavilion commented excited. Now that they were in the main round, everyone's abilities were clearly on display. He was gradually gradually getting used to the attacks of the third young master. Desi felt pity. It was truly sad. The southern pavilion unexpectedly asked, "Who are you talking about?" Third young master Zine quickly denied, "Not that idiot. I mean your opponent. If you just look at him like, it seems he is holding on to a bit of hope that he might win. But right now, my third one is just warming up." Nam Kung Dine was stunned to hear that. "And that is just warming up? That is incredible." Fan K persisted until his last breath. "Just a little more. Just a little more would be enough." Nam Kung Sun let out a long breath, and Fan K immediately realized it was his rare opportunity. With a thunderous shout, he unleashed the Five Lake Gates bamboo saber, the third style, followed by the third lake's piercing strike. The fierce tigers created from his sword charged straight at Nam Kung Sun. The audience in the stands erupted in excitement, cheering. "Very good." Fan K thought to himself, "I have been waiting for the moment when Nam Kung Sun's breath is unstable, then his martial arts will be at that moment. What will I do?" The observer was stunned by the scene. "That stance is the same one that my brother used to win the title of Iron Dragon. The stance when he raised the sword high." Fan K, still full of calm, shouted, "I have what Nam." But Nam Kung Sun remained steady in that legendary stance. He gently swung the sword down, the blade slicing through the tiger, tearing them to pieces. They vanished right before Fan K's eye, leaving him stunned. The wind from the sword created a powerful attack, caused Fan K to lose his balance. Fall. The audience in the stands was also taken aback. This is Feng, who has fallen before the calm and extraordinary strength of Nam Kung Sun. Nam Kung Sun pointed the sword straight at his younger brother. "I will be waiting for you at the top." Seeing the contestant down, the referee quickly declared that the winner is the young master Nam Kung Sun. The audience was also shocked. "My brother is too strong. Fighting spirit within him, wanting to battle with my brother." Seeing the cheerful expression of the deputy military advisor, he asked him what he was so happy about. This made him irritated, wanting to eavesdrop, only to hear the thudding sounds of that guy's head that was swollen like a roasted pig. Below, someone shouted loud, "The next match begins." Contestant is the six-pack master. He was clearly brimming with enthusiasm after witnessing, but he really wanted to fight against a strong opponent. The master radiated an imposing aura that enveloped his body, making his opponent feel like they were facing their mother. "Master, take your time to speak. Just do not suddenly overwhelm me." At that moment, he recalled the words of the 8 masters who had told him the essence of Shaolin martial art, calmness. "If you can stay calm, you will be able to unleash your full potential, and then you will definitely become stronger." The master suddenly his hand. The momentum must achieve calm. Previous momentum suddenly diminished, affecting the opponent. "Just a moment ago, he seemed ready to devour me alive. Why is he acting normal now? Did he eat something strange?" Immediately, he channeled his strength into his, preparing to charge forward. His mouth aimed that he would destroy everything, but his face told a different story. He was completely encased in a golden aura. The opponent was scared to the point of turning pale. Did he intend to finish me in one blow? Should I charge in and join the ancestor? Could only channel all his strength into one strike, aiming to capitalize on the moment for in an instant. He lunged to attack the master, but it felt like hitting a steel block. There was absolutely no damage, only the sound of his own pain cry as his hand swelled up. It turned out the master had used the indestructible diamond knee, a unified form of diamond. His face lit up with delight as he dashed forward. "Now it is my turn. No dodging." Seeing this, the opponent immediately cried out for mercy. Surrendering, the master suddenly froze. "That hurt. Just let me hit you one, please." The other guy was still like a fish on the chopping block. "Terrified. Just let me go. I give a sniff sniff." He was still yelling for the referee to save when he announced the monk as the winner. It totally frustrated. Clearly, he had not even had a chance to fight yet and was already bored. On the high platform, Ziku had to sigh that this guy was stronger than the last time they fought. No one could punch back when he was spewing nonsense. Next to him, the deputy strategist suddenly reminded the young master, "Do you know who that guy down there is? He has been staring at you this whole time. Can't figure it out." His gaze turned fierce as he said, "I will definitely surpass you to claim the title of Little Sword King." The Siest was a bit surprised, thinking maybe he was too nice, so they were picking on him. "Just wait, you loveless jerk." Right after that, his opponent stepped onto the stage. This guy was already greeting Namo Amitabha. Clearly, he came to TV to make me furious. Right, actually, he just wanted to greet normally, but because of his name, Gujirilla, it sounds too silly, so he could only avoid it. As soon as it started, the first guy charged in like light, and Gujirilla quickly swung his sword to block it. As if he could see a stream of water surrounding his sword, he blushed and said, "I do not need to introduce myself to a nobody like you." His sword move surged like a torrent, violently knocking that guy into the air. "You won, Gujirilla." The audience cheered his name. This guy was shy and blushing from the embarrassment of his own name. The deputy strategist was laughing so hard he was almost in tears. This guy is really a clown. However, Desi thinks different. Do not underestimate his ability. He is not just any push-up. Old man Men is thrilled to see his disciple forming excellent and can't help but celebrate, raising his arms in joy. He then turned to Des and shouted, "Just wait. Necessary. I will pass everything on to Gujirilla. My excited hand will be the sword master of our martial art." The matches that followed were completely dull, but everyone targeted him as if he were their enemy. It turns out that because he performed so well in the previous match, they all saw him as the opponent come strong. Desi did not care much and just left, thinking they were just pesky ants trying to boast. Desi was not concerned about his real opponent, powerful big brother. At this time, at his residence, the master of the Hosen sect had arrived. It turns out he was an acquaintance of the steward. After exchanging greetings, he invited her to go drink together, and she did not refuse. Clearly, their relationship was very close in the past. Even the leader of the Hoko sect held her hand. Just then, Tunwalk saw him and rolled his eye, loudly asking who this old man was. The steward turned around gently and replied, "Just an old friend I have not seen in a long time." Clearly, she was explaining, which made B Tun embarrassed and blush, while Trong Memamen Ho also sensed something unusual between them. Turned out that was the reason she was getting younger and more beautiful. "She is very happy," and his face unconsciously broke into a satisfied smile. Bat Tun was still hot-headed and went over wanting to ask for the address of his rival, but the sect leader noticed that too and directly said, "Do you like the manager?" As soon as he finished speaking, a cloud of dust erupted from Bat Tun, creating a distraction. From this reaction, the sect leader of Flower Fruit was sure. Immediately, Bat Tun turned around 180 degrees and asked if this big brother could talk privately for a moment. That old man was also aware of the situation and said, "All right." His junior disciple still wanted to come here and enjoy for free while the two were sitting and drinking. Suddenly, the elders of the Nam Kung clan burst, clearly on a mission to find the young master, as if they were gathering for a reunion. When he returned, he was puzzled about why it was so crowded here. "If you guys do not have money, you should not come here to eat." The elders surrounded, wanting to know how he was able to break the sword of the Hosun sect. It truly was miraculous. They looked at him like starving tigers wanting to devour him, hoping he would show them how to break the invincible sword of the Nam Kung clan. Meanwhile, Nam Kung Hun Thenhua and the strategist are leisurely sitting on the rooftop drinking wine. The host does not seem very happy. It seems seems like he has not given those elders in Intenhan a chance for a long time. That is the end of part 1. Do not forget to give Ju a like, everyone.
Yeah,